Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. This is now episode 375. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Timberwolves sweeping the Suns, what the Suns should do moving forward, Magic tying the Cavs series 2-2, and NFL draft winners and losers. Jam-packed show. First time we've been in the studio for a while.
I was gonna say.
But now things are easing up because in the first round of the playoffs, there's a game every day. Every game matters. But as series are starting to end, we are able to record during games that probably don't matter at this point because the series might be done. But the Lakers do have a chance against the Nuggets with Jamal Murray
Don't let them get
questionable.
They
in
said-
game
get
5.
two.
We said, don't let us get one. God forbid you let us get two. I can guarantee 3 then. And anything can happen in a game 7, especially with LeBron James.
Game 6 guaranteed W. You go back to
in
LA.
the crypt? You kidding me?
In the crypts. Facts. Crypts.
That's a W.
Don't forget that T.
Hard T.
This was the perfect time to record because looking at the NBA schedule for today,
Big game today.
Celtics and Heat,
Huge game.
and my girlfriend's coming in with a
Must win.
Dunkin' refresher.
Oh,
Shout out
yes.
to Jess. Oh yeah, needed that boost.
A dragon.
Strawberry dragon fruit.
Yep.
It's goated, man. It's a goated flavor.
You
Should
love
throw a magic
dragon
mind in
fruit.
there, maybe.
Hell yeah.
I slammed the Magic Mind. I'm
Let me get one.
geeked up. Oh, dude, I have to get up all the way over there. Jess. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, Dehls.
It's all right, man.
Sorry,
Just
Dehls.
gonna have to power through.
Celtics Heat today. Thunder Pelicans. 2 series that essentially over. I guess with all due respect to the Heat. With all due respect to the Heat. Because they fought
They're gonna
in
hit
game 2.
19 threes tonight.
2-1, bro.
With all due respect. And then the Lakers Nuggets, which that's at 10 o'clock. So by the time we're done with this recording,
I'll have more than
are you
enough
sure?
time.
we'll be good.
I'll have more than enough time to sit
Well,
down
it's
and watch
7
my late
p.m.
show.
right now. 10. I think we can be done
Hour
by
50
10 o'clock.
minutes.
At worst, Drew is gonna watch the game at the start of the second quarter.
Well, if
Oh my
anything, I'll
God.
put it on my computer.
The game starts at 10,
There's-
bro. There's
yeah,
no way we should be here for
no,
3
no,
hours.
no,
There's no way.
What can we really argue about?
I can see the time
This
stamp.
crazy.
3 hours,
Yeah.
20 minutes now.
But how have you guys been? I mean, dude, we haven't been in the studio for what, a week and a half.
We did some
now?
short form last
Facts, we
Wednesday,
did,
but
we
we
did.
haven't done an episode in a minute.
But
How's Penny? Penny.
Fucking
Daisy.
she is immaculate. I told you guys about this doorbell that I installed. That whenever she has to go out, she has to hit this button to let us know.
No,
No, you actually didn't.
Really?
no, he didn't tell us.
So when we
Wrong
take
friends.
probably, but I've seen you guys. I've definitely spoken to you about it.
Should we do
Whatever.
brunch Saturday?
Yo,
Okay, sorry. Off topic. What do you got going on?
What? No, I'm saying I'm with it. Wait, what's this Saturday?
I don't know.
What's today's date?
Just weather's starting to get nice.
today's the 29th.
know what I
8-year
mean?
anniversary of
Beautiful
Views.
today.
View.
That's why you're playing it.
Yeah.
I'm down. Listen, man, set it up. I'm down.
Okay.
No, wait. No,
No, we're a slut for brunch, but we're going.
I don't
We're
want to
going.
be seventh wheeling, bro. I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
There's some single people there.
Bro, we can go together.
You guys are always gonna bring your girlfriends.
And they can hang out with each other.
Nah, I can't have that, man.
That's like the main perk of going out with couples.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll
you
think
feel
about it.
you feel embarrassed about it?
Not embarrassed. I just don't want to
Prideful?
be hitting that moment when I'm drunk. We're all drunk, and all y'all talking to your girls. I'm just sitting there like,
What if you bring a friend or maybe a potential girlfriend?
I don't want to bring nobody. That's not important for you guys to meet.
I don't think I'd mind personally.
Neither would I. I actually wouldn't give a shit.
I don't think it's a
Couldn't
you
couldn't
guys
care
thing.
less personally.
It's a me thing.
It's not like, oh, you know, if I was you at least, oh man, this person got to be so important for my guys to meet. Like, no, I really don't care. You could bring the hoes. It doesn't matter.
That's just how I move. I
cooking.
don't want to bring the hoes. I don't want to have hoes.
Okay.
I want
He's trying to be wholesome.
to.
I respect that wholeheartedly. So I'll wrap up on this doorbell story real quick because brunch sounds way more intriguing. So there's this doorbell that you install that whenever the dog has to go out, they pop it. It makes like a doorbell noise, and we go outside. So every time I've taken her out, I've kind of just put the tree near it. She hits it. We go outside. The last 2 days, she's done it on her own. I'm such a proud father.
Okay,
right now.
let's go.
This girl's gotten so smart so quickly. The only thing that she's acting like a teenager is when we're outside and I have her off the leash and trying to get her to come back to me.
Doesn't
That's
listen.
the only thing that she's been a little hard-headed on. But other than that, she's been cash.
Has she
two-
been like teething, like chewing on anything?
Oh, yeah. But I make sure that I limit that too. Like the last 2 days, we've had her moving around the crib more often than she has the last couple of, well, let's see, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks that we've had her. It's actually almost coming up on a month now that I realize that because we got her shots next week. But yeah, these last couple of days, she's been allowed to roam the house more with more freedom. Because she still pisses, doesn't shit, thank God, but that's what we're trying to take care of. She's been good.
How'd you like the A Boogie EP?
I loved it.
So
He's back.
4-4.
I need to lock
him
in.
him and Ella broke up again.
He's back.
But this time Ella cheated per sources.
Oh yeah, she's done. Yeah, she can never come
They're
back.
getting back together.
They are. They have 2 kids together, so I can see it.
And Boogie's cheating on her like 7 times.
Well, it's different. But if he can, 8 to 10 songs album, we're here.
Bro, the album's like 23 songs.
It's the problem. It's not gonna be good, bro. It's too many songs.
Magic Mind has been sending us these lovely bottles for some time
Mine's
now.
already gone.
We have been able to test these out and reap the benefits that it has given us. Riv, what is a problem that you feel like Magic Mind has helped you with?
Well, Magic Mind definitely keeps my spirit up, keeps my energy up, because I deal with kids all day, have to interact with them all day, have to play with them sometimes too. So Magic Mind has been able to keep that up.
Listen, for me, I go to the gym every day, and I've tried to stay off the pre-workout. I understand Magic Mind's not a caffeine supplement, but what it helps you do is lock in. But Magic Mind does the same thing for me, and I don't feel that same anxiety, that same stress. So that's why I've changed over to Magic Mind, and I feel like I can just lock in at a different level now.
The weather's been so crazy in Jersey. A couple of days ago, I'm out there in a t-shirt and shorts. Today, I'm in a sweatshirt and sweatpants. Whenever the weather changes, I get a little, scratch in my throat, runny nose. I'm taking Magic Mind, and I've been feeling great ever since.
Happy for you, man.
This
Shout out Magic
has
Mind.
vitamins and matcha. It's only 21 calories per bottle. If you guys are interested in trying out Magic Mind, go to www.magicmind.com/pickside and get up to 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days with our code PICKASIDE. That's www.magicmind.com/pickside. So not pick a side, it's pickside, and use code PICKASIDE.
Nah, I love them for that. They said pick side, and they said, you know what, not 50%, not 55. We're going to do 56%. Shout out to Magic Mind for making it a little bit special for us.
Whatever, though.
So you're saying I need to lock in on this 4-song EP?
I don't know why you haven't.
Yeah, shit's hard.
Hey, Boogie, he kind of lets me down sometimes.
Not with this, man.
Yeah.
All right, I'm here. You
He's
guys
back.
been hyping it up.
He was back.
Yeah.
I've never been a Boogie guy outside of his first real album.
He's
He
no
went on
SSG Kobe.
he went on a 3-album run.
The bigger artist is
He
very
went
underrated.
artist, TBA, the bigger artist. Fucking goodness gracious.
I feel like Dehls has lost his music card, according
no.
to public opinion
I'll be
on
honest.
the internet.
This card in my wallet
Artist
is
2.0.
secured.
Artist 2.0 Deluxe. Very underrated album.
Artist
Yeah,
2.0 is good.
Deluxe was good.
Very, very underrated
The
album.
comments don't appreciate how
They
he's
don't.
talked about Kendrick Lamar and
God,
his
God forbid I
projects.
disrespect Rick Ross, the king.
I don't really care about Rick Ross.
No, the major stain is Kendrick, I think.
It is Kendrick.
That's the
Shout out to
major
Kendrick.
one. That's the major
Nothing
one.
wrong with it.
He hasn't responded yet to Drake.
Yeah.
Waiting on
Your
it.
boy better figure it out.
Hey, listen, I don't think he needs to rush it.
You know who
I
would have
really
responded by
don't.
now, Riff? Herb. He would have had to track out.
In a different way, but yeah. yeah, for sure.
I understand the internet is antsy for the response, but at the end of the day, all that matters is that it's good and that he responds in a timely manner.
It's corny if he waits for an album, though.
It can't
it's
be
corny.
5 years from now, but it definitely got to be, this year I think he got to respond.
I'll be honest, bro.
This
This doesn't
year?
come out.
Like in a
If
month.
this doesn't come out in May, it's chopped.
We don't care anymore.
That's the sources that his
I know,
album's
it's
coming out in May. If
Corny.
an album's coming out on May,
Has nothing to do with
the
Dehls.
response does have to be there. It has to be there. If it's not, then, he lost the battle.
I
for
just
sure.
don't want a rap beef fueling your album sales. It just feels kind of.
I'll be honest, it's Kendrick, though. The album
sales going to do numbers regardless. I know it's Kendrick.
That
but,
actually feels genius, though, to do that.
But
To
it
roll
just,
out
it just
that way.
feels like, I don't know. Just
Jake
kind
was
of fake.
cracking me up. Kendrick did 300K the first week, and he said that was broke boy shit.
For him, yeah, probably.
That's insane.
He got more Grammys than Drake.
I'll be honest, Lil Uzi does pretty
yeah.
nasty numbers his first week, too.
Grammys in 2024 mean absolutely zero.
Why? Because your favorite artist is to win it?
No, because it's whitewashed.
Kendrick's not white.
I understand that.
He's actually more black than Drake.
Okay. Well, this is
Can't do this.
What do you mean?
Can't-
Yes, he is.
Again,
It's white.
Taylor Swift is a 4-time album of the year winner.
It's because her fan base
Taylor Swift
nuts.
is a megastar. though.
Yeah, fan base
Kendrick
is crazy.
Lamar lost best album. He shouldn't have.
No, he
every
shouldn't
time,
have.
two times in a
Macklemore.
row. Macklemore
Shout out
beat
to
him for
Macklemore.
best rap album.
Travis
It's a lot
Scott
of
lost.
y'all's
He should've
favorite
won.
artists, too.
That's another one. Sure,
Travis
you could
Scott should have
argue.
won. Astro World.
They gave it to Bruno Mars over Kendrick Lamar for Damn. Bruno Mars, obviously, he is a black man himself, but again,
I
not
thought he was
giving it
Spanish.
to Kendrick. Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Is
thought
he?
he was Spanish. No, I
Bruno?
thought. Yeah, I thought he was Spanish.
I think he's mixed.
Oh, okay,
That's what
okay.
I think he
Yeah, I
is.
thought he was just straight Spanish. He gives me that real Spanish.
Really?
vibes.
But Bruno's dropping pop music. Obviously, Kendrick's dropping rap music. Again, Beyonce has never won Album of the Year. She has the most Grammys ever. things aren't adding
Favorite
up.
rapper's Lil Durk. I don't
Wait,
know.
so you said
Grammys
Beyonce
right in my
has the
mind.
most Grammys ever.
But again, the big category, the album of the year, she has 0. But she has the most Grammys ever.
But she still got Grammys, and you said it's whitewashed.
It is. Pretty badly, actually.
Beyonce's
Didn't
pop,
Dirk,
right?
didn't Dirk get a Grammy for
Yes.
all of
All
my
My
life?
Life?
Yeah.
No, we made it. We made it for sure. Yeah, Dirk got one. I didn't care for it though.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was cool for him.
I mean, it's an accolade for them, you know.
And like you
probably
tell
in
your
their
family,
house.
I want a Grammy.
You know,
yeah.
Kendrick got a display full of them. Drake
Especially
is
for
probably like
that
a row.
Chicago rap. Like
I will say
drill
Drake
scene,
got
bro.
more Billboard #1s.
He has the most
By
platinum
far.
songs ever. He has 80. Well,
for
for
sure.
rap music.
Yeah, that's where he
80.
has them beat for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Drops a lot of music.
All right.
Compared
Would
to
you like
Kendrick.
to hear? Oh, John Baptiste did win. Okay, huge. Taylor Swift, Harry Styles,
What's
John
this?
Grammy winners for album of the year. Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, John Baptiste, Taylor Swift, Billie
Couldn't
Eilish,
name a single song.
Casey Musgraves, Bruno Mars, Adele, Taylor Swift, Beck, Daft Punk, Mumford & Sons, Adele, Arcade Fire, Taylor Swift.
Haven't heard
Not
of
my
rapper.
music.
Haven't
This
heard
is
of
not my
rapper.
music.
This is to 2009.
Shout out to them though. Shout out to Taylor Swift. Shout out to Dell. Daft Punk.
Adele won over
Shout
Beyonce.
out to Daft Punk.
Daft Punk, they're legends.
What is he? Is he white?
Who?
Daft Punk?
They're, you don't know who Daft Punk is?
No, I know who he is.
I've heard
but
of
they
them,
don't
like,
know
so
cover
It's
song.
they. It's they.
Oh, it's
I don't
they.
know what they look like.
They're DJs.
What they
That
look
album's
DJs?
actually great. Yeah, they're
But what
French
do they
DJs.
look like, though?
Well, they wear masks. They're robots. They call them the robots.
He's not like
Okay.
helping me at all. Are
No.
they black or white?
No, oh, they're white.
Oh, okay.
It looks like it's a mixture. I'm looking at pictures of them.
They are white. They are French white men.
Bro, you can't even see what they look like.
Well, I don't know if he's part of it. He doesn't have a helmet.
I don't
on.
know. I don't know who's part of it or
I'm
who's not.
pointing-
At the
tell-
black guy. That was giving me
There's
the
two dudes with a mask.
No,
and a
because
black
look at
guy.
this. Look
He's
at
wearing the
this.
black
Like, how
guy.
many are there in the group?
It's just
I don't
two.
know.
Two guys wearing the helmets.
That's them.
That's them.
Nah, I'm crying. He's like, yeah.
Oh man,
The
Is
two
Daft
guys wearing the
Punk
helmets
white?
are yes. There's a tall guy and then there's a smaller guy. They are both white French men.
Somebody posted on Reddit. Can someone tell me why Daft Punk is in the Black History section of Spotify? I'd say probably because of the multiple Pharrell collaborations.
Pharrell was heavily featured on that album.
The album was great.
Somebody commented because there's no Robot History Month.
That's a good comment.
Yeah, I really don't know. They wear helmets, so it's hard for me to tell.
Now that
Yeah.
they have shown there's pictures with them
Yeah.
without. Yeah, they're two
Okay,
white
so
guys.
I'll take your word for it. I don't think Kendrick is the type of person that's album will be predicated and rolled out off a diss track. Just based off what his albums have been, they're usually conceptual albums with some sort of meaning. I don't think that'll be the big thing in his album. So I think he should drop
Single.
it before. Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
agree.
expecting. Yeah,
That should be the song to lead up to the album.
With that.
yeah
Like
we're
you
gonna
kind of
see.
did with the Hard Part 4, Hard
Yeah.
Part 5.
Yeah, we'll see, man. It's going to be exciting. He definitely got people.
If it drops and when it drops, it will be good.
He got
He's
people
Kendrick Lamar.
already done with him because he didn't drop in a week.
That I don't agree with.
With that.
Yeah, being done with him.
Yeah, man. Gotta drop in a timely fashion.
That I agree with, though. I'm not going to say I don't agree with that. I need it soon.
So, Dehls, you haven't heard of JID ever?
No, I've
That
not
album
heard of
was
a
tough.
single person ever refer to that album.
Okay.
I've heard of the artist.
That album
Very tough.
is what people say. That's his stamped, signed, and sealed best project.
I've never heard anyone talk about that album in my life. I swear to God.
It's very, very. I like it. I have the whole album downloaded.
Nice.
It's one of the few.
How did you figure or find out about JID?
2K.
2K?
Yes.
It's a fact.
He's on 2K. That's how usually I found out about a lot of these other people. Like Daft Punk, I found out 2K.
Yeah, Jamie XS was on Daft Punk. Oh, excuse me, on 2K also. I think that was what 2K 16.
15? It's 15 or 16.
That sounds right. That
Yeah,
sounds
but
right.
I found out about a lot of these groups. Like Imagine Dragon, 2K, stuff like that. So 2K always helps me do that.
2K got a lot of great soundtracks. I feel like it's fallen off recently.
It has been a little bit. They're trying to add the Spanish stuff and like they're trying to like really make it mix. But
I wasn't mad. They had like a whole month where it was just straight Bad Bunny. That's all you would hear.
confused, so I can't. What am I like? I'm listening to it. I don't know what's going on. So so I turned it off.
A lot of Spanish music is for a vibe, though. Like if you
I'm
understand
playing
it, that's
2K though. I
gravy,
don't
of
want to
course.
really vibe. I'm like trying to lock in. So like 50 Cent would suffice, or maybe some
Bad Bunny
like, the
raps
game.
too, though.
I don't know what he's saying. So he's rapping, and I'm just like, word. Like, I can't really relate. What are you talking about?
I understand.
So, just
I
It's
feel
the
you.
sounds of it that probably sound good. You don't think
no,
it
the
sounds
the
good?
beats are really nice. Like the beats are nice, but it's just like I want to like rap with them.
Yeah, all Spanish music has that similar drum rhythm.
Yeah, it's nice beats for sure. Like if I'm drunk, we're here. But I'm playing 2K.
You know whose soundtracks have fallen off? WWE games.
Really?
Yeah.
They
No,
should just
WWE
play
games
all
are
the people's,
awful.
like all the wrestlers' songs.
Like you go back to SVR 07 Elite soundtrack when THQ made the games, but now when 2K makes the games, Post Malone, I think, produced this soundtrack, and really it's like 8 songs, man, and like 5 of them are not good.
That's whack.
Yeah, so really it's better to just play on mute. Outside of the one song that Post Malone has on it, it's called Chemical. That song is really good.
Okay.
But the game outside of that, the soundtrack is pretty awful.
I'm not locked in on Post Malone.
I like Post Malone.
I also like.
He has some good songs for sure. I couldn't tell you the last time I listened to a full project of his. But
when's the last time he dropped a project?
It has been a while.
It was last year.
He just dropped one. It was like him in a pool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fact.
The cover.
Oh, that's facts. I think that was.
You're right
last
though.
year.
I haven't listened to a full length album. It's just songs.
20
I think the
23
last one I
Austin.
listened to was Beer Bongs and Bentleys.
2018.
Was
Like
that the
Hollywood's
black and yellow
Bleeding.
one cover?
Yes,
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Like Hollywood's Bleeding. I didn't listen to the whole album.
Facts. That's
but
the one with circles. Yeah.
was the
and
banger.
Wow. And Wow's on
Wow's
that one.
cool. It's Circles I could listen to all day.
That's a banger.
It
It's an
is a
all-timer.
banger. That shit gets me in such a great vibe, bro.
It is a great vibe
Man.
song.
Post Malone's really good. I like Post Malone.
You ever seen an interview with him and Charlamagne the God?
No.
I try to not.
Is this something
no,
crazy?
you're cooking. I do not watch Charlemagne.
Charlamagne the God has some. Oh my God.
I'd rather just see him on TikTok laugh and then go about my day.
No, he was
funny,
trying to get Post Malone bad. And it was clear. I don't think he fucks with Post Malone. He was trying to set him up for a PR disaster. It was during when the Black Lives Matter movement was at its like peak, and he went in for an interview. And then Charlamagne the God, like to end off the interview, was like, "What are you doing for Black Lives Matter? Like, what are you doing for it?" And then Post Malone, he answered it the best he could, very politically correct, but it wasn't a great moment for Charlamagne the God. It's clear he didn't rock with Post Malone.
That's a tough look. That's tough.
Post Malone or Charlamagne the God has a lot of moments that don't picture him in the best view. We'll
He's
leave it at
definitely a
that.
horrible person.
Yeah, he's crazy actually.
From what we've seen, of course. I don't.
I'm
know
actually
him
interested to hear how Post Malone answered that question truthfully. Just put on the spot. What are you doing for black people?
like
You got me. You got me. Right? Like, I
Don't
really
even
am
know,
interested
you know?
to see how Post Malone answered that truthfully.
The NBA playoffs first round,
Right into basketball.
it's getting very, very entertaining at the very right time, at the right moments. Not all the series has ended. One series has ended so far. That's the Timberwolves and Suns.
And Joel, I think you know where this is going.
Listen, I don't think I do know where this is going.
No.
Because the only thing I could say
Because
is
even
that
when he's wrong, he bangs tweets. And that is where I respect the fuck out of
this
you,
is the
man.
thing.
That's
Look
what
at,
he
look
did
at him.
bang.
He's fucking smiling ear to ear.
Shit
That
was
shit has
lit.
almost 2K
Yeah,
likes
that shit
right
did
now.
numbers.
Good for
You
you,
wanna know why?
Minnesota. Your moments now. You deserve this. You
wanna-
earned this.
you wanna know
I
why?
didn't pick you. However, I'm here and I really support you. Love you, Ant.
You want to know why? Is because whenever Timberwolves fans have came to the podcast, whenever we've had a segment, it's been 1 against 3. I may have not
You're
picked
right.
the Wolves.
It was 1 versus 3 in this
series.
situation too.
I may have not picked the Wolves in this series based off the regular season matchup. The Suns beat them 3 games to none.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a bad match, but going forward, there's no doubt about that. I was wrong about this series. The Wolves shocked me in how they beat the brakes off the Suns in every single category.
A sweep was shocking.
In this series. But here's the thing. I don't want to hear this from y'all.
What?
I don't want to hear this from y'all.
Let's hear
And
this, please.
the reason why I don't is because if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong. Just 2 weeks ago, you came up here talking about, is Anthony Edwards really the best offensive player on the Timberwolves? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. Okay. Is that crazy?
No,
Anthony Edwards himself says Karl Anthony Towns is
Because
the
he's
best
a
offensive
great
player.
teammate. Anthony Edwards is the best
he's an elite
player
teammate. He's an
and the
elite
best
teammate.
offense player on the team. When we did our All-NBA teams, should I put Ant over Gobert? Gobert's
That's not
more
true.
impactful.
That's not what I said at all.
Ant was on my second team.
And was on my second team also.
Pretty sure Ant
But
was
you
on one of those
debated
teams.
between Gobert and Ant.
No, I did not.
Whenever we've had
Don't lie.
Whenever we've had debates about just the top 4 seedings in the Western Conference. Oh man, Minnesota, they the biggest fraud. When we gonna talk about they the biggest fraud amongst the 4?
Were we not having those conversations while Cat was hurt? We didn't know he would look like when he
Facts.
came back.
That was even before he got hurt. when he got hurt, there was a cop out to say now this team has major potential to get upset. But even when he was healthy, because even when he was healthy, the offense was below average.
Would you agree?
That's what y'all was saying.
To be fair, that could still be correct because the Clippers, Kawhi got hurt. It's hard to really say they're the frauds, even though if we're looking back, they were the frauds. Denver's advancing. OKC's advancing.
How do we know Denver's advancing? Oh, excuse me.
Mavericks or
Dallas is advancing. I thought you said Dallas.
Well, I'm saying the Clippers are they're injured. I'm kind of like throwing that out. Like, okay, if you want to say they're the frauds, sure, but Kawhi got hurt.
And not only that, but after game 1, when they beat the Suns handily, McDaniels was the most impactful player. Y'all was trying to spray Jaden McDaniels as overpaid.
All I said was
off of game 1.
No, we said his offense needs to get better.
And who was there defending Jaden?
Rudy Gobert was the most
the dude. No, I know, but McDaniels had a huge impact.
Of course,
the dude that picked the Suns was like, y'all bugging on McDaniels. Let's stop now. He just made a major impact. Let's stop with the overpaid narratives.
All we said is his offense needs to get better.
It's like we can't ask questions anymore.
He's getting paid for his defense. That's what McDaniel's getting paid for.
I agree.
He's getting paid to make Devin Booker shoot below 30% for a series. That's what he's getting paid for.
He didn't shoot under 30%.
Yes,
though.
against McDaniels. Yes, he absolutely did. Jaden McDaniels is getting paid.
On the series, his splits actually shocked the shit out of me.
Because he's a top 3 defender in the world. Yeah. On the perimeter, that's what he is.
For sure.
So I don't want to hear that from y'all.
But
because y'all picked the Wolves mostly off of y'all just not liking the Suns.
Okay, exactly. If it was a cop-out. I was the first one to sit here and say, I'm choosing Minnesota right after you went and said the Suns, correct?
That's for sure.
Because again, I could have easily taken the you went first.
You picked the Suns.
I could have easily gone the cop out way and been like, hey, I don't believe in Minnesota. I'm just gonna go on a limb and trust just KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal because even though they've not been good this entire season in the fourth quarter, I feel like something's suddenly gonna change. Oh, their lack of point guard, it's not gonna matter in this series against the best defense in the league. That could have been my thought process because they had KD, Booker, and Beal. No, it was bigger than that. Is understanding this was the best defense in basketball for a reason. Anthony Edwards has shown to be a playoff riser. He showed it again this series. And Karl Anthony Towns was a lot better than what I anticipated. Got in foul trouble, but he was really awesome last night. And Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert. We've acknowledged them. I could have easily gone and just said, I'm just going to go KD, Booker, and Beal because I can't trust the Minnesota Timberwolves. That was never my.
But that's not what I did.
Thoughts.
I didn't choose the Suns because of star power. I chose them
because they
could
flip the switch.
No, I chose them because
that's really what it was.
No, not even. It's not that I chose them off the star power and they can flip a switch. It's the fact that I saw 3 matchups in the regular season where they played the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves did not look good in any of those matchups.
Regular season matchups still don't always translate to the playoffs.
Of course it doesn't, but it's not that I just blindly trust this big 3. I mean, it's the fact that I seen the way they matched up in the regular season, and I thought the Suns would win.
I think they trusted the Suns' offense more than the Wolves' defense.
And throughout the series, Minnesota's offense was better.
They were the number 1 playoff offense.
You're on the right track. I trusted the Suns' offense over the Wolves' offense, not the Wolves' defense. I trust the Wolves' defense.
I guess the Suns' strength over the Wolves' strength.
I wasn't expecting the Wolves to dominate their offense like they did. Number 1 in offensive rating. The personnel for the Suns was a bit iffy, but I thought all season long something that Edwards has struggled with is getting double teamed. In this series, he made a huge leap off those doubles. The passes he was making, he took a leap in his playmaking ability with the coverages that he was seeing. He took a leap in his pull-up shooting. All of those things, he took a leap in. I thought Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, they should be the 1 and 2 best players in this series. Anthony Edwards was clearly the best player in the series, and it was not close.
Oh, yeah.
He's the best shooting guard in the league. He took that crown. He took that mantle. And the fact that I picked the Suns has nothing to do with my love for the Timberwolves, because ultimately, I love watching this team. I've been watching this
team to watch
for years now. I've been saying Anthony Edwards is going to be a special player, a top 10 player. Last summer, I told you he could very well get into those Tatum talks. And he's done it to the point where most of the basketball world, they starting to take Edwards over Tatum. And they're not even thinking twice about it. Whether that's overreactionary or not is for you guys to decide. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, every step of the way has been nothing but praise from Minnesota. I picked Phoenix in the series, but never once did I disrespect Minnesota.
It's also for the fact that they got swept. Like that's more so the
Like
reason.
this was outside of Game 4. This really wasn't that competitive. It felt
and
like
it took
for a lot of these
Booker
games.
dropping 49 for it to be a
And
6
KD had an
point
efficient 30-35 ball last night too.
Somebody
they
had
got
9.
swept.
Yeah. They're
Oh, it was
big,
Bradley
they're big
Beal.
acquisition.
Somebody had 9.
No,
boys.
it was Bradley Beal, and we're going to talk about the Suns
Those
later.
splits really weren't that bad either. His
just wasn't
lack
good,
of
bro.
Yeah, facts. No, not aggressive.
This was tough.
It was a sweep. Vegas got it wrong because they had the Suns favored in this series. The Wolves came in as underdogs. I mean, we're not going to act like before this series, this was a series that people were leaning the Suns. And it wasn't just off of star power. That might have been a reason, but it's because in the regular season, these games did not favor the Wolves.
Joel,
That's why.
You know, the truth of the matter is we don't give a fuck about the outside guys. And only reason we're giving you a hard time is because at this table, Wolves. And you're the Wolves guy. It shocked not just
definitely
us.
did shock
it
us
shocked
like
everyone
shit
that's
when you took
watching
it.
this show.
I thought you were gonna stand
that
tall.
you went first and said, I'm going with Phoenix. That's why I'm giving you a hard time. Obviously, I understand your thought process. In the regular season, sure, the Suns had their number, but it was a certain type of respect that you had to have. For one, you riding for Minnesota last year and coming into this year, you being pretty much right. They were one game away from finishing at the top seed. You were on the right side and then flipped the script on everyone. That's the only reason I'm giving you a hard time. And they got swept.
You could get the last question on the test wrong. That doesn't mean you failed. I still passed the test.
I don't know.
No, bro. This was the test.
If you
passed
the
all
test.
those quizzes.
Quizzes.
And shit.
You did your quizzes. You did your homework.
You did
Yo,
your
you did every homework assignment.
100%.
Everything. And then for the big exam, your stomach turned a notch. You
fumbled.
started to sweat, and you got every question
The
wrong.
last question, brother. Come on.
Listen, of course,
man.
I wish I would have picked the Wolves. Talking to even Jessica about it, I told her, you know what?
What was her thoughts on the series? I'm curious.
Do you think the Suns were going to win?
Before or after?
Before and after.
Like going in, what'd she think?
Well, listen, she hasn't trusted the Suns all year.
I know that.
After the series, she's been she's been sad about it that the Suns lost, but you know, I've been the one to tell her like, hey, listen, you know, it's not like you didn't see this coming.
Yeah.
You know, she was more pessimistic about the Suns than I was. I was a person saying, hey, listen,
they can get it done.
There might be something. There might be something here. Listen, it was a hard decision for me. I hated that this was the first round matchup because against anybody else, I was picking the Wolves for sure. But
Anybody else? Interesting. That's
even
a good
Dallas,
one.
I picked the Wolves, and I know it's easy
Even
to say
OKC?
now. OKC,
You're the new guy on the block.
I think that could be a Western Conference Finals matchup. And here's the thing:
We
I
don't
think
have to ask the Clippers. We know what he was doing.
off of the first round, obviously, I picked the Suns. Not my best moment. I wish I could take it back. I can't. It is what it is. Wolves fans I know still got love for me because I got love for them. It's a mutual feeling. Number two, I think what the Wolves proved in this series is what's most important of them all. This team is the championship team.
I agree.
It's a team that can legitimately go to the finals and not only go, but they can win the NBA championship. That's how good this team is. That's how good their defense is.
I agree.
Their offense, the fact that it took a leap, granted, against a weaker defense, the fact that it took a leap and was much better in the playoffs is now giving you more optimism that, hey, if we could play offense at a high level, we could be anybody. Because the physicality this team plays with, the competitiveness, the toughness, it was magnified because of the lack thereof that the Suns had. But at the same time, this is a team that has that ferociousness. They have a player in Anthony Edwards who is a true superstar.
He is.
And he is one of those guys that everybody collectively has realized he is a special, rare, and unique type of player. And the pieces around him, it fits so perfectly. Karl Anthony Towns, one of the more underrated players in the league. He's had to adapt from different roles for years in Minnesota. He gets Anthony Edwards as a counterpart. He does not push back once on who the guy is. Nope. He gives it to Ant-Man. And what helps is that Ant-Man is not arrogant. He's not arrogant about it. Because even with everybody collectively knowing Ant is the guy, Ant will point to every one of his teammates and say,
Great guy.
It's actually him.
Great guy.
It's him. It's him. Cat's our best player. Rudy, if he plays like that, we won't lose.
Type of shit to get you goosebumps, honestly. He's really like that.
If Nas Reed and Alexander Walker do their jobs off the bench, nobody can beat us. He gives credit to everybody on a team, in a way that young players typically do not do. He's an extrovert. He's eccentric. And he has changed Minnesota's franchise. And Timberwolves fans got to be lucky that they got a player like that. Rudy Gobert shifting the narrative from him from Utah to Minnesota. There's a lot of things to like about this Minnesota team because it's a lot of guys that have had narratives around them that have broken those stigmas. And this team is most well equipped to beat Denver. I still think Denver beats the Lakers, but Jamal Murray has not played well in this series, not shot well.
And banged up.
Jaden, Ant-Man, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, being able to be aggressive against Jamal Murray. Rudy Gobert can guard Aaron Gordon, and you can have Cat, a bigger body, on Jokic, and you can have help on that side. The Nuggets shooting against the Lakers is not being good. KCP is not shot well. Everybody else is not shot well outside of MPJ.
Off the catch and shoot, outside of MPJ and Jokic, they're shooting 10%.
Last year, the Timberwolves and Nuggets series could have went to 6 had Ant-Man hit a game winner. Now they got Jaden and Naz Reid. They didn't have those two players last year. This is a team that very well, they could upset the Nuggets in the first round. And the most important thing to take away from the series is that, not only did they win, but they dominated in a way that they showed everybody, oh, wait, this team has the potential to really win a championship this year. And I think that's the most important takeaway.
It's very reminiscent, I think, of the 2022 Celtics. I think you have this young team going up against I guess there's a big three, but mostly, yes, Kevin Durant, this elite jump shooting team, KD and Kyrie, and the other side, of course, you got Bradley Beal, Booker, and Kevin Durant, a team that's predicated on defense, the best defense in both circumstances, especially when you just talk about the second half of the season for Boston in 2022. You have these young, up-and-coming, one superstar with Tatum and Anthony Edwards. There's a lot of similarities between these two teams, and I think the number one thing that's going for Minnesota, they have a lot going for them, but they have this swagger and confidence. Not that it's unwarranted, because they 1,000% should feel that way, but a type of confidence that you need when you're going up against the Denver Nuggets, a type of confidence you need when you're going up against the defending champion, you're going up against the best player in the world, going up against the best duo in the league. This is the type of confidence you need to bring into a series. I'm not saying the Lakers didn't have that, but it felt like after game 1, game 2, when it's like, oh shit, it's the same thing again. Even though they won game 4, it's like, I don't know if they have that same sort of bravado that Ant and the Timberwolves are going to be bringing to this upcoming series. And these first 4 games that we saw against the Phoenix Suns, it's really a 180 of what we saw in the regular season, at least offensively. They're the only team to sweep in round 1. Best offensive rating in the playoffs, as we mentioned. Offensive rating of 123, by the way, which would have been number 1 if you look at just all the teams in the regular season. Highest points per game out of all of these teams. Second highest or second best net rating. Second highest true shooting percentage. Ant-Man, him and Jokic in terms of best playoff performer so far, probably Jokic number 1, but Ant is number 2 right there with him. You have 3 games of 30-plus points. Shout out to AD, but unfortunately down 3-1. 3 games of 30-plus points from Ant. You have Karl-Anthony Towns averaging 19, over 50% from the field, over 50% from 3. Everything's clicking offensively, at least for what we've seen so far. The only thing I'm still slightly concerned about is outside of game 4, and that kind of got away at the end, we haven't really seen them in clutch moments, I think, in this series. I feel like especially in the third quarters and early in the fourth, we've seen Minnesota kind of take away life from the Suns, especially I think that was that game 2 or game 3 game where they outscored them like 26-10 and it was 51-50 at halftime. And then defensively, we know how great they can be. Devin Booker was great game 4, shout out to him, but games 1 through 3, he averaged 20 a game. You're talking about 6 for 16, 5 for 16, 6 of 13, had 6 turnovers in game 2 as well. KD was great games 1 and 4, but 2 and 3, he was held to under 45% shooting in both of those games. And Bradley Beal, I know the numbers might look okay, or at least compared to these other guys, but if you take into account kind of the issues he had with Frank Vogel at the end of this past game, or game 3 or 4, I forgot which one, where he was brushing off the hand when he's trying to dap him up, where you have him kind of joking after he got swept because he said, well, I'd be damned. He got swept and he said, I'm damned. It was a bit of a disaster, I think, to end the season for the Phoenix Suns, and we'll get more in-depth into them later. Then lastly, of course, you got to shout out Jaden McDaniels, who held Devin Booker and Bradley Beal to 23.1% shooting in this series.
Goodness gracious.
I know we get on his ass for offense. We get on his ass for shooting. If he's going to be the best perimeter defender in the league, the $27 million, I think, is worth it. If he's going to give you this level of high leverage defense against some of the best players on the planet, and you could still get a game or two where he's going to hit around 40% of his threes, where he could even have a game where he's one of your best shooters, to me, that's worth the $25+ million investment, as well as the upside he has, because he's still, 23 years old or something.
It shows you the Jaylen Brown scoring upside.
Yeah, lot to go to the Jaylen Brown upside, but the defensive upside is far and away better than Jaylen Brown's, because Jaylen Brown's a great defender in his own right. Jaden McDaniels is best in the league type of defense. But, I mean, this is, if you're the Timberwolves, and I tweeted this out, this is the toughest matchup for Denver, I think. From a matchup perspective, well, you could put Jaden on him. When you could put Jaden on Jamal Murray, you could put Ant on Jamal Murray. As you mentioned, you have different looks to throw at Joker, even though I know Joker is going to get his.
Oh, yeah.
From a just matchup schematic standpoint, plus the confidence that the Wolves are going into, this is going to be, I think, the toughest matchup for the Nuggets.
I was going to say, we saw in 2 games that when you have a dominant pressing big down low on the scoring side, well, the one that I can compare it to is Anthony Davis, who's been balling out against the Nuggets. He went in the 2 games that he played against Minnesota this season. He's averaging over 30. Nikola Jokic, obviously the best player in basketball. You can argue has been the best player in these playoffs still. He's going to have his way against Minnesota, but you look at the matchups, and what you said perfectly is that if Jamal Murray's not at 100%, if Jamal Murray's going to continue to struggle the way that he has against the Los Angeles Lakers, you can definitely look at Minnesota and say this is a team that can upset the Denver Nuggets. I would go in, and if that is the matchup, I say if, because I'm always going to be hopeful for my Lake show. But of course, 0 for 152. I would still take the Nuggets off what they've shown me just in the regular season, in this postseason, of course, last year's run. But the fact that Jamal Murray has been playing as shaky as he has, but MPJ has upped his level of play once again, because MPJ has most definitely been the second best player on the Denver Nuggets. You have Aaron Gordon still balling the hell out. The Denver Nuggets starting 5 is the best starting 5 in basketball, but when they could just go ahead and you have Nickeil Alexander-Walker now suddenly hitting shots, his great defense, you have Naz Reid off the bench also, it becomes a point where does the amount of matchups that we can throw at their second best offensive scoring player, can that be enough? And if you get past the Denver Nuggets, there's no reason to think that you can't win the whole thing. Because if you can get out the West, hell, you can win the whole thing, no doubt about it. But in this matchup, I mean, I think we saw a lot. Riv, you've been very vocal about this. Rudy Gobert and how versatile and how impactful he is for Minnesota's defense. We've seen it all season long, obviously, as he is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. The Minnesota Timberwolves were the #1 defense in basketball. But again, his ability to even step out a little bit, play on the perimeter if need be, his ability to pass out also and kick out to the open guy from 3. Everything about this defense hit at 100% against the Phoenix Suns. And Game 4, obviously, back against the wall. You're going to see D-Book. You're going to see Kevin Durant at their best. And they still took their best punch on the road and was still able to close out. Shows you how special Anthony Edwards is with a 40 ball of his own, an efficient 40 ball. Cat having the mind, and you see the chemistry between the two of them in the presser after, where Ant's telling it how it is. You stay out of foul trouble, we win this game. There's no answer for you. There was never an answer for Karl Anthony Towns. That was the truth. And when you saw that he was able to stay on the court, he obviously dominated in that fashion. It's going to be a great series versus Denver if that is the matchup. But again, with the way that Murray's playing, you can 100% make the case Minnesota can go to the NBA Finals.
I was reading this question, and it gave me a lot of thought. Definitely gave me a lot of thought, because as I was talking to Dehls a couple days ago, same way I feel about the Clippers in Dallas is how I feel about Phoenix. I never thought Phoenix was that good.
I agree.
I always thought they were just this team with a lot of star power, but the issues were really glaring, and there was just no way they'll be able to flip that switch at any point. And I think there's a big difference between elite defenses in the regular season and a playoff defense. I think Minnesota is that, they're a playoff defense. They have multiple guys that can defend, long, lengthy, good wingspan. They have a anchor down low. They have guys that are connected. They switch 1 through 5. They can guard 1 through 5. So I think this is a playoff defense. For me to say, I feel like I would have to believe a little bit more in Phoenix. I don't believe in Phoenix at all, so I don't think this was the test that kind of puts them there. I think the test is coming up. It will be Denver in the second round. And I think with this defense, the way they can play 1 through 5, you mentioned that Jamal Murray has not been outside his outside his fourth quarters in that game when he hit the game winner. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been the best. You mentioned that MPJ has been on a heater though. So if you can get those 3 on fire, Jamal can kick it up. It's going to be tough to beat Denver, but the Timberwolves, they do have Jaden McDaniels. They have Nick Alexander-Walker, Ant Edwards. You know, they have Cat. They have Nas. They have a lot of good defenders, great defenders, I want to say. So it would definitely be a tough matchup. For me, it's offensively, how would they be able to keep up? Because we mentioned it. They were pretty great against Phoenix, but I think Phoenix defensively is just not all there. Like, Kevin Durant is a great defender individually, but I don't think he's a riser in that department for a defense like this. You know, even in Golden State, it was Draymond and then him. So I think with Phoenix, it kind of gives you not an illusion. I don't want to be disrespectful, but it kind of gives you like that feeling like, all right, they were great offensively, but it was against Phoenix. Denver provides a little bit of a different challenge. But I think this series coming up, I think this is the real test, because I think going up against the defending champions, going up against the best player in the world, going up against an offense that's a little bit more difficult, an offense that's a little bit more pace and space. You know, they move the ball well. They can run you in multiple pick and rolls. They have a counter for everything you can do. I think that kind of stretches your defense, and that makes it a lot harder to figure out rotations, figure out who's guarding who. So I think this right here, like, I think Phoenix was the perfect defensive matchup for where they can just sit. You got Rudy Gobert. He was great in switches. You know, you have guys coming off the bench that can lock in. I think this one right here would really prove it, because, you know, realistically, if they come out of this series, you can beat anybody. But for me, like, I'm a stamping early. I think OKC and Minnesota will see each other in the WCF. It will be the battle of the young teams. I think SGA versus Ant-Man is going to be one of them battles, you know. And I think both of these teams are going to go there.
I think that's a great pick. That's a pick. That's a pick.
You're riding with Minnesota.
Yeah. You know, I don't like them, but I can put the bias aside. You know?
Listen, that's been a pick that all year long. I've wanted to see these two young teams in the West Conference Finals, Minnesota and OKC. I think it'd be fun. I think it's a great matchup, just stylistically. They both play different ways, which is going to be fun. Denver, even with me saying that they're going to go to the championship, they're going to two-peat, I'd never felt like they are this level of team like a KD Warriors, where they're just unbeatable. I think they could be beaten.
It's just Jokic, man.
I know
the
it's
guy
it's
just
Jokic.
takes it to another level in the biggest moments of the game. Even when we won in Game 4, and it was a 7-point game at one point in time in that fourth quarter, I didn't feel good. Even when it got back to 12, even when it got to 14, I never felt good.
Until that buzzer sounded,
Nikola Jokic.
Dehls kept saying, "Here we go."
I was like, "It's gonna happen." Right?
And I understand that, because obviously I watch every single time they play against one another, and it has always ended up the same way. You have MPJ, who still knocks down clutch shots. Aaron Gordon, you always have to keep a mind out for him, but Jokic simply sees everything, and he could just take away a lead in a blink of an eye. I understand what you're saying. Not the KD Warriors. That's fair. The talent is simply not Steph. It's not KD. It's not Clay. It's
The Nuggets
not Dre,
are not
it's
unbeatable. That's what I'm saying. They're not.
I don't know. I understand, especially if
Makes
Jamal's
sense
not hitting.
for you to say it, because
Correct.
they've owned you.
If
guys.
Jamal's not hitting, they're not unbeatable. But if Jamal figures it out, I'm back on that side. They are unbeatable.
But here's the thing about that is, we know what Jokic is. He's the best player in the world. When he did not have Jamal Murray, they didn't go far in the playoffs.
Correct.
They got swept by the Suns in 4. Chris
That was in the
Paul was
second round,
abusing
though.
that drop. They did. You know, he got past Portland. Yeah, he was able to uplift them to the second round. Jamal Murray, we undermine his importance in this thing.
I would never
undermine
do
it.
that. I would never do that.
I know we are on the same page in
Yeah.
this. I don't know how Dehls feels. Listen, I'm not trying to start an argument. I'm just saying, Jamal Murray, we know he's a big, tough shot maker. We know that
For sure.
he creates in big moments. He did so against the Lakers in game 2, I believe.
5
game 2,
jumpers
where he had the
straight.
game winner. You're not going to neutralize Jokic. He's going to dominate his matchup. If you can hold Jamal Murray to below average performances, you can win. It's the same thing that happened in the bubble. I mean, as great as Jokic was, when they made the conference finals in the bubble, Jamal Murray had 250 balls in the first round. In the second round, he was amazing in Game 7 against the Clippers. Versus the Lakers, he was amazing in that series. He's been a playoff riser, but the Timberwolves genuinely have the best personnel to keep up with him. We're talking about a 6'11 Jaden McDaniels on a 6'4 Jamal Murray, one of the best point of attack defenders in the league. Nothing is going to be easy. And when Jaden is a little tired, you got 6'5", 6'6 Nikola Alexander-Walker guarding him. It's a tough matchup, and if you can hold him to a struggle, you can beat the Nuggets.
But that's where Jokic, being the unbelievable ball handler and facilitator that he is, becomes at the forefront of that series. Because now you have Jokic at the top of the key running the show. Now either Cat or Gobert, you mentioned probably you throw Cat on him to start, which makes sense. You have Rudy Gobert hanging near the basket, near Aaron Gordon. But now you have Jokic at the top running the show. And you just have Jamal Murray running around. You come off the screens. MPJ, same thing.
Can't forget KCP. Man.
It's still not a great matchup because Nikola Jokic is so simply the best in the game.
The Timberwolves, when they play the Nuggets, and that's what I think match was going to be. I don't think it's going to be their defense that loses them the series. It's what their offense is going to be.
Of course.
In the first round against the Suns, here's a piggyback off Rick's point about how big of a challenge were the Suns really. The Wolves took 108 open or wide open threes in the series. They were 39% of those. They only took 16 threes that were tightly contested in the series. They shot 19%.
Half of them shits was probably Ant-Man.
So we're talking about 108 open or wide open threes to 16 tightly contested ones.
What the fuck was Phoenix doing?
The Suns,
No, they can't do it.
Their rotations, because they had to help on every drive, were leading to wide open shots. The Wolves, this entire series, got wide open 3-point shots.
108's irresponsible.
Against a better playoff defense like what Denver is.
Dehls can explain that.
They're not going to give up as much open threes. There's going to be more tightly contested threes.
Effort a lot of times.
And then there's another number. In this series, they had a 39% offensive rebound percentage.
It's disgusting.
No, they destroyed them.
4 of 10 shots that went up, they got an offensive rebound.
And that's not really going to happen against Denver.
It's not.
No.
So those are the two things that if you're a Wolves fan, you got to count on. That's going to regress.
And I don't even think, when they were home, I didn't feel like their offense was efficient. What was getting them going was getting deflections, getting steals on the defense, and getting out in transition. Like, their defense makes their offense, and then their offense starts to get it going, get it clicking. It's going to be a little tougher because Denver is a more cohesive unit. They like they have the Joker, they have Jamal. They don't really turn the ball over too much. So it's going to be definitely a little different, and you kind of know what Phoenix does every possession. Like, they're so predictable. You know what they're going to do in the sense of where Denver, they can run all these 50 sets. You don't know what the hell. KCP might get the ball. You're like, oh, shit, we forgot about KCP. Oh, we forgot about the Aaron Gordon back cut. Damn, we forgot MPJ, 6'10". He's in the corner. Mike Conley's guarding him. He's going to shoot that every time. So it's definitely schematically, like you mentioned, Joel. It's just going to be such a beautiful, different game, and I'm excited to see Chris Finch versus Mike Malone.
That's why I don't want to. We're not making predictions yet. I guess you kind of made your prediction already.
Mine's pretty locked in.
That's why I don't want to make my prediction yet. Because
I'm stand on it.
I respect.
I'm riding with the young boys.
There's logic behind it. But then again, Aaron Gordon, still a great defender in his own right. That Karl Anthony Towns, Aaron Gordon matchup won't be that great. KCP is probably going to end up playing defense on Anthony Edwards. You like that for Anthony Edwards, but that's still
he's an all-NBA type
He's
defender.
for sure, for sure.
Cat's going to be the X factor in the series.
It has to be. Always
he got
every series Minnesota's in. The X factor will always be Karl Anthony Towns.
That's why I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Just say, listen, I'll applaud you for taking Minnesota. I think they're going to be pretty heavy underdogs, even with this series.
Any team's going to be underdog against them.
Just because, like you guys have mentioned, going against Phoenix and going against Denver, it's just two completely different battles. Phoenix, we're going to talk about them in this next segment, but they were just thrown together. There was just a lot of talent here, and there was some role players. Shout out to Grayson Allen, who unfortunately really wasn't able to play in this series. But outside of him, there was really no role players that you signed those minimums to that banked that actually cashed in on that contract and did anything. Nurkic had a really bad series. So you're going from a team that was kind of thrown together with, we got a big three, we got guys that could beat you off the dribble, we got guys that could pull up in your face, we got guys that could shoot, but we don't really have this team cohesive scheme that's going to consistently beat you play in and play out, night in and night out. Denver's the opposite, where we know they have the talent, they got the top end talent, they got the role players, they even got a couple of young players that play well, but they actually have play in and play out, mentally be able to beat you as well as physically be able to beat you.
Let me ask you another question, though.
Me?
No, just the table.
Oh, you pointed at me.
I did. I'm just kind of sorry. The vicinity that you're in, that's kind of where I'm talking. You don't think that Gobert as a man is just going to be like, I want that?
What?
I want that matchup of Nikola Jokic. Remember?
I think it's got to be what's best for the team.
I think he cares about what's best for the team.
Because
I want that.
Watching the Lakers, understand that AD wants to play defense on Jokic. I think he does want to play defense on Jokic, but it does not matter Jokic is he's a mismatch for anyone. Gobert in that situation where I'm describing, where you have Jokic top key, it simply makes zero sense for Gobert to come out and meet him there. Is there a point in the series where we see that?
Yeah, you're definitely going to get looks where Gobert's going to have to go up and guard Jokic.
Because if that's the case, that's food.
We've been talking about Cat's offense,
the Joker.
But Cat's defense has been night and day from what we've seen in previous years.
An effort. It's been an effort thing for wholeheartedly.
Cat's defense has been a hell, because he used to be the guy you could pick on. That is not the case anymore.
But you understand what I'm saying, where you have Gobert now step out. I'm at the top of the key. I'm Nikola Jokic. Gobert comes. So now I have the paint free. I don't have to worry about this tower that has been a nightmare.
You got to get past Gobert, though. Gobert, he's not easy to get past by.
It's Nikola Jokic.
But he's slower than Gobert. Gobert, it's not easy to get past by.
Put him in the post. Fucking baby him all the way down. He hits his little jump hook.
I don't think the weakness for Gobert is a perimeter at all. I don't.
I only say where you bring Gobert out now.
Well, technically, it is the weakness. His strength is
correct.
The one of the two, he's not as good at the perimeter as he is in the paint.
It's not a weakness.
Yes,
it's just if you had to say the weaker of the two, it would be the perimeter. I agree with that. But automatically, a win for the Nuggets is taking Gobert out the paint.
Here's how I see it. They're going to start the series out with Cat on Jokic. That's what they're going to do. They're going to have Gobert roam on Gordon. The only way they switch off that coverage, and they might even throw different looks, but the way they switch off that coverage is on those screening actions, Cat is going to have to meet Jamal Murray at the level of the screen. Cat is going to have to contest Murray out there. If he is getting cooked in space, that's when you throw Gobert.
That's probably happening
on a perimeter.
And
maybe, because I think it's also Cat, of course, he doesn't have the foot speed.
Correct.
But he has the length.
I've seen AD get cooked
underrated
off that.
thing, Cat was in a lot of foul trouble in the series against Phoenix.
Every game,
so if he gets in foul trouble, that's tough.
And even in that situation where now you have Jokic and you have Karl Anthony Towns playing defense, and then you have Jokic back Karl Anthony Towns down, make his move, Gobert now comes. Who better in a double team?
No, you don't. I think even with...
It's just such a mismatch.
They're going to vary it up. They're not going to play just one way. When Gobert meets Murray at the level of the screen, even if the rotation gets messed up, you still have a 7-footer in Cat that's rotating over that will be disciplined in his coverages. I think ultimately it's just about what's working and what's not. If you really need to have Cat off of Jokic, then you do it. If you don't, then you stick with it because Gobert is more impactful as a interior rim protector than he is going out into space because you have that presence. If you could take the paint away, that's going to be huge for Minnesota. But that's why I don't think this series is going to come down to Minnesota's defense not being good enough. I think Minnesota's defense for the entire series will make it extremely tough and suffocating. I think where Minnesota has to win this series is by making their open three-point shots. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has some great games. He shot 33% from three overall in the series. It's Jaden McDaniels. He's going to be the one that's left open. It's you got to hit above 36% clip. You can't hit below that. You have to be consistent. You have to hit your shots. It's about Cat getting those mismatches on. Even Aaron Gordon, he's been a phenomenal defender. I think Cat, that's a mismatch. I think Cat should win that matchup.
He should.
Cat has to get going. Anthony Edwards has to get those paint touches.
Absolutely.
It's about their offense. I think where their advantage is that I didn't mention just yet is just that they have a much better bench. They're a deeper team. With Naz Reid and Alexander Walker coming off the bench, you don't have two guys off of Denver's bench that make that big of an impact as those two guys.
Peyton Watson's pretty tough. I've watched
he's really good, but
play
the impact of Naz Reid.
I want to say Naz offensively got it, but in terms of Peyton Watson defensively,
Watson is shooting 22% from three.
That's why
he gets left, but that could screw up your offense because you're going to leave Peyton Watson open.
So you're going to leave Walker open too. So it's just about.
I feel better about Walker.
Yeah, 100%.
It's their bench where they have that advantage, and when Denver has to make some substitutions, it's about Naz Reid and Alexander Walker. Mostly Naz Reid taking control on offense and making a big contribution because he averaged the least amount of points of the top 7 players. He averaged 9.5 points in the series. You want to see him up that. He was great defensively. Everybody was on Minnesota damn near, but that's where I think Minnesota has legit advantages. I think it all starts with you got to stop Jamal Murray. If you stop him, the chances of you winning the series skyrocket.
Astronomical.
Yeah, that's what I think. Anthony Edwards from this series took the mantle of the best shooting guard in the NBA. I think quite clearly, he just outplayed Devin Booker thoroughly. You understand that Minnesota got better defensive personnel.
Yeah, there was no answer for him.
But you see Anthony Edwards versus Devin Booker. You see the attitude that Anthony Edwards plays with, the unstoppable force he is driving to the rim. He's better than Devin Booker, especially on defense. He's much better than him. And with Donovan Mitchell, I think Edwards is better than Donovan Mitchell too. I don't think there's a better two guard in the league than Anthony Edwards right now.
We got a would you rather possibly?
We do have a would you rather.
Oh, would you look at this?
It is would you rather Anthony Edwards edition. First name up. Let's start off with Devin Booker.
Go with Ant, man.
Going with that, man.
Ant.
I'm gonna go with Anthony Edwards. Next name up, John Moran.
Ja.
I'm going with Ant, man.
That's close. Who are you going with?
I'm going with Anthony Edwards.
He's always been going with
I'll probably go with Anthony Edwards too.
It's crazy. You look back at that video, the first time we ever talked about it, two people that said Anthony Edwards at that time were me and Joel.
Over who, Ja?
Over Ja.
We saw the vision, man.
That shit is
I don't know why
still
why
close
do you
as
say
fuck.
things. This is where the disrespect comes from, bro.
It's not disrespectful.
No, because
not.
It's a you think it's
It's
disrespectful.
understanding Ja is elite, but so is Ant.
And has the shooting that does it for me.
shooting.
Yes.
Slightly.
Ja's
He
a
has
good
the
shooter in the
defense.
playoffs.
He has a defense.
Defense for sure.
The difference.
Defense for sure.
The defense.
But I think as a
is-
shooter and upside is way higher than Ja's.
Is the defensive gap the same as the playmaking gap? Because I feel like it is.
okay.
I feel like it is.
It might
Ja's
be.
better.
Okay.
And I think playmaking is more important for a guard.
Don't do that.
It is.
Don't
It
do
is.
that.
Ant's a
Not in
two-guard.
today's. Not in today's game though.
Ja's a point guard.
Not in today's
Yeah,
game.
but
should be a
they're
better
both
playmaker.
primary creators for the offense.
Yeah, but Ant's giving me elite level defense.
Yeah,
I would take
guess.
that and
he's
solid
only,
playmaking
and
over.
I would argue he's only the
Other way.
primary playmaker because obviously he has the ball in his hands the most. But is there a point guard? Well, they don't really run Mike
What are you
Conley like
saying?
that.
You talk about
They're forcing
Minnesota.
Anthony. Correct.
Well, he's their best scorer.
Correct.
So
But you said playmaking. I'm assuming you're saying facilitating, passing.
just everything.
Well, then, I mean, if we're saying just everything, then you have Anthony Edwards shooting at an efficient clip
Ja's a better playmaker.
because
Yeah,
of the
you're
you're saying
confusing
because
me.
of the passing.
You know, Ja's a better passer.
Correct.
No,
By far.
Outside of playmaking, what is Ja better at?
I think he's better at the rim. I think Ja's one of the best creators.
I don't
at the
disagree
rim.
with that.
I think they get to the rim equally.
Yes,
as
I would
well.
say Ja's better,
They
but
get
that's close.
differently, but equally. Yeah,
I
yeah,
say
see
that
what
for
you're
the
saying.
idea that Ja is not as good of a jump shooter or won't take the amount of volume that we see
No,
Anthony,
but he can
he'll
hit.
finish at that fucking rim.
Look,
He
There-
can
there's
hit.
no
Ja
doubt.
can shoot in the playoffs, man.
He can. I saw it against the Lakers.
There's no doubt that I
Saw it.
think, you know, as of recently,
Minnesota.
John Morant has been a better regular season performer than Ant. But
playoffs.
in the playoffs, I think Ant has been a better player.
Easy.
been-
I
he's
wouldn't
been-
against
he's been
Memphis.
there more.
Excuse me, against Utah, he was OD in his first
No,
playoff.
he was.
tip.
He was. There's
He
no
was
doubt.
Yeah,
insane.
Ja's only played 4 playoff
series,
series.
yes.
Not even 3.5.
and he was great
And
against.
what are his stats?
30, 27, 25. I was just going number. I didn't feel like reading all into it.
So you didn't like round it up? So
I
just
rounded
like
one up.
no,
24.6.
as a total career.
Oh, 27.3.
Anthony Edwards is 28.9.
Yeah, so that's not
5.5
crazy gap.
rebounds, 4.6 assists, 1.6 steals, 1.3 blocks.
Ja's at 27, 9, and 7.
Ja
with 2 steals.
and Ja got injured against the Lakers.
Anthony Edwards averaging 1.3 blocks per game in the playoffs.
What the fuck you want me to do about that? He's
No,
a
that, I
better
mean
defender.
he's a two guard.
Ja's
That's
averaging
tough.
9 assists.
What's the efficiency?
That's insane.
Anthony Edwards shooting 48% from the field, 39% from three,
Ja's shooting 45% from the field, 35% from 3-point line.
and he's shooting 83.7% from the free throw line.
Ja's shooting 76.
So that's where he has the advantage. really,
Again,
in the-
Riv, it's
in the-
not a bad thing.
They're close.
What's his PER?
Okay,
Oh,
here
God,
he
not the
goes.
P.
Ja's played better defense.
What's his VORP?
The PER is a good stat. I don't know why y'all.
I do like PER.
I like it.
I've always liked PER.
you want me to
But
go
you're the one that
look
would come to me and say,
PER?
it's a,
I guess I'll find it. Like I don't really. I gotta find it. I'll find it.
You go to Basketball Reference, you go to Advanced, and you go to Playoffs.
What's Ant's P?
Ants is 23.7.
for his career?
Yeah.
For the playoffs.
In the last two playoffs, in his first playoffs, it was 17.8. In the last two, it's 27.5 and 27.6. Right now.
So Ja's was 22 his first playoff run. The next one was 24, and against the Lakers he was 18.
Yeah.
So he didn't play well against that Lakers team.
I do think from what I've seen from Edwards, he's just looked better personally. But and I
feel
will
like
say,
but me and you were gonna say that
The
because
first
we're a little
time-
bit biased in that department.
the first time they met in the playoffs, the Timberwolves should have won that series. I don't care what nobody says.
They
Why
choked.
does that matter?
They
Why
blew
does
the
that
lead.
matter?
It's not
Bro,
they should have.
you
Forget
can't do
about it.
this.
They choked.
But I'm
sure
saying that's a
Ja can
second
say
year
the same,
Anthony
but
Edwards.
Ja can say the same thing in the second round. If I don't go hurt, I can possibly beat Golden State.
Can I say the Celtics should have won the title 2 years ago? We were up 2-1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But
what's the point?
it doesn't matter.
Like,
You know?
No,
you're
but I'm
gonna
just
sit there
saying,
and
in
laugh
that
at me.
series, and Anthony Edwards' first taste in the playoffs with a worse team than he has now, he almost beat Ja.
Ja's putting up insane numbers against better defenses.
In the playoffs.
Yes.
Utah was the first defense, fraudulent defense.
For sure.
They were
But
still
they had a
number
defense
one.
built
Yeah,
to
Because
stop him.
but they had no perimeter defenders though. They had
No,
perimeter defenders.
whoa. That was you're right.
They had no.
Then
They got
then he
exposed.
played Minnesota, good defense.
Yep.
And then he played Golden State, great defense.
Actually, that year they played Minnesota. Jaden McDaniels did not have a big role on that
They were
team
a good
yet.
defense, though. I said good. I didn't
They
say
were
great.
good.
They were a good defense.
But
And then
Golden
Golden State.
Vando was the primary defender, but he was getting played off. I think in that series,
Who was guarding him?
I want to see who was playing the most minutes.
Probably who was guarding him that year?
Man, it sucks because the Timberwolves really should have won that.
What was going on for what ifs?
Yeah, man.
Sick,
No,
bro.
I swear to God, they should have won though.
Bro, I promise you it doesn't matter.
I swear to
It
God.
does not even a little bit.
No, it does matter. So the leading scorer in that series was Desmond Bane at 23.5.
Yes,
Ja scored 21. Ant scored 25 a game in that series. So Ant-Man was better in that series.
Because of scoring?
Ja's efficiency was 38% from the field and 20% from three.
Bro, that was a bad match.
Anthony Edwards was 25 a game, 45% from the field, 40% from three.
No, he was a more efficient for sure.
So the lead in minutes in Minnesota is Ant-Man, Cat, D'Lo, who play like shit. Patrick Beverly and McDaniels played 21 minutes per game, and Vando played 21 minutes.
You're going up against Vando and Jaden McDaniels. You're going at the rim.
It's a tough matchup.
Yeah, come on.
But Jaden's much better today.
And then he played Golden State, which is what?
And Ant's better today. And they got Gobert now. If they matched up again, Minnesota will beat them easily.
That's because schematically, that's a great matchup for that's a terrible matchup.
Yeah, that's why
for
they
Ja.
went on and got Gobert.
Yeah, it's a terrible matchup.
That should be a series. Grizzlies come back next year with the top 5 pick. The
that's gonna be
players they
tough.
got, that should be a series.
Listen, we'll be back.
But it's not disrespectful to say Anthony Edwards over Ja.
I think
not.
it's disrespectful to wipe him away from the conversation.
He's
Nobody's
not
wiping
wiped
away.
away.
I think I said it.
I
too
mentioned
quick. I
him.
didn't like the quickness.
He's in the
They're
Would You
both top
Rather.
15 players.
We're here then.
Both top 15.
We're here.
He's in the Would You Rather. That's not wiped away from the
We're here.
combo.
It was a little too quick for me. I didn't like that. I wanted some thought, you know? Just some thinking. And I know how you get with Ja. You know, you're a hater. You're a
I'm
Memphis
not.
hater. No, it's a full
Ja's
video.
fine.
You're a Memphis
Ja's a great
hater. You're a
player.
known Memphis hater. So, you know.
It's just that whenever these conversations come up, you like to discount Edwards from them. That's what it really be.
No, he's in it.
No, you just like to defend Ja like to your last breath, which I respect.
He's one of them dogs, man.
He's a dog.
I gotta listen. I'm gonna defend my brothers to their last death. I ain't gonna jump.
So we
off
done
the-
seen we just measured their playoff stats. Anthony Edwards better in the playoffs. Anthony Edwards outplayed him in the playoffs.
How they were literally
We were so close to
similar.
moving on.
They were similar, but Edwards was better.
And literally in assists and rebounds, Ja was better.
An efficiency, Edwards was better, and a defense, he was
it was
better.
right there, bro. He's oh my god.
And a PER, he was better too.
This is why. This is why. I can't
His
have
fair
debates.
argument is that there was no one that Anthony Edwards has gone up against on the defensive side that really could give him as difficult as a time. That's
yeah.
a good argument.
100%.
But you have to go out there and kill whoever's in front of you.
I think Ja plays well.
And
I
in
agree.
their-
I'm
and in
not
their
saying
playoff
that.
Has been
series-
universally known as a playoff
Not
riser.
saying you're wrong at all. But Anthony Edwards
is
has
Edwards.
and been slightly better.
I think because right now, which Ja's not playing.
But last
If
year
we were-
also,
if-
it was 5 games, but it was an amazing
It
5
was, but
games.
if we wasn't-
and
if-
against Memphis,
Ja didn't have an amazing 5 games against the Lakers. He
got
had
hurt. He's
one
talking about
great
Ant.
game.
I'm talking about Ant versus
okay.
the Nuggets.
I'm saying if Ant didn't play this series, like this one he just played, I don't think you would be saying Ant's a better playoff performer. I think because he played this one right now, he was amazing. I'm not discounting. He was amazing in it. And Ja he didn't play this year.
Well, hold on.
You can put him
'Cause
over.
I want to.
He was great in the series.
I want to push back on one thing. I think he does have a fair argument with the defense argument,
Yes.
but at the same time, we're not gonna act like Anthony Edwards has been facing scrub defenses.
No,
Because
no.
as in his second year, he went up against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies had a great defense.
Yeah.
Last year, he went up the Nuggets, the champions, and they had a great defense in the playoffs.
Yes,
He averaged 31.
Yes.
And then this year, yeah, Phoenix is the one exception. Like that's a weak defense, and he completely dominated.
But this is the one that puts his numbers up, because we were comparing the numbers.
I mean, his numbers were crazy last year against Denver, too.
Who did Ja face in the first round when they lost to Golden State? Oh, it was Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Okay.
And Golden State, he was.
So he's been to the playoffs
I mean,
three
he was
times.
killing us.
was.
He was destroying us.
There was
Like,
no
there was
matchup,
nothing we
nothing
can do
that-
for him.
correct.
And we have Wiggins, Draymond. So it was like in GP, like there was nothing we could do with him. So we'll see. We'll get back next year. We'll talk next year. We'll talk soon. We'll talk soon.
Donovan Mitchell.
Ant-Man.
I would take Anthony Edwards.
That's so funny that this was on a Would You Rather that spiraled into that. Yeah, I'm going Anthony Edwards.
You forgot we were doing a Would You
I
Rather?
completely forgot.
I'm going with Anthony Edwards too. SGA.
I would take SGA.
Have to respect SGA.
Yes.
I'm not thinking twice, by the way.
Like, SGA, I think right now is a better player.
Yes.
And I think SGA had a better regular season.
Twice.
But the
SGA's having a strong
the way
playoffs.
that Edwards has risen in the playoffs,
SGA's having a really good playoffs, too.
would I rather?
Joel, calm down. Joel, please.
No, he's not consistent.
Joel,
He's not
please.
consistent, bro.
Joel, please.
Anthony Edwards is different
He's
too.
not.
He's 4 years younger. Well, who would I rather? He's 4 years younger.
He's not consistent.
SGA's putting up 28, 6, and 5 this playoffs.
This brother is about to make 2 All-NBA first teams.
Come on,
back-to-back
Joel.
years, bro.
Joel, please.
Edwards is younger.
You
He's
know
amazing.
What, you want to know what SGA's PER is so far?
Oh, shit.
That's amazing, right?
29.3.
Edwards is 27. Not a gap. Look, right now SGA is better.
No, it's not a gap. This shit is insane. Oh, my God.
What do you mean? There was a bigger gap between John's PER and Anthony Edwards' PER.
When I told you about John Ant points, you were jumping out the moon at a 1-point gap, bro.
The efficiency gap was crazy.
The efficiency gap is a little nuts.
45-35 is...
40, 47 or 48, 40, and 84.
You know what? I'm going to look up something real quick because you're pissing me off.
Look, I think...
Take SGA, bro.
No, SGA is better
just
now.
jumped on the wave.
SGA is better now.
He's only 3 years
No.
older.
That matters. That's a lot.
That's not insane. The SGA game isn't predicated on athleticism.
No, but that's a
Twitchy
lot.
movement.
You could argue it kind of is. Getting to the cup
No,
at that
it's-
consistent of a basis is athleticism.
It's more twitchy movement.
Quickness.
Quickness.
But
That
it's
is
not
athleticism.
Yeah,
Like
but it's
first
not
step.
like Ant-Man athleticism.
No,
like,
yeah,
he's not
but he's
jumping
dunking
out
on
the-
people.
Yeah, he's jumping out the building.
Who's a better jump shooter?
SGA,
Yeah,
100%.
SGA.
No,
The midi
listen,
is nuts.
It
SGA,
is nuts.
I think
SGA at
Am's
this
a better
point,
three-point shooter.
SGA at this
Correct.
point, he's a
Well
better
said.
he's a better player than Anthony Edwards. There's no doubt. He gets to the rim more. He's a better jump shooter from the mid range. He's a better pull-up shooter. He has better handle. He's a better passer. There's no doubt that SGA right now is better, but I think that it's like I would definitely think about this conversation. I think Edwards is that special. He's only in his 4th year, and
He's amazing.
is the best shooting guard in the league. I think we can't discount
It's
that.
all right to say that he's not better than SGA yet, though. That's okay.
fine.
But the would you rather's have always been.
Are
Is
you
it
your
today
answer?
or is it 5 years?
What's your answer?
Aren't you an SGA fan?
I thought you were an
Yeah,
He's a
SGA.
diehard SGA
I'm more of
fan.
an Anthony Edwards fan, though.
I thought he was going to
100%.
say I'm more of an SGA fan than
No,
you.
no.
I was ready to die.
No,
I would've been
SGA,
here.
I fuck with SGA.
We
I
know.
fuck with SGA.
We know.
We don't.
All right.
No, I think this is tough. I'm not even gonna make a pick.
So what's the
not
answer?
tough. SGA is
Not
better.
make a pick?
Nah, I'm gonna go. Listen, SGA is better right now. That's what I
So
thought.
Who would
Then
you
pick
rather?
SGA.
Who would
I
you
don't know.
rather?
I can't. I wouldn't even pick Michael Jordan over Anthony Edwards. I'll be honest with you. It's gonna be tough.
So would you rather SGA, Anthony Edwards?
Jokic or Anthony Edwards?
Let's move on to
Answer the question.
Let's move on to a different conversation.
No,
'Cause
answer the
this,
question.
This is pulling out heartstrings
I'm
too much.
sorry.
for
You
me.
have to answer the
This
question.
is embarrassing.
Do your job.
He just said and you let him walk away. You know what? I'm not even
I'm
gonna
not
repeat
letting
it.
him walk away.
I'm not even gonna repeat. You let him say that statement.
With what?
I wouldn't even pick Michael Jordan.
He obviously is trolling, Riv.
Is he?
He's trolling.
It was a joke. It was.
It's an
He told
obvious
us. He
joke.
told us.
I
he
wish
ain't
you
gonna,
could get
he ain't gonna go
In
down
top
top 15 ever. He said that he was.
Hey,
That's why I'm
Hey,
thinking about it.
he
I
gets
think
one
he's
this
top
year.
20
All
player
right.
all time.
Answer the
He's
question.
also great trajectory.
You're not going to ask the table the question and you not answer. What's the answer?
I'm going with Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Throw away any SGA love.
That's
Throw it
fine.
out the window.
What do you mean? Why?
He's done.
Why?
No, he's done.
Why?
He's done. He's
Why?
done. He's done. He's done.
Why?
He's done.
Why?
He's done. He's done.
Why?
SGA is better, right?
I think SGA is a better player right now.
right?
Yes,
Like comfortably.
I think he's a better player right now.
Comfortably.
In the regular season, he had a much better regular season.
Comfortable.
In the regular season, he's comfortably. In the playoffs, has not been
Back-to-back
comfortable.
years. Well, he's playing. He's only played 3 games.
The thing with SGA is that we're just now seeing a playoff sample size. With Anthony Edwards for the past 2 seasons, he's been at elite level.
I
in the
know.
playoffs.
I've been telling you about the sample size that we've seen.
No,
in
you've been
SGA. It's
disrespecting
minimal.
SGA.
No, see, but now you think see.
You've been
Bull.
disrespecting him.
Look, Drew.
This is crazy.
Drew,
You can't do this, Joel.
Drew, I want you to witness
He's
this.
disrespecting SGA.
No, he done. Yes,
Drew,
100%.
I want you to
How?
witness this. Dehls.
Bro, he
what I
said all season long that OKC had no chance to go up against Denver.
That was me. I'm the one that
But
said
you
that.
you weren't the one that laughed at me for implying SGA could go toe to toe with Jokic in a series.
Yes, I laughed at you.
He laughed
I
at
also
me.
laughed
They
at you.
all laughed.
And now
I
he doesn't have the
disagreed
Nuggets
strongly.
making the Western Conference Finals. Get the fuck out
They're
of
not
here.
playing OKC. They're not even playing OKC.
That's a cop out.
They're not playing OKC.
That is a cop
So
out.
who would you
know
pick?
it.
OKC or Minnesota in the series?
I'm picking OKC.
So OKC could beat the team that beat the
It's
Denver
all
Nuggets.
it's all matchup. What the fuck?
All right, he's right, though.
It's all matchup dependent. You just picked the Suns to beat Minnesota.
God,
so what are you talking about?
So hold up.
This is getting
and that
messy.
still has nothing to do with the
messy.
initial point. Drew and Dehls, listen. What have I been saying about SGA all year? Is we have to see the playoffs, correct? He
But
calls
he's never
that
projected one.
He calls that disrespectful. But then what did he just say about Ant versus SGA?
No, it's not. That's not
Ant-Man
what I'm
has
calling
the playoff
disrespectful.
hardware, right?
That's not what I'm calling disrespectful. What I'm calling disrespectful
The hypocrisy
is the
is
fact.
insane.
What I'm calling disrespectful is the fact that whenever I've propped up OKC and I've been like, listen, they are this good that they could make a conference finals run, and they're this good of a team because I think SGA is this good. You giving me pushback each time.
Joel, I just don't think they can beat Denver. That's not disrespectful.
It's
I just don't think they can beat Denver.
SGA
They can
was,
beat Minnesota.
SGA
They can
was
beat
the
the
top.
Clippers. They
SGA
can
was-
beat Dallas. They just can't beat Denver to me.
SGA was a top 3 MVP candidate, and you laughed at me because I said he could go bar for
Because
bar for Jokic
nobody
and
can go nobody can go band for
Anthony
band with
Davis
Joker.
is doing it right now.
Anthony Davis is not going band for band with the Joker. He's not. The numbers look cute. They look adorable.
He's right.
You watch the game.
Look
Stop
at those fourth quarters. Those fourth quarters are tough.
Nobody's going band for band with the Joker right now.
He's so right.
Bro. But you also got to give
The only person we
context.
thought that can go band for band is the dude who's losing that band argument with James Harden right now. We thought Luka can go band for band with the Joker. He can't even go band for band with Harden right now. Nobody can do that with the Joker.
This is AD's most valiant attempt at trying to go band for band with him, and it has not.
Can we add context to that though? Because Anthony Davis in that blown game 2 game, they did not do anything to get him involved.
We didn't even bring that up
whatsoever.
No,
bring it up.
I can easily answer this though. You're Anthony Davis. Ask for the fucking ball.
They were running ISO.
Put the
all the
ball
time with
in my
LeBron.
fucking hand. I'm Anthony Davis. I'm allowed that right. Give me the ball. I can ask for the ball. And on defense, you switch off Jokic. That's an L.
But hold up. I want to
They'll
ask
never
this
not
question.
give the Joker the ball for a whole second half.
I want to ask this question.
I'll be fucking
They
damned
lose
if
by
that's the
30.
thing.
Yeah, like,
Of
what
course,
are we-
they run their offense through
So
him.
what are we doing
But
here?
that's where you have to look at the Lakers and say the coaching has messed them up this
Darvin's
series tremendously.
a bottom 3 coach in
Of
the
course.
NBA.
We all
And
know
he
that,
did
though.
not get
But that's
Anthony Davis
also on the
involved in
players,
second half.
i.e. LeBron
am I tweaking?
James.
Riv, am I tweaking? You're Anthony Davis. You can ask for the ball.
You can get it. You can tell him
And
that.
LeBron
I-
Give me
you
the
can tell him
ball.
that,
And
tell him, I need that.
But you
LeBron
know we
James
can
in the
also
second half
look-
of the game was ISOing at the top of the key.
Let's
He
not-
was not.
let's-
He was not running any
Joel,
offense.
Wait, but what
Joel,
does
like
that
they were in the
we
first
can
half.
also understand though that Anthony Davis was near perfect in the first half, 11 for 12. Missed his next 5 attempts, turned the ball over, and only took 1 attempt in the
Wait,
fourth.
so hold up. Anthony Davis is the reason y'all losing the series?
Not at all.
So what's it been, your
I'm
role
talking about
players?
game 2.
So what's
we're
it-
talking about game 2, are we
What's
not?
it been
the
your
role
ro-
players
what's
have
it been your role
1,000%.
players?
No,
Yes.
What's it
Rui's
your
been
role
bad.
players?
D'Lo's been bad. Reeves has
coaching
been,
is off.
Okay,
been
so
bad.
so in that statement, Anthony Davis has matched up Jokic output.
He has.
Yes, he has.
played.
Yes, he has. It's
you
the
can
role
easily
players that are
say-
not stepping
no,
up
in the
for
moments-
the Lakers.
in the biggest
Anthony
moments,
Davis has
you've not.
played
In
great.
the big
Quarters
moments,
1
Joel
through
Curry
3
was
was
better.
better. Quarters
Too.
1 through 3. 80's been there.
Jokic in quarter 4, almost every game has been
Joel,
unbelievable.
I know you're not watching the games thinking AD is matching what the Joker is doing from quarter 1 to quarter 4.
I can't make that argument.
You're
I
not.
can't
Anthony
do
Davis has
it.
been the best player on his team in the series.
On his team, 100%.
100%.
AD
He's
has
still
been
not
playing
going
great.
bar for bar with
We can
Jokic.
all admit, everybody's admitting to the table, AD has been playing
Bro,
amazing.
I feel like we're
Best playoff
underrating
series.
what Anthony Davis is doing. He's averaging 30,
No one's
31,
no one's
16,
doing
and
that.
4.
Again,
He's been
you can
amazing.
Stop looking at the box score numbers. I'm telling you,
No,
really.
I'm looking off what he's done impact wise.
I
The
understand
reason
this.
y'all build up a
Yes.
lead in game 2 was
And then
because
they
of
choke it.
him.
And then they choke it. And then they choke
okay,
it. Choke it every
please,
single
please,
time, bro.
Does the 30 in the first half not matter?
It's about the whole game. Is the Joker not great from quarter 1
That
to 4?
is the whole game.
What?
It's part of the game.
Is the
What he did
Joker
in the
not
first
great from
half.
quarter 1 through 4? Yes or no?
Anthony Davis is
Joel.
playing at
Joel.
a superstar
Yes.
tier 1
Yes.
level in the playoffs.
No, Joel.
Yes, he
Has
is.
the Joker been playing amazing from quarters 1 through 4? Yes or no?
For 1 to 4, I say in the second half has been much more than in the first half for
But he's
Jokic.
been playing great from quarters 1 through 4. Yes.
I think in the
Has
second
AD
half,
consistently
in the second
every
half, he's
game
played
done
elite.
that?
In the first half, he's played. Sometimes he's played.
Has
all
AD
right,
consistently
good.
done that every game?
There are more first halves in this series you come away with saying Anthony Davis was the best player on the court than you say with Jokic in this series.
I don't know if I've ever come away in a single game this series and thought AD's been better than Jokic.
In the first half, he's definitely
In the first half,
outplayed
but
him.
again, 4
No,
quarters.
yeah, but I'm saying the role players are the reason
every game
that y'all losing.
Every single game, Jokic has at least 7 or more points in the fourth quarter. Anthony Davis, let's not look at this last game. In game 3, in game 2, in game 1, has had less than 5. Anthony Davis has been unbelievable. Game 4, he was awesome. Game 4, he was awesome. Game 3, I don't give any slack to AD for game 3 because they threw essentially a boxing one at him at one point in time in that game. They had 3 people on him every time he was touching the ball. He was the only person that was doing something for us. But that doesn't talk about how great AD is, more so looking at Nikola Jokic. It's not going bar for bar when Nikola Jokic in the biggest moments is ultimately sealing the game for his team. That's why it's not bar for bar.
I think
that's the original conversation.
There's no doubt.
It's not slighting Anthony Davis and saying he hasn't been amazing in this series. It's just a matter of, are you matching Jokic? If we want to go off box score numbers, which is irresponsible, you can make that argument. But watching and understanding how the games develop, you can't say it.
There's no doubt that Nikola Jokic in the biggest moments has been better than Anthony Davis.
He has.
But for the entirety of this series, yes, Anthony Davis has went toe-to-toe with him and held his own and then some.
He's held his own, but unfortunately, Jokic has still gotten the better.
What more do you have to do when you average in 31 and 16 on elite efficiency?
That's what happens.
When you're playing elite defense,
but that's what
too.
happens. That's what happens
when you're playing the best player in the world.
Yeah,
it's tough. Shout out to AD. He's been amazing.
I think y'all are just underrating what AD has brought to the series. That's what I think y'all doing.
Me of all people underrating it?
Like, I understand Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. I never say he wasn't the best player in the world, but y'all acting like there's no player in the world that can compete with him in a series
right now.
With output.
Who's done it?
I just told you right now.
We're not agreeing on AD, but let's throw this out the car. Who's done it prior?
From last year's playoff run?
Yeah.
You got it.
Even before when he was losing players, who's done it?
Chris Paul.
It's tough.
Versus the Nuggets when they swept them? What? They had him in a drop and was abusing him. Yes, that series. Chris Paul was the best player in that series.
It was such a difference.
Box score numbers about to go crazy because he's probably put up like 28, 14, and 10.
Here we go. We're gonna
he about to use box score.
That's why.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing it.
You've seen that series. You saw how it looked with Chris Paul.
Since we wanted to start box score watching, let me just look at box
Look at the
scores.
series. Look at it.
I just want to go
because you're gonna see Chris Paul average 20. I think 26 and 10.
I think
he might have averaged 26 and 10.
I just want to go look. All I want to do.
Chris Paul really was like that.
Is go check the numbers. That's all. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go see how it looks.
Have we finished this Anthony Edwards, would you rather?
There's one more name, but we got stuck on
You had to know it was going to be like this.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't expecting this.
Okay. I'm looking at Chris Paul stats.
I wasn't expecting Anthony Davis, Jokic.
No,
today.
for sure.
No way.
Chris Paul was indeed eating.
You never know what
he
can
killed.
happen.
21,
with one
17,
arm.
27, 37.
I was going to say 20.
Hella assists. I ain't feel like naming it.
Celtics up 16. Here we go, Riff.
Just what was the averages?
Okay, for the averages, Chris Paul averaged 25.5 points, 5 rebounds, 10.3 assists, shot 63% from the field and 75% from three.
He was amazing.
He outplayed him.
How many
What was
Do you know
Jokic?
the Joker's numbers off the top of your dome?
I'll look at the numbers right now.
75% from three. What's he taking? 3 games?
He was open.
5% ridiculous.
No, he bugged out.
I mean, I don't know if Jokic put up that type of efficiency.
That's going to be tough for him to do.
Yeah.
And that was the
Joker
playoffs.
Put up first game. Let me see. I could do that.
Joker put up 25, 13, and 6. Shot 47% from field, 28% from three.
Chris Paul got it. Respectfully.
The
Suns also
putting up those numbers.
This was also pre-Jokic being the best player in the world.
That was first MVP.
He won MVP that year. He was.
He didn't have Jamal. That's what it was.
He wasn't. But was he like how today is? He's the best player stamped. I don't think he was that in 2020.
I think people. I was calling him best in the world.
He wasn't
at this first MVP. No. I think he wasn't. He wasn't like official.
This was Giannis's championship. This was Giannis's year.
Yeah.
There was still a lot of pushback to Jokic because of this, and large part because of that
defense.
Because of that specific playoff series. He got the most pushback for that because it was like, how can you build a championship level defense around Jokic? Because Chris Paul was cooking him.
Let me ask you a question. That was the same year that he beat the Blazers, correct?
Yeah, in the first round.
Why were we slandering him even though people went into that series picking the Blazers to win after Jamal Murray had gotten injured? He still went out there, was the best player in the series, and moved on to round 2.
I'm not saying it was right, but I'm saying that was a narrative because they didn't have any point of attack defenders in that series for Chris Paul. That's why he ate up like that. But he just asked me who went bar for bar, and I said Chris Paul played better. I just answered the question.
That was how long ago was that?
It was 2021.
2021.
Yeah, it was 2021.
Right, you had to go back 3 years. We're here.
2022, that was the year he lost in the first round to the Warriors.
Ooh. Yes.
So do you think Steph? outplayed him in that
He
series?
averaged 31.
Who? Steph?
No, Jokic
Versus
averaged 31.
Jokic? Or went bar for bar with him?
It's hard because he was out there by himself.
He,
It's hard to go
he
bar
averaged
for bar
31
when
and
you're
shot
losing 4 or 5,
58% from the field.
He had Facundo Campazzo out there guarding.
No,
Steph.
It was one of the
I'm
nastiest
not-
lines.
And that was no Murray, too?
I'm not overlooking
I mean, excuse me, no MPJ
Jamal.
also? Or
There's
is
no
that...
Jamal.
No, but no MPJ.
I think
that was the
MPJ
year with...
I think MPJ did play that year.
Yeah.
Got it.
Or he might have.
They
I don't
done-
know.
I was going to say, MPJ... I know that there was a year...
he played against Suns, right?
Yeah, he didn't play in 2022, actually.
I thought so.
So yeah, he was missing both of them.
Yeah, he didn't
Steph
play.
was coming
that.
up the bench. That's how much better we were than them. So
I mean, 31.
yeah,
Yeah. Last name, Jayson Tatum.
Jayson Tatum.
I'll go
comfortably.
JT.
I'll still take JT.
I'm going with Anthony Edwards.
You took him over SJ.
You took him when he was
How
drafted.
far is Tatum falling off in this ranking for you? You put Ant-Man over him. You put SGA over him. How far is he falling?
Is he not top 10?
I was going to say, he's probably like 11.
I've always had the same stance with Tatum. I think Tatum is on the borderline of a top 10 player.
So he's not top 10 for you. He's never been.
It
always
depends.
been-
It depends on the day.
He's
It
never
depends on
been
the
a
day.
top 10.
Yeah, I respect that.
Wait,
So
what do you mean?
today-
So
today
that's-
I'm
laughing
waking
at the
up.
statement. It was a funny
Today I'm waking up, he's
statement.
8. Tomorrow I'm waking up, he's 12.
Wait, what do you mean? It depends on the day.
Because there's a lot of players in that tier that, depending on the stretch, they could climb over.
I don't know if there's 10 players better than Tatum.
Because I think with the players easily that I can name that are better than Tatum, Jokic, Giannis, Luka, SGA. I think that's clear.
You took Ant-Man over SG, by the way.
Think Anthony Davis. Think LeBron James. That's 6. No, would you rather? I would rather Anthony Edwards. I said SGA is better right now. SGA is a better player
So
right
that's
now.
6.
So it's 6 players. I mentioned LeBron and AD. Y'all got that? Not in the best situation, but I still can't overlook what Kevin Durant has done, like his production. He's just not in a good system and in a good situation.
Your brother's in a different system every year.
I
It's not
think-
working. I don't know what to tell you.
Shit, I understand you.
Nah, like for real. We're
But
gonna get to the Suns in a minute.
I think pound for pound, Kevin Durant's still a better player than Jayson Tatum. That's 7. Joel Embiid, when healthy, is a better player than Jayson Tatum.
That's it.
That's 8. Jalen Brunson this year, you can argue that's a toss-up. And I think this is where that list gets into that toss-up territory. Because Tatum could be number
Steph
9.
isn't top 10 no more.
Oh, my bad. I forgot about Steph.
You
So
almost
that's
made me
my bad.
break
My bad.
a
Of
TV.
course, Steph. That's Steph. That's 9. That's 9 players.
But Brunson, you would put Brunson over after 1 year?
Well, I didn't put Brunson stamped. I
Okay.
said that could be
Ant
a
is
toss-up
stamped?
debate. I didn't. No, Ant is
Oh,
not
okay.
stamped.
Because he was
Ant-
just like the fifth
he
name you
is in that
said.
tier.
He
Okay.
named
And
9,
I told y'all about this. Whenever we talked about Tatum, I have told you guys Tatum is the bridge between the superstars and the next
My
tier
question
of
is,
player.
though, because I feel like Jayson Tatum has been doing this for about 3 to 4 years. When is it that he's going to be able to jump in and then somebody else becomes the bridge? Because the fact that Brunson,
He has to win a championship. He has to
respect
win
Brunson
MVP.
and what he's done, but the
One of
fact
the
that
two.
after 1 year he can jump into what Tatum's been doing for 3 to 4 years, I think that's unfair.
Tatum has to prove that he can be the best player on the championship team. He has not proven
Take
that.
it out that tier.
He also
Yes,
has.
he has to prove that he's a true superstar.
Can
That's what he has to
Jalen
prove.
Brunson do that?
No, I don't know.
Is
That's
Joel
why
Embiid doing that?
No.
he's never been healthy for the playoffs.
But
in a
we do
long
that.
I mean,
if we
brother
go
dropped
if we
50
go
in game
if we
three.
going to give that
He's
to
gotta be
Kawhi,
decent.
if we're going to say we can't put Kawhi in these conversations because he's not available, you have to do the same.
Are
thing
we
with
also
Embiid.
not?
But
gonna-
Embiid's a 2-time MVP.
Are we going to
Yeah, but
pretend
we're
like
talking about
JT
playoffs.
didn't
Superstars
go against
MVP.
KD, Kyrie, Giannis, Jimmy Butler, go to the finals? He didn't do that.
Giannis didn't have Chris Middleton in that series,
And he still
Should've
went
won.
bar for bar with Giannis.
and Giannis was better
On
in that
his
series.
home court. On
45.
Giannis's home court, he outdid Giannis and forced the game 7.
Giannis was better in that series as a whole. He was better in that series.
He was
Okay, and
But
then in
Giannis
game
threw game
7,
seven.
he had a stroke.
lost to Grant Williams.
Because your role players hit an
Revolutionary.
absurd amount of threes.
Well, no, it's because Bud said we're going to leave him open, and Grant's been a good 3-point shooter. Was a good 3-point
So
shooter.
he
I
got to the
should say.
finals.
And everyone shit the
But
bed.
for the most part, I mean, how many names that I mentioned that actually get legit pushback?
Embiid. Oh, like top 10? I'm sorry. Never mind.
I think
You said
Ant gets
Anthony
pushback.
Edwards.
No, I
think-
didn't say. I didn't even say Anthony.
No, you-
Edwards.
I
you
think
did say-
Tatum
you
was a
said
top
Ant.
10
No, I
player
didn't.
before SGA.
No, I didn't. The number one I said
Yeah, he didn't say Ant-Man.
I said Jokic, I
Yes.
said Giannis, I
Yes.
said SG, I said Luka. I said
LeBron,
Anthony
KD.
Davis, LeBron James, Kevin Durant,
Steph.
Steph Curry.
Embiid.
That's
I think
8.
KD gets
and I said
pushback.
Embiid when healthy.
No.
So I think
Embiid
Tatum
gets
is that
pushed
guy.
back.
That next
I
guy.
think Tatum could be that next guy, but Jalen Brunson has been just as good as him this year. Jimmy
Did
Butler
you say
and Tatum.
KD?
Oh, Christ.
I did say
Jimmy Butler.
Kevin Durant.
I
The
feel like
defense,
for me,
the defense actually, I understand KD's a solid defender. I still would take Tatum.
I think this series is no barometer on how KD is as a defender. I think he had to rotate for help all the time.
I just mean in general, like you just see Jayson Tatum as a perimeter defender.
Anymore. I don't think so either.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't think that's the thing. Like I think the thing is, I think Tatum. It's so tough for Tatum because I feel like for him, he had like, why does he have to get the championship, but other guys in this conversation don't?
Here's why: his team's better.
Like who?
Joel Embiid.
That's a fact.
Joel Embiid hasn't even got to a My pushback.
He's been injured.
Here's my pushback on that.
I think Embiid also has the MVP.
But here's my thing with that.
He's better in the regular season.
He is better in the regular season. Nobody's disputing that. I'm not doubting that. He's been one of the best players we've ever seen in the regular season. Let me finish my point. He's been one of the best players in the regular season the last 3 years.
Wait, you think Tatum's better than Luka?
No.
Okay.
No, but the expectation for Tatum is drastically different than Luka's. Why?
Luka doesn't have the same roster as him.
But Luka Doncic is a top 2, top 3 at worst player in the world.
But he doesn't have the same team. Tatum's teams have been much better.
Well, if we rank just the top 3 players on each team,
haven't we been given this pushing that
Tatum, Luka, who's the third best player? Is it Kyrie?
You were talking.
It's Jaylen Brown or Kyrie. Even if you want to say it's Kyrie,
Kyrie's been playing.
Guys, I actually am interested to hear what Riv has to say to finish.
Now I got to figure out that whole spiel. For me, I feel like when you're a superstar, you're best player in the championship team. You know, the tier 1 guys, for sure, we believe you can be the best player in the championship team. Tier 2 guys are like, we believe it, but we still want to see a little more. I feel like that's where you have Tatum, and we want to see it a little bit more. Yeah. But for certain guys, they get a pass. And I feel like when we talk about Kawhi Leonard, it's always your best ability is your availability, whatever that shit is, right? And it's always, we know you can perform, but when are you going to be healthy for it? And I feel like the same, the fact that Tatum he has to win a championship. Like he can't just, he's been amazing for the last 3-4 years in the regular season. He's been a pretty good to great playoff performer, but yet Embiid always gets he's injured, he's hurt. But he can stay in this conversation because he's so great in the regular season. Well, maybe he should take the Kawhi approach and coast in the regular season and then be healthy for the playoffs. I feel like for certain guys in that superstar tier, it's unfair that Tatum at a young age gets you have to win a championship, but these other guys don't. Like we had Jimmy Butler in the top 10 for
not
sure.
Only preaching, but quiet too.
Brunson can possibly get pushed into, but I don't think none of us believes he can be a number 1 on a championship team.
Well, that's the thing is like,
don't say that too loud.
I think what you said in terms of the coast in the regular season, I don't know how you do that because you never know when you're going to get hurt.
Of course.
Joel Embiid doesn't know when he's going to get hurt. He just goes out there and plays and he gets hurt and then it's unfortunate.
I mean, if you're doing shit like throwing it off the backboard with a bad knee.
Can you agree with me that Tatum is not a superstar? Do you think he can be the best player on the championship team?
Yes.
I do believe that.
I know you're giving pushback on certain players in the top 10 like Joel Embiid.
Yes. Other players I just can't remember.
Are you giving pushback on Luka?
No, because I don't think his teams have been good enough.
And I think it's, at least for me, I think it's clear when I watch both them play. Luka is the better player.
He shows up to
Can
play.
I ask you a question? Have people not been very vocal and adamant that this Mavericks team's great?
No, he gets no excuse this year.
That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm saying. I agree with that.
First of all,
and he went to a WCF.
If he loses to Paul George and James Harden, brother, my God in Christ,
we gotta keep the same energy. I don't want to hear about this knee injury.
I
don't want to hear about this knee injury because you're out here balling.
He's stamped.
I just want to say this to that, what you're saying. This is his best team.
Yes.
This best team does not even rival what Tatum has had the last 3 years.
Agreed.
So I just want to say that. This is Luka's best team, but even then, this team
right now is OD.
No. Right now, it's not a conversation. Last 3 years?
Does it rival the team that...
He said last 3 years.
Does it rival the team that went to the finals against Golden State?
Maybe that. Last year, no. I feel like last year's
Boston team was very good.
Because even with the moves that the Mavs have made, there are deficiencies. Yes. Derrick Jones Jr. has been awesome on defense. He can't shoot. PJ Washington, he's inconsistent. He can't shoot.
And inconsistent defender, too.
I mean, I think that was a game plan to funnel James Harden into the paint. It's funny how you mentioned PJ Washington now, but when he was great, you didn't mention him at all.
That's a lie. I hate when you do that.
And notice how all season long, Drew is trying to make a point.
But also, where's Daniel Gafford? What the fuck?
You said he was a need to move.
OD, he was, and now he's unplayable.
He said he was need to move over.
Making me look dumb.
So it's funny how the Mavericks when they've been on this winning streak, he said, I never doubted Luka. I only doubted the Mavericks.
Agreed.
But at the first semblance of an opportunity that he gets to attack Luka and how good he is,
the same energy. The way that you keep apparently that same energy with Tatum.
That's because you never.
That's unfair.
That's because you've never been a Luka guy.
He keeps us insane.
He was my MVP. Was he yours,
bro? He thought you thought Tatum was better than Luka before the season.
Yes.
Agreed.
We know you think that, Dehls.
Luka has been. There's nothing that's changed from last year to this year where where you say, oh, Luka's now better than Tatum.
Shooting is drastically
Luka has always been better than Tatum.
No, the split's 38-20. That's terrible.
Has anything changed from last year to this year with Luka? With his game, are you watching? He's gotten so much better.
I think he's taking the same amount of shots. He's just hitting at a higher clip.
That's exactly
why.
But
still, even last year, he got into these hot streaks where he was still a good shooter.
But for the entire
he's not an elite shooter now.
Bro, he shot 40% on 11 attempts.
He's not an elite shooter.
40% on 11 attempts. That's fringe elite.
This year, he's not been an elite shooter, bro.
Like old
brother, I'm tripping. 11 attempts and you shoot 40% from 3.
That's Steph. That's literally
They're
Steph.
calling it
38% from
tightness.
38 point what?
38.2.
Okay, that's still fucking great.
Charlie Horse.
That's not elite though.
Yeah, God please.
So really 2% is the difference
listen,
between elite.
Now we're talking about Luka's
on 11 attempts, 38.
I'm trying to.
That's insane. That's insane.
Luka is an elite level shot creator.
Yes,
we know that.
Of course.
Yes. Elite level shooter. No.
Riv, has he always been a great to an elite pull-up shooter?
Yes.
I mean, since the Maverick series when he was in the second season.
Pull-up, yeah.
So you just ain't been watching, buddy.
That's a lie. That's a lie. Not like this. Not like this.
He's always been an elite pull-up shooter.
Not like this.
The biggest change he made in his game from this year to last year was his catch and shoot 3-point shooting. That's the biggest change he made.
As a shooter in general, he's been better this year
because
than
of
any
his
other
catch
year.
And shoot 3-point
Okay, which
shooting.
matters.
But his pull-up shooting, he's always been an elite level pull-up shooter.
Again, but on the attempts that he's going at,
he's
to have
always
at
shot
that
a lot
clip,
of attempts.
But now he's more efficient.
So for you to think that
efficiency matters, he's more efficient than Jayson Tatum.
Tatum was better than Luka before the season.
The defense wasn't even close.
And now Luka's better than Tatum.
The defense, because he's still efficient. He's even more efficient.
There is nothing that has happened this year.
The efficiency.
There is nothing that's happened this year that
you
if
can
you
keep
had Tatum
the
before the year that he's now better than Luka's now better than him.
And he upped his points per game.
I'm not buying that. Because anybody with two sets of eyes knew that Luka's been better than Tatum.
Even though the defense is drastically different.
And it's still drastically different.
It's 50% of the game.
You think it's Luka now.
Because the efficiency is drastically different.
Luka better win this damn series.
Hey man, you picked him.
I think he will.
I know, because Luka was playing like a top 3 player in the world before this,
and now he's getting outperformed by James Harden. This can't be.
Riv, I just want to hear an objective opinion.
He's been the 4th best player in the series.
I want to hear an objective opinion, please.
3rd. PG ain't been on.
Give me Paul George. At least he's defending some. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Dehls. Yeah, because he guards Kyrie. It's just tough shots. Like what he can't do shit.
Kyrie.
If you had Jayson Tatum above Luka Doncic as a player this past season, you did not. If you had Tatum over Luka, is there anything that happened this year that would make you change your mind on that?
No.
Because why? Luka has been essentially what?
If we're going to ignore the fact that Luka's not more efficient than he was ever before in his career.
Yeah, but I don't think nothing has really changed.
And he upped his points per game.
He's playing
in the
with a better
season.
player than Kyrie. He's never played with a guy like that.
I feel like they both marginally got better.
I mean, of course, you're
did Tatum... His efficiency is not...
His passing has gotten better this year.
That too.
His passing has gotten better.
You're saying Tatum?
Yeah.
Okay. I've always thought he's a good
Luka's
passer,
always been an elite passer.
No, of course.
That's why I said marginally he's gotten better. Like Tatum
I've always thought he was a good passer, though.
He's been a good, but you can always keep upping your level.
But again, as a scorer, I've seen Luka take another stride in his game this season. That's a fact.
I know. I get.
You don't think that he's more efficient because he's playing with Kyrie Irving?
And of course,
before he hasn't played with a guy like that?
That of course helps. I'm not going to say it doesn't. Of course it helps.
So, okay. This year, above the break 3, Luka's shooting 38.8%.
It's amazing.
And he's shooting 43.8% from the mid-range this year.
It's very good also.
Last year...
We went over this already.
Last year... 35% above the break, and he shot 42% from mid-range. With no Kyrie for half the season.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And Kyrie was more of a consistent pillar of the offense.
As a mid-range shooter, he's been solid.
He's always been elite.
The 3-point is better. Just objectively better.
Luka, the efficiency has gotten a little bit better, but it's also because his team has gotten a little bit better. And it's like, I don't see this year Luka versus last year Luka and I see two differently players.
He's just improved his offensive game, his offensive output, his scoring. That's what he's done because he's more efficient. He's more refined.
But last year,
I don't know what's so hard to understand.
Last year, Tatum wasn't.
He wasn't that efficient, but his defense. No, let me not say. He was 45 and 30.
Last year, last year,
Tatum
first Celtic ever.
Last year, Tatum
averaged 30. Okay. And he was an elite defender.
Did Luka. Last year, Luka.
Tatum was not an elite defender.
Last year, Tatum averaged 35% from three.
I understand that. He was 45 and 35.
So last year, between Luka and Tatum, Luka averaged 50% from the field, 34% from three. Mm-hmm. So that 1% in 3-point shot made you pick Tatum over
40.
Luka.
Well, that and the defense, and also Luka. Unfortunately, as great as he is, his team did not make the playoffs.
Crying.
Was it because of him? No,
absolutely not.
Okay, so why does that matter?
He did get injured, and unfortunately,
if he loses the series, it'll be
you could say his injury did result in them missing.
Shame.
He shouldn't lose this series. He should not lose this series.
There's no way in hell.
And he will not lose this series.
Hey, brother, Game 5's in crypto.
Doesn't matter.
No, it's in the crypt.
The crypt.
Game 5's in the crypt.
Talk.
I don't know. I just think it's insane how you've done flip flopped on Jayson Tatum this year.
How? I still think he's an amazing player. He's a superstar player.
Has he not given subtle shots that Jaylen Brown might be the best player on the team? Okay.
Is Jaylen Brown not one of my favorite players?
He used to be better than Luka though.
You definitely have.
You flip flopping on Tatum, man. Get out of here.
And this guy's been super vocal anti-Lakers. Although recently you've been showing me love. Of course, I'm gonna throw my jabs.
I've been anti-Lakers.
No, not recently. Oh, not recently at all.
You have been fake glazing.
Honestly, I've noticed, and that's why I appreciate it.
What'd I say?
You was like, this Lakers team, I feel like they're really good.
Oh, when we do our preview facts.
Yeah.
Oh, they got at least one. I said 6.
I said 6 too.
Give me two. Give me one more tonight.
If there wasn't,
all I ask is that you give me one more day.
I love we had this in studio podcast episode because everybody has been calling you Luka hater just saw single handedly why you are.
I love Luka Doncic. He's an amazing player.
The comments gonna get you on it. They know what you.
Well, because they like to glaze everything I say about the Mavericks, even though it's also very true and objective that he's become a better 3-point shooter this season.
So if he loses this series, you're gonna go to
I'm just gonna keep the same energy with you, how you hold Jayson Tatum.
Why does it matter what I do?
Because all I care about is what this table says.
Why does it? Well, so with Luka, you don't care about the fact that he's dealing with a knee injury.
No, that matters for sure.
You don't care about that?
That matters for sure. But did you keep that same energy with Jaylen Brown when he was hurt against Miami?
Jaylen Brown?
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown. Not Tatum in Game 7.
No, I said what I said. Jaylen Brown. And also, forget about Jayson. That's obvious. In Game 7, he hurts his ankle. They lose that. That's obvious.
What major injury was Jaylen Brown dealing with?
Shoulder?
He did have a shoulder injury. Tatum also had a wrist injury.
Jaylen Brown just played through it and didn't complain and say anything. But the first series we saw Jaylen Brown struggle. Oh, we don't know about Jaylen Brown. Did you keep that same energy then?
Well, if I'm being honest, I don't know if that shoulder had anything to do with his play. He was
he was losing the ball because his shoulders.
He was in hell.
Yeah, I don't.
He just had his head down and was not looking at
it. A knee injury is different than a shoulder injury.
Because he was dogging against Philly. He was dogging against Atlanta.
You know that's post scheme though, bro.
So what if Luka loses?
But what is Jaylen Brown doing this series against that same supposed scheme?
Well, this is the best Jaylen Brown we got all
this is also career. Not a good Miami Heat team.
So what if Luka loses this series
against them and Jaylen Brown was their best player
him to like the Absolutely 8th player in the world?
So I'm just keeping the same energy with you.
So is Tatum now better than Luka if Luka loses this series?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, brother. Tatum this year and Luka this year has been better.
So what is the same energy? I just
for you because you're gonna find a way to say it's all right, Luka Doncic, but I'm gonna keep vocal about it.
I never have said once that it's okay if Luka loses.
If Luka loses this series, he's still gonna be stamped 3, right? Right for you, he'll still be stamped top 3 player in the world.
It's going to be conversation.
But let's say Jayson Tatum goes to the finals and loses.
Hey, brother,
even though Luka Doncic has been ass.
Goes to the finals, he's 20.
I mean,
if he loses and is
Tatum doesn't win a chip, he's the 20th best player in the league.
If SGA goes to the finals, he's 2.
What he said, I think SGA has a case to on a great
on
a finals run.
We're here.
He has a case.
Push him over that running
he has a case. Wait, hold on. I'm just trying to understand
now
this.
Last week when we were here for the clips, you were getting pissed off and saying he was better than Giannis.
Yeah, because he does too far. He goes too far a little bit.
So keeping the same energy, did I not say that Luka got to play better?
Yes, you did.
Have I not? Have I given him an excuse at all?
Joel, my point being is,
what's the same energy then?
If the Clippers win this series and Luka continues this level of player, you're still going to have him stamped top 3.
I just said no. SGA got a chance to go over.
So SGA
and so does Giannis. So does Giannis.
Well, Giannis is hurt.
Giannis is hurt. We don't know what he's going to do, but No, I mean,
apparently both of them are doubtful.
SGA played at an MVP level, and in his first playoff run, if he goes to the finals, yes, SGA,
of course,
absolutely got
there's definitely. But what happens if Jayson Tatum goes to the finals and wins the whole thing? Are we taking Tatum over Luka?
That brother is top fucking 2.
Are we taking Tatum over Luka?
I don't care. He is top 2.
He jumps
it depends on how he plays.
He wins a championship and he's finals MVP.
He's jumping a lot of
so he's top 2 in the world.
Brother's number 2.
There's going to be conversation.
So then I look dumb for taking Luka. I guess I'll live with that. But is that what would happen?
He's number 1 to me.
Is that how volatile shit is?
I don't think your thoughts are cohesive in a whole.
What the fuck?
I think
that was nuts.
I think 2 through 8. I think 2 through 8. There's a lot of room. If one guy goes on a chip, if one guy makes a run, if one guy underperforms,
why aren't they cohesive?
That's going to change a lot.
Because ultimately, what we're talking about
If Luka Doncic keeps playing like this,
you're not letting me talk. That's why.
No, because you're saying my thoughts are incohesive. So let me explain them.
They're not.
If Luka Doncic continues to shoot, if Luka Doncic continues to shoot at a 38% clip from the field, 20% from the field, 50% true shooting, loses this series against the Los Angeles Clippers
without
Kawhi Leonard, when
with James Harden out playing you,
and you're right now the number 2 player on your team with Kyrie Irving. When you were an MVP candidate, in my opinion, you were the MVP of the league. You have this bad performance against the Clippers and you lose. But Jayson Tatum, who I've gotten hell in the past for saying is better than Luka Doncic, although I've said this year Luka is better.
You flip-flop. Okay, same thing you did with Jalen Hurts, by the way. You took him over Justin Herbert. Now you got Herbert over Jalen Hurts.
Crazy for Luka to get MVP. And look how he's playing.
Agreed. No, listen, I feel dumb at this point.
Because you're a flip-flopper. That's what you be doing.
If that's what you want to call me, fine. But let me finish.
You've been talking for like 5 minutes.
And it's a podcast. I'm allowed to do that. So Jayson Tatum, who you've got constantly given me shit for in the past for saying is better than Luka Doncic, goes on and does what you would anticipate the number 3 best player, top 3 player in the world, and Luka Doncic would do. Goes and wins finals MVP, goes and wins the finals. Off your logic, we have to move him up.
I mean, listen, for 4 minutes, you made that statement when the sentence is simple. If Luka Doncic continues to have his worst playoff series of his career, do players that played better in the playoffs are now over him?
So the guy that you fucking glazed to no end, the guy that you hate for some reason, like he fucking spit on you in public, Jayson Tatum, are we going to not say he's a better basketball player?
So this is the 2 things I want to answer to. Number 1, if Luka Doncic continues to have this worst series... The glazing of Luka Doncic, I don't understand that statement because number 1, I've been the first one to be critical of him in this series.
No, you were not.
Yes, I have been.
How?
Yes, I have been.
How?
Yes, I have been. I said
you said the Mavericks won the second half of Game 1. You found a way to praise him after Game 1 when they got
what happened after Game 4? I said he's been the 3rd best player in this series. After a Game 1 sample size, it's just Game 1.
Being honest isn't the same as holding him accountable.
I've said, no, I did hold him accountable. What did I say?
All you're saying is Luka's got to play better. That ain't enough for me, bro.
That's not what I said, though. That's not even all I said. I said Luka's been the 3rd best player in this series. Luka has to play better, and Luka has to stop complaining constantly when things don't go his way. Is that not what I said? Is that not the 3 things I said? I have held Luka accountable. I have said he's having his worst playoff series to date right now. You got to give the Clippers defense some credit for it, but for the most part, those are shots I'm expecting him to hit. I understand he's having a knee injury, but that has not been the first thing I'm jumping to and saying that's why he's playing bad. I've said he's playing bad on his own and he got to play better. So yes, Drew, if he continues to have a terrible series,
so Jayson Tatum can jump him this postseason?
Tatum got to win the championship.
So that's the only way.
Yes,
even if he plays out of his mind in the finals.
To win the finals.
Even if he plays out, but have him again. I don't give a fuck about the outside.
Are they not the best team in the NBA?
The Denver Nuggets.
From a roster perspective, who's better? Celtics or Denver?
Okay, the roster fine, but again, Denver has the best player. We sat here 2 months ago and we all picked Denver.
So Denver is 1. So Boston is 2. They should easily make the finals, right?
They should definitely come out.
They should most definitely.
No excuse.
That's been the conversation since December.
So if Tatum makes the finals, which that's expected of that team,
correct,
and they lose to Denver,
can also be expected.
Why would he get jumped up?
If he plays out of his mind.
What do you mean it's
he makes
expected?
it to another final?
How is it expected for him to just lose the finals? The Nuggets and the Celtics, that's going to go.
Would Boston be favored against the Nuggets?
I think it's definitely, it might be an even money series.
If Denver comes out the gauntlet,
Boston's probably favored.
If Denver beats Minnesota, comes out, beats OKC, you don't think they'd be the favorite?
Denver's already favored to come out the West.
No, but I'm saying
Boston's favored to win the chip.
That's true, damn. Yeah.
Boston is favored right now. So
but they're favorites because the East is a
So you want me if they make the finals and they lose, you want me to prop him up?
Did Jayson Tatum play well?
How well?
Great.
Amazing. Just objectively great. Like
Wasn't
the
his
way
fault.
how Anthony Davis has played against the Nuggets. That you just said he's been tit for tat with Jokic, correct?
Yeah, that's been, if he plays that well, he's
correct.
averaging 31 for the series.
Yes.
And he's averaging a double-double on great efficiency. Yes, he moves up.
Obviously, the double-double is probably unreasonable, but plays elite defense.
He got 10 rebounds.
He got 10 rebounds. That's what he always does. He averages like 9 rebounds.
Okay,
He gets 10
so
boards.
where do we move
Assists.
him? Just still not over Luka in that scenario, right? Because Luka is better at
That
basketball.
brother better be in that superstar. He could be the best player in the championship team.
Tatum is like a top 6 player, stamped.
But you wouldn't put him over Luka still, correct?
Well, it depends. If Luka, let's just say this: if Luka continues to have this bad of a series, and he's the reason why the Mavericks lost because of his play, there's a conversation.
All right,
but
fair.
the series isn't over.
Agreed. Not.
So why are we
So
acting
much
like
time.
it's over?
I'm asking a conversation of hypothetical.
Luka could very well in Game 5 drop 40.
Of course
We're
he can.
expecting
He's
him to
Luka
drop 40.
Doncic.
He has to.
I
He's
am
Luka
expecting
Doncic.
him.
But I promise you, it's not going to
Absolutely.
take away from the 4 games before that. It's
No,
not.
he got to make up ground.
Oh, listen,
There's no doubt.
if he
has
cleans
to.
up Game 5 and Game 6 and he's amazing, I don't give a fuck what happened in Games 1
But
through 4.
what does
You
happen?
win the series, I don't give a fuck about
You're
1 through 4.
supposed to win.
But you close out and you're like that in 5 and 6. You play like Luka Doncic.
You're supposed to win.
It's all right.
You're supposed to win.
But I don't
You're
understand.
supposed to win, but if he cleans up
series
5 and
would be
6,
the
it's
cleanup.
fine.
Next series would be the cleanup.
Nah, I disagree with that.
I don't think 2 games against a team that's already hobbled can warrant the 4
No, he
games.
should have won
Riv,
Game 1 and Game 4.
Riv, true or
Yeah.
false, we've seen for the last month without Kawhi Leonard or however long it's been, we've seen the Clippers play some high-level
Yeah,
basketball.
but you still should have won those games where he didn't play. You're down 30.
I agree, but we
Both
understand.
games.
But again, the Clippers, even without Kawhi, in the last month or so of basketball, still were able to clutch up and secure that 4 seed.
Yes.
They played. We saw Paul George get back to playing high-level basketball.
They
James
also lost to
Harden,
the Atlanta Hawks at that point too.
was that late in the season?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, come on, they probably were already locked up.
But there's the
What was
thing.
that? April when?
That was like late March.
To stay on Tatum, even if we saying I hate Jayson Tatum, I can't stand Jayson Tatum.
I do.
Okay, Riv, let me ask you something.
So
What did you do to this table, man?
I don't know.
Borderline-
I haven't really been arguing too much with Tatum right now. I'm kind of distraught. over
Borderline
this.
top 10 player, is that still not correct?
Calf tightness.
borderline top 10. Yes, because I have him 8 or 7. I think 8.
I got him
And
like
all
2.
I've been asking for Tatum, whenever we talked about him, I said he doesn't have an elite thing on offense.
Yes,
The pull-up
yes.
shooting is inconsistent. When he's on, he's on. He has stretches, but that has been inconsistent. All I've said is that you cannot definitively put him at the tier 1 table of superstars. He is the bridge between the gap. Right now, he's
Is
a
KD
borderline
a tier
top
1
10
superstar
player.
still in right now where we stand?
No, he's fallen off. KD's cannot be the best player on
So
the
then
championship
there's
team.
not this tier 1 shit. I mean, it's really there's tier 1 now. There's tier 2 is superstars, but you're still a superstar, but you're not tier 1, but you can still be a superstar in this tier. You're just not as good as 1. Like why are we doing this?
All that matters is that you can be the best player on the championship team.
And Tatum can
That's
do
what
that.
matters. And even if Kevin
Bro, 'cause 2
Durant,
games away.
Kevin Durant has fallen off of that, but this is the thing with Kevin Durant. At this point in his career, he has nothing left to prove.
Can the same thing be said for Steph Curry?
100%.
Yes, that's why.
So he's not tier 1 anymore?
he is tier.
Is he tier 1?
He's not. He's tier 1B. He's not Jokic. He's not Giannis.
Tier
He's
1B.
not Luka.
I'm gonna have an aneurysm. We do all of this for tiers
better
and
than
semantics. Are you a superstar
because
or not?
Steph is better than Tatum. He is
Okay, you can be a better player, but you're still a superstar.
Maybe.
a superstar.
And we're not gonna pretend like second
If he
half
was
Steph
on
Curry
Boston-
wasn't good.
If he was on Boston, they'd be minus 50,000 to win the championship.
Steph Curry, correct. I agree.
And stop bringing up the second half of basketball.
Wasn't good.
Because he was doing things other old players
You're only
aren't
complaining
doing.
about it
agree.
because it doesn't fit what you believe.
What do you mean?
Ultimately, is
What am I
Steph Curry
complaining
better
about?
than Tatum?
Yes.
100%.
I would take Steph.
Should Steph and Tatum be in different
No,
tiers?
you're just going
Yes.
tier 1. Now it's tier 1B.
because there's
we have a
different
tier
tiers.
2.
These different tiers.
Just are you a
Should
superstar
there,
or not?
should there not be a
Are they
different
a
tier?
top 10 player? Yes, that's the question.
Should there not be a different tier between Steph and Tatum?
Yeah, I don't think the ninth best player is the same.
I understand this, but that's
so you're just complaining because you don't like it.
No, but you're
it's
going
not because
into
you're objective
semantics.
about it.
No, now we're going 1. Now we got 1A, 1B.
Can Steph Curry be certified the number 1 player on the championship team
Right now in 2024? I don't know, man.
Oh my Lord, what are we doing? What are we
Can
doing?
Tatum?
What are we doing? What are we doing, Drew?
Well, that can be answered.
What are we doing?
Riv, he
Is it
just
yes or
missed
no,
the
or is it
playoffs,
I
did
don't
he
know?
not?
Look at the team.
It's not
Drew.
good.
It's not
and last
good.
year, what happened?
It's not good.
Last year, you missed
Last year,
hella
the
wide
team
open
wasn't
shots.
good.
You missed hella wide open shots.
Who?
Poole, Clay, lock
The
in.
team. Like, what are you talking about?
I mean,
Steph
wasn't
also
elite in
wasn't that good
series.
either.
not
Yeah,
good
he
in that
wasn't. But
series.
he was also being defended the worst. So what are you
Okay,
talking
that's
about?
obvious when you're the best player.
So then what are you talking about?
Okay, but you just told me in a series where you needed to be the best player, he couldn't
So you're
rise
telling
up.
me if they build a proper roster around Steph, he can't be the best on the championship team?
At this point right now,
Like, what are you talking
best
about?
player?
What's the answer for Tatum? Yes or no?
I said yes.
Interesting.
But that-
It's not a I don't know.
So
how is it? I don't know.
How is it a yes for
36
Tatum and a,
So you
and a
think
no
Tatum's
for
better than
Steph?
Steph?
36 can be
Yeah, exactly.
37.
So you think Tatum's
It's
better than
not
Steph?
being rude.
Yeah, because
Hold
of
up.
age.
So you think
That's
you
it.
think Tatum's better than Steph?
That's the same reason for Kevin Durant.
He hasn't answered the question. He thinks Tatum's better than Steph.
I
You
said
think,
no.
what?
So you don't think Tatum's better than Steph?
I think it's a difference of position also.
Bro, I'm losing brain cells.
I'm
Are
losing
you-
brain. I'm losing
Why?
brain cells.
So Tatum can be the best player on the championship team. Yes.
For the idea that he is a wing,
Just
he
answer
can
the
play
question,
defense
bro.
and
Yes or
score
no,
at a
yes
high
or no, yes or
level.
no?
God damn it. Yes or no?
Probably.
God damn
okay,
it.
yes.
I don't know because I don't know if they can win the finals this year because of Denver.
No. Can he be the best on the championship team?
not the
Yes.
question.
Or
He ain't
no.
gonna get a better team than this, brother.
He really ain't.
But if
My
Porzingis
goodness.
is hurt right now, then I really don't like their chances at all.
Well, just think everybody's healthy. Can he be the best player on
If
the championship
everyone's
team?
healthy,
That's
yeah.
it.
If everyone's healthy, yeah.
But Curry's, I don't know.
With this Warriors team right now,
That was never the question.
but I'm asking that. That's
Obviously
but you just said
not.
everyone
Nobody
healthy.
can win a
Agreed.
championship with this Warriors
That's what
team.
I'm saying.
Nobody. Not Joker.
That's not what you were
Giannis.
saying.
None of
I
these
don't know
guys.
about that.
No, they cannot.
Nobody's winning
no,
shit with that
they
Warriors team.
championship,
cannot.
no, but he can make the playoffs at least.
Congrats.
Okay.
What do you
can
mean?
make
You
the
guys didn't
8-7
make the
seed.
That's not the
playoffs.
question.
I'll be honest, their first round exit.
It doesn't even matter because you
They won a playoff series
because
with
you can make
Jamal
the
Murray being
playoffs
hurt.
and get bounced in the first. That means that's much
But
different
who's-
than losing. Doesn't even make sense.
But again, how well were you playing in those series? Again, against the Lakers, did Steph Curry play well? Objectively, yes or no?
He played okay.
For Steph Curry standards,
He played
that's
okay.
not good.
He played okay.
If you can build
You're
the
talking about
perfect-
one playoff series.
But this is recent.
Okay,
he's
bro.
he's gonna
How
be
good
30,
was the team?
He's gonna be
How
37
good
next
was the
season.
team?
Good enough to beat the top 3 seed in the Western Conference last year.
Who?
The,
The
Sacramento
fucking Kings, bro.
It went to 7.
Can I leave?
They had the number
Can I
2
leave?
offensive rating in the NBA.
Can I leave,
Did they not
please?
have one of the most historic offenses
Bro,
in the league? You
everybody
still
and
beat
their
them.
mother knew the Kings were frauds.
They went 7
Nobody
games.
believed they were going to.
They went 7
and you know what? They
games,
went 7
Riv.
games. Who else performed?
Yeah.
Outside of Steph, who else performed? Think
No one.
hard, long and
Draymond
hard.
Green.
Who else?
Kevon Looney.
Okay, and look who the fuck are you saying?
Draymond
Dudes
Green's
who
a
can't
Hall of
score.
Famer.
You said, look, the third guy you said, Kevon Looney, bro. That's how bad
Hey,
the
he was
team
having
was.
20 rebound games. He
That's
was
how bad
dominating.
the team was, bro. You're looking at players and you're saying, oh, they can't win a championship because the team is not that good. No, look at their
So what am
actual ability.
who are the
And do
players
they
we're
have
putting
the-
around
in a
Steph?
vacuum,
Who-
can Steph Curry be the best
exactly.
player?
Does he have the
What's
ability to still win a
what's the-
championship?
see, but this is where it gets so hard to
Everything
fucking say
is
that.
average.
No, it doesn't.
Everyone has
You
the
put-
same team.
If you
Can
put
Steph win
30 players in a
championship?
vacuum, you won't get 30 players that
Jokic,
can win a
yes.
championship.
Luka, yes. You said Tatum, yes. Can Steph, average
Okay,
team,
yes.
win a championship?
I guess so, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm envisioning him on Golden State. That's
Yeah,
my
that's
fault.
not fair.
Bro,
That's
you,
my
you
fault.
can put Trae Young in a vacuum. Can he be
I'm
the
gonna
best
say
player in
no.
the championship team? No, you
Yes.
can it's just in a vacuum, bro. You can't just look at the
But
team
like
they have
Jalen
now.
Brunson's been amazing. I would also say no. I would say no to Jalen.
Yeah, that's why
Brunson.
there's a tier difference
And
between
that's
Brunson
okay.
and Curry.
It's okay for Brunson. There's nothing
But
wrong
again,
with
but
that.
why are we saying that Jayson Tatum can't though?
Because it's still, I don't know. He hasn't.
But Steph has done it, but it's getting to the point he's going to be 37 next season.
That's you said it. He's done it. That's why he's
but,
done
but
it.
this was 2 years removed.
He just won Clutch Player of the Year. He was awesome this past year. He might have dropped
Player of
off
the
a little
Year.
bit post All-Star game, but he was the only reason why the Warriors was held afloat all year long. Draymond
For sure.
got suspended
For sure.
multiple times.
I agree with that.
That brother was still, he was ass post, but he was in every fourth quarter still the best player on the floor.
I understand this.
That's why there should be a tier difference between Tatum and Steph, because Tatum is an I don't know. You say yes, but I think for most people it's an I don't know. And for Steph, it's a yes. You know that he
But
can.
he's done it, but can he do it moving forward? You really believe that, Riv? Moving forward?
Early indications, no Achilles injury.
Thank
With
God.
this Warriors team, no, I cannot, because I don't think they
I can
can
take a
build the
deep breath.
championship team around him.
What have you
But-
guys been arguing about the last 30 minutes? I haven't been able to pay attention.
But in a
the
vacuum,
stupid ass shit.
In a vacuum,
we got fucking 2 hours in the podcast. I have one topic done. Jesus Christ!
You sound like you're getting.
Come on, man. Let's go. Got a show.
Listen, this is the show.
God
this
damn.
is the show.
This is what we do. I really am not mad about it.
Steph Curry's the best player championship team.
You not trying to be in Games Conference because you want to watch the bum ass Heat and Celtics play.
That's really
relax.
lost
My
me.
superstar thought just lost him. I thought first it was Rodgers, then it was probably Porzingis. Now I can take a deep breath and lock back in.
Listen, the whole
I've argued more for Jayson Tatum in this show for more than I think you said words this podcast.
You got back into the Tatum fandom with that one.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I've never left. I still fuck with Tatum OD.
Listen, I
Tatum's
think
that
just to summarize conversation, all we said, because Dehls wants to be part of it, all we said is that Tatum is a
here for my
borderline
job.
top 10 player.
But if the answer
back
is
into
no for
work.
Kevin Durant, keep the same energy for Steph.
They're not the same though.
I think Steph is better.
Steph's better.
He is.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant's hip hop into every single team. I need X, Y, and Z. You're
Their
giving him
games
X,
are
Y,
so-
and Z.
it's
He's
just-
pulling up short and he's
I
losing
agree.
the first
I
and second
agree.
round.
He
So
can play
different.
without the basketball in his hands.
Steph
and
won
that's
the
what
title
makes
2
him
years
different.
ago as the best player stamp. Katie never did
But
that in
that
his
team
life.
was good. It was really fucking
It was
good.
good.
It was
Stop.
no,
It
it
was
was
good.
good.
Jordan
It was
Poole was
good.
at unbelievable
It was
efficiency.
good.
It was
He shot
good.
50 and 40.
It wasn't
It was
Objectively
good, but that's not a
speaking, it wasn't a
historic team.
championship
That is not a
team.
historic team.
Come
Objectively speaking, that
on.
was
No,
not
that
a
was
championship
Steph
team.
Curry. Steph
Why
Curry.
was that not a championship team?
No, that was a
Draymond
championship
Green
team.
was
That wasn't a
unbelievable.
That was not a historic.
Had to go.
That was not a historic championship
bonkers
team.
for them to beat Boston.
Jordan Poole wasn't fire.
He was amazing. He
good.
wasn't averaging 30.
He was averaging 20 on 50 and 90. It was
That
19
was
points.
great.
It was 19
Yes.
points, if not
No,
20.
that
It
Warriors
was
team was
19
great.
points.
You had Andrew Wiggins playing phenomenal. Of course, Draymond.
Come
But that,
on.
we're not going to act like that was historic all
I'm not
time. That
saying it's
nobody
historic.
could have beat them.
It
Like,
was.
they definitely
If I
could've
had to
beat.
say number 2, I would probably go with Jordan Poole. But if it was Wiggins, I
It
wouldn't
was
be
17.
But 50 and 40.
50-39. Yeah, you're close. Yes.
Come on.
I know, but that's not this
DiVincenzo was on that
unbelievable
squad,
team,
correct?
bro.
No.
That was the
No.
year after. Apologize. Otto Porter was on that squad. He played very well for you off
was
the
good.
bench.
It was a good team.
Andrew Wiggins played unbelievable defense the entire playoffs.
a good team.
Obviously, Draymond Green's
What's
a
better,
first
that
ballot
team
Hall
or
of
the
Famer.
past year's Nuggets?
Last year's Nuggets.
I'm not gonna lie. That
Bubble
word,
Lakers or the Golden State Warriors.
Bubble Lakers.
Again, but that's not
2019
taking,
Raptors or the Golden State Warriors. That's probably the
That's close.
That's probably the weakest. Not saying they're weak, but that's probably the weakest.
that's a great point.
championship
2021
team.
is comp. But
Yeah.
why didn't you say the 21 Bucks?
Oh, I was getting there. I'm sorry.
That's
I
an
just-
argument.
yeah.
Right? Like, that's a
But
fair
the 21
statement to
Bucks,
make.
we can all admit they weren't that great. They weren't.
they were one of the weaker championship teams.
So it's okay.
Agreed. But
There's a reason why Boston was favored to win. They had more talent. Facts.
22. They weren't
22.
favored to win. ESPN had
Sorry,
them
I'm
favored.
sorry, I'm sorry.
Every other book in the world
apologize.
had the
I
Warriors
apologize.
as favorites.
I apologize.
I agree, though. ESPN fucked up everyone's perception
And the
of
reason why
series.
they had the Warriors because of one person only.
He was playing unbelievable.
And he had to, because who else was playing good?
I understand that.
And
But
in
again,
that series-
but then,
Wiggins.
see, but you're saying that, and I agree with you. But then this year, nobody else was playing good. But Steph also wasn't Steph.
Yeah, but bro, there's nobody on that
Bro.
team, man.
But there was nobody on that team last year, and Steph was still able to will them past the top 3 seeded.
Last year they had do you forget last year they had the best starting 5 in basketball?
Agreed. But then what happened the series right after?
What series right after?
The series against the
We
Lakers.
missed the most wide open shots we've ever missed in our lives.
Agreed. And
that
then
Lakers,
also
that Lakers series basically foreshadowed what this entire season was.
I don't get your argument.
my whole point is Steph is getting older. It's
Yes.
getting a lot
Which means
harder
he
for him
cannot
to shoulder
He
loads.
cannot carry a bad team.
Okay.
A bad
All right,
team. He
all right,
cannot
all
do
right.
that.
You're right.
Tatum has never
Durant
shown
can't-
that in his career,
Kevin
by the
Durant
way.
can't do it either.
Tatum has never shown he can
LeBron
carry a
can't
bad
do
team.
it either.
True or false? 2022 Celtics were a bad team until they flipped switches on rolls.
Cook.
They were always a good team.
What? They were 8 seed
team-
at one point in time in 2022.
Yeah, but
We were under
underperforming.
500.
that team was talented.
But then
It was,
Jayson
yeah.
Tatum flipped a switch and became a first team All-NBA.
what is this argument, bro?
Derek
that wasn't
White
a bad
dunked
team.
on
Just said
Bam,
he
by the
never
way.
was going to be uplift a
Dunked
bad
on Bam.
team.
Really?
Yeah.
He uplifted
Yes.
a bad team.
Bam's better.
Oh my goodness.
What?
He just called the 2022 Celtics a bad team.
They were a bad team.
He said Tatum's
Dehls.
proof of uplifting a bad team was
Please.
2022.
No,
You serious?
that first half
They were
Celtics
19
team.
and 21.
They weren't a good team. They were underperforming though. Because the previous
They were
year,
never a bad team.
Well,
They
the previous
lost
year
in
we
the
were
first
hurt. But
round.
Jaylen Brown was we were
'cause he was
starting Evan
hurt.
Fournier and
Yes,
Jabari
and yes,
Parker. Yeah,
understand.
like that was
That was a
terrible
completely
team.
different
That
team.
team was whack.
In, Drew, you're not
That team was
locked
whack.
Why am I not
But
locked
2
in?
years
They were
prior,
19
they were in
and
the ECF.
21.
In
It can be
2020 with Brad,
underperforming.
they were in the ECF.
19 and 21 and become the top 2 seed in the
No,
East.
that was on Tatum being better better. That was also the first time head coach Ime inserting himself. That was Marcus Smart got better in the second half. That wasn't just Tatum. Tatum was a big part of it, but it was
he was
the whole
best
team.
player.
That was Robert Williams
as a
as well.
Celtics fan, Chels, is that an example of Tatum uplifting a bad team?
That team wasn't bad.
They were 19 and 21. You
Brother,
can't
they
tell me
went to
they
the
were good.
finals.
Because
They were good.
No,
They were
Tatum,
great.
of course,
They were good.
best player on that team, you get credit. But I can't sit here and be like, he was fucking carrying Romeo
were
Langford like the
confused, though. They were
season
confused.
before.
How
many
why they were 19
times
and
have
21,
we
bro?
spoken about your best player committing on defense and it changing the energy?
100%.
Absolutely.
Did we not have
2022
confidence?
Celtics were a
But
bad
brother,
team.
that was a
They
team-wide
started.
thing.
That wasn't a bad
We
team.
had endless conversations about it's the best in-season turnaround of all time.
But that was Tatum.
Who did it start with?
That was Marcus Smart was Depoy.
But
Robert
who
Williams
sta-
was
who
a
did it
Depoy level
start
player.
with,
Of course, I mean,
Joel?
it's the best player. Of course,
We
it's
haven't
Tatum.
even got to
point.
topic number 2.
But that
it's
was
not-
easy.
but
That's an
it's
easy
not-
answer.
It's not that the team wasn't good. The team as a whole wasn't playing well.
And then it flipped a switch. Jayson Tatum asserted himself.
So you're saying
and
a not good team went to the finals?
So Jaylen Brown
they
was a bad
started
player.
off as a not good team.
Jaylen Brown's a bad player.
Not, of course
You
not.
said he was the best Robin in the NBA.
I was right.
Okay, so number one, his co-star wasn't bad. His
but they were
co-star was
playing bad, correct?
His co-star was an All NBA
They were
player.
playing
Were they
bad.
playing bad?
No, yes.
That
they
doesn't
were
mean
playing
you're a bad player.
Or a bad team.
Or a
who
bad
said bad
team.
player? They were a bad team at one point in time of that season, correct?
Yes. They were playing bad. They were
They
underachieving.
weren't.
But they were A seed 19 and 21.
Rob Will was a bad player.
No.
Marcus Smart
they
was a
were
bad
playing
player?
bad, correct?
Marcus Smart was a bad
Drew,
player.
but did you not look at
Al
them being
Horford was a
19
bad
and 20
player?
and be like, why the fuck are they this bad? They should be better.
Yes,
They should have been
for-
a top 4 seed in the East, easily.
But the year before that, yes, they did get injured, but they had to go up against a
They had
top
Kemba.
seeded Nets team also.
They have Kemba.
Yes,
Before
and then
had
they
Kemba.
went
We had
to
Romeo Langford.
Agreed, but then you went to Marcus Smart, who you saw a lot of, and you weren't
But
anticipating
that was a
that
completely
also.
different team.
That's it. I mean, we were cooked in that series.
They were good.
No, of course, because you lost JB. Al
Yeah, that
Horford
team
was
was whack.
injured too.
Kemba was done. He was done at that point. The knees were gone.
I think that
They
was
were
before we got
19
had Al.
and 21
'Cause we traded
and they
Kemba for
ended
Al.
up the top 2 seed.
Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Grant Williams, Derek White, Robert Williams, Payne Pritchard, Daniel Tice. That's a bad team.
This guy mentioned Grant Will, Payne
That
Pritchard.
was also Derek White when he was not good.
I
that year.
understand that.
That wasn't good. He wasn't good.
That's not a bad team, bro.
Derek White really ascended with Missoula.
Nobody's called them great, but I don't think they were bad.
At 19 and 21, I can't be convinced that was a good
But
team.
you're looking at just one portion of the year.
But my point being, he asserted himself, said, "This is my team. I'm the number
started
one."
playing better.
And he was not only amazing on offense.
Jamal Murray's gonna play.
He is.
The Lakers have been a 500 team all year long. You never said once that was a bad team.
We were above 500 team.
Yeah, January 1 on, they were one of the better teams.
Yeah,
They
but
were too.
before
So
then,
the Warriors.
even last year, before the All-Star break, you never said it was a
we,
bad team.
we did
Once
finish
they-
over 500 team.
You're in Cancun.
I mean, listen, bro. If you got the
Here's
talent, you
some-
got the talent.
Can't
It's
wait.
not a bad
But
team.
were the
It's just-
Lakers not a bad team at one point last season?
after the trade deadline? You never believed so, though.
Because we got better.
Yes, and the Celtics, like he mentioned, was
They were a bad
everybody
team.
playing collectively better.
But would we agree that the Lakers
In the
were
beginning, yes, they were a bad
that's
team.
it.
Yes.
All right. That's
yes.
it.
so last year's Lakers, LeBron uplifted a bad team.
I would say the trade deadline.
Yeah, the trade deadline
Deadline.
really.
Austin
Not
Reeves
LeBron.
breakout.
Facts.
Yeah.
Breakout is hilarious.
Anthony,
definitely broke out
Anthony
in the playoffs.
Davis
What is he
was
doing now?
healthy, playing great basketball.
He's like a whatever.
I mean,
now.
he's
Who,
fine.
Reeves?
Reeves has been solid.
He's locked in
Rob's
on
solid.
defense.
He's a whatever player now.
That's not
I'm
true.
glad the hype
High floor
about him
player.
died.
High
Yes,
floor
I'm
player.
glad the hype
High
around
floor
him
player.
died.
Let me
An
ask you a
example-
question. Reeves versus you guys. Apologize, Joel. Reeves versus you guys. What was his role?
Role player.
Run around the court, play defense. His shooting was not good against you guys, but his role was to play defense. It's the same thing this year.
guarding
this
Klay
season.
Thompson.
But Clay still constantly does that.
Yeah. Just letting you
And he has to run all over the court and cover against Jamal Murray, which he's done a pretty damn good job
Are
of.
the Orlando Magic bad this year, team wise?
No,
they bad team.
Why would they?
Evans, no.
So they're not a bad team.
No, they
You think this team's better than the 2022 Celtics?
no?
No way.
Thank God.
So how is that how is that year an example of Tatum uplifting a bad team?
Did they not start the season as the number 2 seed in the East?
Pound for pound, like
Did they
Russell for
ever
Russell.
fall off? That has nothing to do with anything.
Yes, it
though.
does.
There was a
What do you
moment they
mean? It
kinda
matters
fell
if
off.
you
They
have
were in the play
talent.
for a
They were in the
while.
play-in, but they
Yeah.
still went back, and they solidified themselves as a playoff
sure.
team.
Now they might win a playoff series.
That's a chance, and that is a topic of the show if you guys are interested.
It is 9-12.
I don't know why you guys are anticipating anything less. We haven't been in studio in a while.
Yeah, nah. It's Dell's fault, man. He always jinx it.
He does.
What'd I do? I was fucking stressed out.
Y'all
over
be
here.
wanting hour shows, man.
I'll be
I'm
honest,
cool with
that's
two.
not what we're
I'm cool
made
with
of.
two.
I'm
No.
so cool with
I'm
two
cool
and a
with
half.
This could still be 2.5.
Why are we
Maybe
lying to each other?
245.
245.
245.
It's not impossible.
245
The Suns
best
do
case
next.
scenario.
I don't see an intense argument here unless Joel wants to really love the Suns.
The problem is we say that and somebody says something quirky or somebody says a little slick comment, then it gets nasty.
Listen, I think with the Phoenix Suns, This was a doomsday scenario for them. I think the biggest thing, my takeaway from this all, is how dysfunctional this team was from the inside, that after they lost, a hit piece essentially on Frank Vogel was released.
The game wasn't over for 5 minutes, and Shams just, boom, tweet, Athletic, new.
Disgusting.
These are some important quotes from it. In April, when the Suns lost embarrassingly to the Clippers, when the Clippers were playing none of their players and they got blown out.
Oh, I love that game.
Frank Vogel screamed at the players. He was trying to get them to play harder. And a player that was sourced said that it felt forced, but also he was trying to hold back his laughter because of Frank Vogel getting on a team.
That's not an L on the player.
It is an L on a player. Phoenix's players questioned the coaching staff's inability to structure the offense and maximize the output of a lineup featuring 3 of the game's best scorers. Sources briefed on the matter told The Athletic that Durant never felt comfortable with his role in Phoenix's offense alongside Booker and Beal this season. Those sources said Durant had persistent issues with the offense, feeling that he was being relegated to the corner far too often. I think Frank Vogel looks the best in all of this, because shortly after Chris Haynes reported that he wanted a point guard all year long, but the front office never gave him that point guard, I got to credit Frank Vogel because he got a roster that I don't know how much say or power he had in getting the players he truly wanted on the team. The first trade that happened was the DeAndre Ayton trade. The Chris Paul trade then happened. He wanted a point guard. They never got it to him the entire year. I'm looking at the fact that, this team won, 49 games on the year. Nurkic had an awesome year for them in the regular season. Really elevated Nurkic and made him an actual serviceable
respectable role player.
Because he's a backup big man. He's not a starting big man. I think Frank Vogel got the most out of a team that was flawed. And all of the team's grievances with each other showed in that Wolves series. They did have stretches where they looked great, where they beat playoff teams like the Cavs and the Timberwolves, and it was looking on the up and up, but they never kept that same consistency. I don't know how much blame I want to give on Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. I think with Devin Booker, he was relegated to a role that he had never played before in his career.
I agree with this.
With Kevin Durant, from a play style perspective, not much grievances. From a leadership standpoint, it's another example of Kevin Durant not being a leader.
He's never been.
Kevin Durant has never been a leader, and Kevin Durant, since leaving OKC, showcased that he doesn't have the ability to galvanize teammates and have a want to beat a team that has beaten him because he fled to Golden State. I don't want to diminish what he did in Golden State, but that will always be the biggest stain on his resume. The fact that once he left Golden State, didn't get along with Steve Kerr towards the end, goes to Brooklyn, Kenny Atkinson is fired, Steve Nash is handpicked, that flops, then gets traded to Phoenix, and now it seems like there's issues with Frank Vogel. The biggest person in the blame pie for the Phoenix Suns is Matt Ishbia. Matt Ishbia came to this team, wanted to win so quickly that he made the wrong moves, the wrong trades. He fit the wrong players together on a roster. He brought in a defensive-minded head coach for an offensive-minded personnel, and it never worked. With that being said, Frank Vogel gets little of the blame because he did the best he could with the flawed roster. The next guy up in the blame, I think, is Bradley Beal, because Bradley Beal being the third best player on the team, he's the one that got to make the ultimate sacrifice. And the way I saw Anthony Edwards rip the competitive spirit out of Bradley Beal's chest in Game 4, it was unlike something I've ever seen. I've never seen a player so defeated. And you go back to those years in Washington when Bradley Beal would go on the bench and he'd throw tantrums and he'd have a towel over his head and he'd look defeated and he'd look like he hated being with the team but never requested a trade. He brought that same energy to Phoenix. And it's one of the biggest reasons that they failed this year, because he was unable to adjust to his role, to what they needed him to do. Then he gets the blame. But the front office's lack of moves to surround, I think, KD and D Book and build them a roster that can actually compete is the biggest one of them all. KD doesn't get a pass because his leadership, we've seen it for years now that he's not a leader of a team. And I think at this stage of his career, it's sad for a player like him. He might be one of the only Hall of Famers in NBA history that does not have one organization that genuinely wants to retire his jersey. He's a top 15 player of all time. What he did at OKC, unless he goes back and wins a championship with them, I don't think his jersey should be in the Raptors after how he betrayed that team. With Golden State, I don't even think Warriors fans value what he did.
Ooh.
They don't, but he'll get it retired.
I think that's his best shot. But I'm your take right now is a good one.
With the Brooklyn Nets, there's no way in hell.
Hell no.
Oh, that sucks too, because you could argue that was his best year of basketball.
And then with the Phoenix Suns, there's no way in hell. No. So you have to bank on the politics behind the organization and saying, you know what, Kevin Durant was so great for us. He deserves this moment. His best chances with OKC, because the resume he built in OKC, an MVP, 3 Western Conference Finals, an NBA Finals appearance so young. But it's just what he did going to Golden State, leaving for the team that just beat you when you were up 3-1. It is something that within that organization, I think it bleeds so much into the fact that I don't even know if they might even want to trade for him. Because I think if they trade for him, it's giving them a competitive advantage, but it's also giving KD an out to restore his legacy in OKC.
I won't say that that's a bad thing. I say this as a LeBron fan who watched his favorite player completely change the perception of how people viewed him on the outside looking in when he went from Miami back home to Cleveland once he did deliver a championship. If KD were able to vindicate his wrongs and go back to OKC and deliver them a championship, he would be seen in a completely different light. I do firmly believe that. I will say he will probably get his number retired in OKC. They retired Nick Collison's number. They will retire his.
That's a good point.
Nick Collison's legend.
OKC legend. Got his number retired for a reason. They will retire his number.
Do OKC fans fuck with Nick Collison or KD more?
Kevin Durant. They fuck with Kevin Durant more. I can't be convinced otherwise. I get it. He snaked them. And he did something that I don't think anybody anticipated that he would do. I think we thought he would leave. There was a better chance of him leaving in our eyes and going to a team like Boston, a team like Washington, because that was home. Maybe even the Spurs, where that was still a very competitive team, but they weren't the overwhelming favorite. You went to the team that just beat you after you were up 3-1. That's what really was the stabbing in the back to all OKC fans. I still think he has a chance to get his number retired in Golden State. You delivered two finals and 2 finals MVPs. But if you are a supporter of Kevin Durant, when is enough for you? What more do you want if you are Kevin Durant? Now there's reports saying that you are upset with how you were used in the offense. You're Kevin Durant. You have a say in what goes on. At least you should.
Biggest say.
You're one of the best players in the league. You're one of the best players that's ever touched a basketball. How do you not have a say? Agreed with you. Frank Vogel most definitely looks the best in all this because he's an actual coach. I watched that over there in L.A., and they scapegoated him once in L.A. for blaming him for everything that went down with Russell Westbrook, even though he wanted to move Russell Westbrook to the bench, but front office was persistent. Please put him back into the starting lineup. That's what we want. That's what we're asking of you. He got scapegoated there. He goes to Phoenix, and now they're scapegoating him once again. I don't want to give Devin Booker a pass because he did not play well in games 1 through 3, was excellent in game 4. But now this goes back to Frank Vogel. He knew the obvious problem. It was identifying, not that this is a knock on Devin Booker. You're a 2 guard. That is okay. You're not a true facilitating guard. That is all right. You can do this. You have those attributes, but that's what makes you so special at the 2 when you have a 1 next to you, like we saw with Chris Paul. And Bradley Beal's another one where it's hard to be the 3rd scoring option when your 2 scoring options in front of you are arguably 2 of the top 5 scorers in the league. You have to find and pick your moments and be really meticulous of it. That kind of overwhelms the people watching the games to make you feel like you're really making an impact. You look at Bosh, you look at Kevin Love. Those are kind of the 2 examples that I take from this. But the one rare example where we saw all 3 hit at once, even though it was for only 16 games, was Kyrie, Harden, and KD. We kind of were anticipating that, but Beal's not those 2 other players. He's not Harden. He's not Harden. He's not Kyrie.
Because Harden played point guard.
It's not correct.
I don't even think it's there was a point guard. The Suns never had that.
I think it's that too, but I think it's when you are playing with the same guys like you, the court becomes smaller. You it starts to shrink because your spots are their spots, and if they're better than you, why would you even think to dare to go? Like Kevin Durant's on your team. Why do you think you're going to Kevin Durant's spot? Devin Booker's on your team. Why do you think you're going to go to Devin Booker's spot? They are the mid-range kings, so it's like, where are you going to find your spots, your touches? Where are you going to find your niche in this offense? So I think that was the biggest thing for Beal. Like, and you mentioned the Ant-Man. First of all, the matchup was nuts in itself. For sure. I don't know whose idea was it. I get it. They had no other choice, but Ant-Man completely, like, it wasn't, like, he made Bradley Beal look like a high schooler. That's how bad the matchup was. Like, he completely destroyed him. Games 1 through 4, was talking crazy. You know, you love the playoff vibes out there.
Oh, yeah.
Not only talking crazy, locking him up, scoring on him, everything. He just completely destroyed him, and Bradley Beal was frustrated, aggravated, couldn't get it going. I like the fact that he, he did go in joking, though, like, I'll be damned, because, he understands, like, yeah, listen, man, you lose. It is what it is.
Go out on your sword. I respect that.
Have some fun with it. Talk about the Suns, man. Frank Vogel did get scapegoated, I feel like he, in that article, he did talk about how, or it was a different article that said he been wanted a point guard. He felt this team needed a real point guard.
They name dropped TJ?
I don't think in that one they name dropped somebody.
That's a guy.
I know.
No, that would have been cool. He a little small.
That would have fed families right there.
He a little small, but that would have been cool.
But he's gritty.
And I think having a point guard that understands the feel for the game, understands pace, space, understands when to slow it down, when to speed it up. Like, I think having that real feel as a point guard is just something you can't just teach. And I think Devin Booker, Bradley Beal has always been score first type 2 guards. So even though they can be, secondary playmakers, they're not primary guys. That's just not their game. And I think Frank Vogel, I said it in the offseason, man, this is not a roster built for him. You've seen his Indiana days, how successful he was. He had a rim protector. He had multiple wing defenders. He had a pesky guard in George Hill and Darren Collison. If he did coach that team, I don't actually remember. But I remember the teams where they were making the consistent playoffs. George Hill was that pesky shooting guard.
Oh, that was Frank, yeah.
Yeah. And then, no, I'm saying I don't remember if he coached in 2008 when they had
Got you.
They had George Hill, Paul George. They had Lance. Like, they had that grit, that hungry tonight, kind of like how Minnesota is with the toughness.
Yeah,
that's those Indiana Pacers team, and Frank Vogel coached them a hell of a way. He had them elite defense at the elite defense.
Facts.
That's even with the Lakers. You guys were a great
number one defense
because when you give him the personnel, that's his thing. And this team is an offensive-minded team, a team built around offense, in which they should have got an offensive mind. And now you're kind of putting Frank Vogel in a position where, well, this is not really my strength. I'm gonna go out here and give it a go. They don't have the personnel. Now you're looking at it as like players didn't respect him. Somebody tried to laugh at him when he was yelling crazy. I would do some shit like that too, though. I do be laughing when something get too serious. But, players just didn't respect him. And unfortunately,
it's a lack of professionalism for me, though.
It is. It's tough because you didn't come to play. You completely got manhandled by Minnesota. And you had the audacity to look at your coach the wrong way. But in reality, you should all look at yourselves in the mirror. So I feel like Frank is probably going to get fired. I feel like he's probably going to get the blame. Kevin Durant talking about it's not the system for him. Like, listen, all that sounds cool and all, but you guys are one of the 10 to 12 best players in the world, so you have to start figuring it out. But I think it starts, you mentioned, I think who you mentioned first?
HBO.
Who?
The owner.
And the blame
Yes.
pie?
Yeah. It definitely starts with the FO. They get first blame, then it trickles down. I think Bradley Beal goes too, because it's just ridiculous how you play. First, you was injured. I ain't gonna put that on you, but first you was injured. Then because you wasn't even fully available. Then you come in, you got your chain snatched.
He was cooking last couple months of the season.
Yeah, but April runs are funny, and then late March runs are hilarious too.
They're funny when you're not competing for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wasn't like, if you shown me something for 40 to 50 plus games, those last 10, 15, I'm not going to be
balling in March. He balled in February. He balled in April.
Maybe. I'll have to.
April's also like 5 games.
The March for sure, but that March stretch, he was very good.
The Suns went on a stretch there where the fourth quarter numbers came up. You could look at the records, the offense and defensive numbers. I think the KD issue, to me, it just kind of stems from his personality. I think Joel, you might have mentioned in the beginning, just kind of the lack of leadership that we've seen from KD over the years, where if things aren't going right in the offense, I don't think he's going to be the one to step up and be like, Coach, we need to fix X, Y, and Z. He's always seemed like more of the reserve type to say, this is how you're going to fit in the offense. Even though, you're Kevin Durant. You should feel like you have, number one, the ability, and number two, the right to say, this is how I want to be run in our offense, even if you have two other ball-dominant players like Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. But the issues with the Suns stem from when they made the Bradley Beal trade, when they signed 7 guys to vet minimum contracts the first hour free agency opened. All of these issues or the questions that came into the season never really got answered, in my opinion. Even when Bradley Beal was playing well, even when the Suns were playing well, I think there were still always questions around how are the role players going to look, especially once Grayson Allen goes out. And now that huge weakness now becomes maybe the biggest weakness out of all of these playoff teams, because now you're really not looking at anyone you could trust. It's Royce O'Neal and a bunch of, you got Josh Okogie out there giving you some good effort minutes, but it's tough to really rely on that if you want to win a playoff series. But the biggest issue right now is you got no cap space. You're over the second apron. You're not going to be able to really drastically improve this roster. You could go out there, and I believe they have the 22nd overall pick in this draft. You could sign different vet minimum guys to 1-year deals and hope 1 or 2 of them pop off. Number 2, as you guys mentioned, you don't have a point guard. And again, you don't really have the areas to find a point guard, at least a point guard that you feel comfortable with starting a playoff series. And number 3, it's the lack of perimeter defenders. I think Devin Booker, especially we saw last season in the playoffs, when he's locked in defensively, he's a really good defender. Kevin Durant, maybe not the quickest on his feet anymore, but I still think he's a strong defender when he's locked in. But when your best players have to also be your best defenders, like for example, Ant Edwards, tremendous defender. But it's also nice when you have Jaden McDaniels and you have Nickeil Alexander-Walker. When Ant has to drop 40, you could put someone else on Kevin Durant or Devin Booker to be like, you know what, Ant, take off for this quarter. You know what, Ant, take off for this 6-minute stretch. We need you on offense. When you have the Phoenix Suns, you just don't have that.
No.
I mean, you don't have the dudes that you're gonna trust to guard other top level players. And of course, every team around the league is looking for that. But I think it was really obvious with the Suns team. So those are the 3 biggest issues: no point guard, lack of perimeter defenders, and you don't really have a way to improve this roster going into 2024.
I think I want to show my respect to Booker and KD. They got swept, but they didn't go out sorry in game 4.
No, they didn't.
Nah, they balled out.
They gave their best punch, and they just lost because of all those problems you mentioned, Dehls. When you're a fan of a team, the only way that you become attached to an era of basketball that was amazing is if you don't have any great moments after that. That's why before Jalen Brunson came to the Knicks, before Randall came to the Knicks, the best thing I had was the 2012 Knicks and then making the playoffs.
Yep.
But when you're a team like Golden State, who we had success before KD, we had success after KD. You're not too attached to that era of basketball.
Nah.
When you're a team like OKC, that, well, after KD left, we got an MVP Westbrook year, and now we arguably got the best future in the NBA with our big 3 and the treasure chest of draft picks we have. And this time around, this team could do what that team never did because it was broken up too early. These teams, these fan bases, don't hold that same attachment to the eras of basketball when Kevin Durant played for them because they have things to look forward to. And I think it's the most unfortunate part about KD's career is that a player as great as him, he should never have not one organization that doesn't have overwhelming admiration for him as a player. But at the same time, it's his fault. He could have stayed at OKC. He could have stayed in Golden State. It was between him and Klay Thompson. That's who they were picking between. He could have stayed in Golden State. He didn't. And all year long in Golden State, if you guys remember that year, there were reports he was leaving.
Yep.
And he always denied them and always made them sound like it was hearsay. And then all of those reporters ended up looking right because he did exactly what he said where it was just BS in the media. He did exactly that. I don't know who leaked this stuff to The Athletic. I think it was a combination of players, people inside the organization.
You think KD?
I think there's definitely somebody from KD's camp who leaked some stuff. KD's not getting to his spots like he usually does. He's not being used right. The Athletic article, to me, for the most part, felt very much like Vogel isn't taken serious as a coach. It's a knock on Vogel.
Yep.
Beal and Booker can't play point guard. It's a knock on Beal and Booker.
Yep.
The offensive assistant, Kenny Young, the offensive coach, he couldn't get us in the right spots. That's a knock on Kenny Young. And it very much kind of paints KD in the best light.
Yep.
It tried to, at least. And I don't know who did it. A lot of Suns fans are speculating this Isaiah Thomas. I don't know why it'd be him.
Isaiah Thomas. He just
I don't
got
know.
there.
I don't know why it'd be him.
Was he even there for when he got yelled at?
Nah, he was there. He was
Might
there.
have been. He probably was
He
on
10. He might have been on 10 day at the time.
I think it's unfortunate. I think the Suns, it sucks because, the team made the finals. Whether or not you chalk it up to the opponents they faced that were injured, sometimes you get lucky like that. There's no doubt. The next year you lose in the second round.
It sucks. LA would have won.
The next year you lose in the second round. But then since you traded all your entire championship core, that's as far as you've gotten. And you just got embarrassed in the first round. I understand it might be a long shot and people might want to do it over the KD trade, but you definitely feel solid about a core that features Booker, Mikal, Cam Johnson, Ayton, I think still to this day, and you just draft players and scout well so they can come in and fit on the team. I think you at least feel like, maybe it might not be a championship, but we can be a consistent playoff team, and a move here or there can get us over that hump. Because Mikal Bridges, before he got traded to Brooklyn, he was improving. He was dropping 19 to 21 a game. And that's why when he got traded to Brooklyn, I said, I think he's going to really excel because he is improving internally in his game. If they had that improvement from Mikal and they stuck with him, they got a new coach for Ayton. With Portland, he's looked great with Chauncey in the second half of the year. There were ways to maybe make tweaks to this team.
March and April runs.
Yeah,
now we can
DeAndre
talk.
in March and April.
For those type of players, we could cook.
That's what I'm saying.
Some agendas here, man. Like, who had great March, April runs? Jalen Green?
Low key, Scoot Henderson.
Low key.
They don't want to talk about it, though.
Here we go. Real rookie of the year. Amen.
Amon's been here all year.
Bro said a real rookie of the year. Jesus Christ.
I think it'd be silly to
7'6"
fire
guys
Frank
just
Vogel.
don't move me, man.
Frank, I mean, who are you going to go out there and hire that's going to be a better coach than Frank Vogel? That just seems like we don't have any moves to make.
Do you consider Bud?
You do, but who wants to coach this team?
Yeah.
They're in hell. I mean, I think they'll run it back one more year. They
Do
have
you
to.
think
At least a
JJ
deadline.
Redick thinks about it?
Hell no.
He's
I think
thinking
you
about
have
the
to-
Hornets.
The Hornets got a
different.
brighter
You can start
future.
fresh.
The Hornets got LaMelo and Brandon Miller.
think
Those
you
are
have
two
to trade-
building.
Also, you got younger players.
You
that
trade
could
Kevin Durant.
have an
You have to
impression
trade
on.
Grayson Allen. If you want to compete, you have to trade Grayson Allen.
What about, can you compete while also trading Kevin Durant?
No. Bradley Beal also has a no trade clause.
I mean,
So
you
That's
playing team, maybe.
Beal actually being on this team is going to be the dagger, unfortunately.
there's
I
a
mean,
no
you can't
trade
trade
clause.
him.
You can't-
There's nothing. Yeah.
It's gonna
you
be
need
hard.
him. But Loki, you need him.
Yeah, but he's a backup big. He's
It's
making
sad
15
because
mil.
Hartenstein is going to be a free agent this year. If you had some money, you could have threw a bag at
He
him.
would have been perfect for them.
They
I
never
think
would have.
Hardenstein's
They not even
coming
with
back.
Beal, they wouldn't have had the money.
No, that's what I'm saying because you wanted to go get him. Be
If
a
I'm the
weirdo.
Knicks, I do everything I can
The
to
thing
bring
with the Suns,
Hardenstein.
the margin for error is so slim that it just makes sense to trade KD at his highest value. I mean, if he has another All-NBA year, then it really doesn't matter trading him this year or next year. You can run it back. If everybody's just talking about the rebuild part of this team, if they don't rebuild, Beal, Nurkic, you got to try to find something for them,
But then
and
Beal
they
has
have to
say
be off
yes.
the team.
He's a no trade
I know
clause.
that's the toughest part.
Yeah.
But I seen a
You got to
Kenny's
hit on your
video
second round picture about the
on
draft.
YouTube. Kenny traded
got
him
pick
to the
22.
Hornets.
And and Beal was happy with that. He said yes.
Kenny what?
He
Kenny
forced
Nikola
the trade.
Bradley Beal.
Kenny what?
He traded him to the Hornets for Nick Richards and Trey Mann.
Oh my God.
You'd rather have
Beal
Trey
has
Mann or
fallen
Bradley
off.
Beal?
Trey Mann.
But if you're the Hornets,
I'd just rather take 50 mil off the books.
if you're the Hornets and you're not paying nobody, you wouldn't like LaMelo
LaMelo, Beal,
But you don't even
Brandon,
got-
Brandon Miller were here.
But you can attach something to get Bradley. Like you don't
No,
have any
they
picks
have
to give
cap.
him.
They have cap.
No, I'm saying if I'm acquiring Bradley Beal, I need a pick or I need a young player.
Yeah, I mean, like
you don't got anything
I
to
wouldn't ask
give
for
me.
nothing crazy. I just let me get like 2
Yo,
seconds.
remember
Exactly.
when
One
5
first.
seconds for Bradley Beal was a lick? Do you remember that?
Yes. Remember when
Now
the Bucks,
that's an L.
Bucks
For the
traded
player,
5 seconds
not for the
Jay
contract.
Crowder?
Jay Crowder.
Yeah, Jay Crowder got 5
Oh
seconds.
man, listen, it's pretty terrible the situation they're in. I think it's just a couple scenarios. Like you either rebuild the entire team, you try
You
to
can
trade
get a
Beal
lot
and
back
Nurkic,
for Booker and
You can get a
Durant.
ton
You
back.
can get
Or
a shit ton.
Booker
back.
has to stay. Booker's a lifer. I don't care what happens.
I'll be honest, brother.
or you trade KD and try to
Booker
I
wants
trade
Booker's
KD.
second
I trade
window
KD.
to
He's the only one I consider trading. And obviously Beal.
now you're
if-
kinda
if
sitting
it's
here
possible.
wasting
I don't
Devin
think Booker's
Booker.
gonna sit in that locker room like, yeah, I'm gonna wait for a
Me,
while. For
Nurkic.
this.
I don't-
He's
I-
starting to
I-
reach the prime of his
Thomas,
He
career.
sat in
I
it for like
th-
7
I
years.
think
now.
That's why I don't think he wants to
But
sit
now
another
he's like, I'm
5,
here. I'm
you know?
27 now.
I
He's reaching the prime.
I think it's
26.
actually possible to trade Kevin Durant to a team that actually is trying to compete. You get solid enough role players that Devin Booker can still make the playoffs with those teams.
I don't
But
think
you're
he's
the
comfortable.
trade. The trade you had a couple episodes ago was with the Thunder picks. Case and Wallace is like the star player here. A Devin Booker, Kaysen Wallace, Nurkic team, that's a play-in at best.
Kaysen obviously has to learn to have the ball in his hands a good amount of time.
Booker
now
has
at
to
this
wait
point.
for him to develop.
Yeah, it's true.
And them picks to develop. See, like here's the thing. He waited for so long for them to be good. What do? I think they went to the finals the first year. Yeah. Next year they win 66 games. Now he's gotten a taste of that top tier, top level. Like, nah, I don't want to just be a guy sitting and waiting. I want to win. And there's been rumors. Stephen A. I know Stephen A. is a bad guy to use, but he said the Knicks noise is real.
It makes sense because
Leon Rose, beautiful for
yeah,
Booker.
but I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. But Stephen A. when it comes to the Knicks, I can't hear it.
I know.
Leon Rose represented Devin Booker at CAA. They have close ties to each other. I think there's something there. I don't think the Knicks trade package is there. I think the trade package would be a bunch of picks, the best one being the Pistons pick, which you don't know when it's going to be unprotected because it has protections on it. And then the rest are the Knicks ones, and they're probably going to be good. So I think that's what makes it tough in all this. They can trade a first-round pick this year. They have the 22nd overall pick in the draft.
You got to keep that.
That's something they can trade. I wouldn't do it. I was actually doing some early scouting. I don't know if he'll fall this far, but I think Yves Missi from Baylor.
Let it go.
Would be the perfect player. You don't think he's good?
No, I don't think he's falling.
No, he's not falling.
No, he's if he does, it's a
listen,
fucking
if you want to get off Bradley, if you want to get off Bradley Beal's contract, 22 could go a long way.
This is going to be some Yves Missi prop right here. If you're watching this video, go watch Yves Missi highlights.
No, he's good.
He's fucking amazing.
Yeah, he's good. And that's why he won't fall to 22.
Yeah,
if he falls to 22, that's a fucking lick that Phoenix needs to call. I mean, like, yeah, we want him. Call it in. We got him.
No, like, he's really good.
Yeah, so he's a dog, man.
I don't know, man.
What school he went to?
Baylor.
I had to make sure.
Do you think that the era?
That's how I answered.
I wish you would have asked Dehls.
I heard you say Baylor.
He said it right after you too.
So, because the Suns failed, this is probably one of the biggest epic failures ever. Do you think that the super team era is over, or do you think this version of it just failed?
No, I think you can still build a proper super team. You know, I think, and I know this is a super extreme thing, but I like. Golden State, right? They had Kevin Durant, they had Steph, they had Clay. They were so great because their games fit perfectly together. You know, I think you can still, at this point, build the proper super team. You know, I just think it takes a collection of one guy, 1A, 1B, complementing each other, and then the third guy complementing the top two guys. I think you can definitely do it. It's there. I mean, you have these mini super teams where it's like their top three guys aren't like superstars, but like OKC, like J-Dub, SGA, Chet, they all fit each other pretty perfectly. You know, they're all complementing each other's game. You know, you look at Boston, they have Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, and Porzingis. You know, they fit each other pretty well. So it's like you have these mini ones, you know, and I think the extreme ones that we used to get where you have two top 5 players and like a top 15, I don't know if those are going to be the case anymore. It would take like a Phoenix-like guy to go to another team. Like if Kevin Durant goes to OKC, we're fucking talking here. That could possibly be a potential super team, you know, depending on how they move.
It would be.
Yeah, that would be like insane.
And that would work in my opinion.
That works.
See, but you have to trade Dort. And you're cool with that 100%, not even thinking twice about it?
I'll try to trade Kaysen before I trade Dort.
You might have to get both.
You have to give both.
You might have to throw both.
This for KD?
It's for KD.
Because
he ain't want to get it.
The OKC Thunder have so many draft picks. You can just not throw in Dort and just throw in those draft picks. They have some great ones. They have one from Utah.
Here's the thing. I think Aaron Wiggins is not Dort as a defender, but I think if they lose Dort, Aaron Wiggins can go in there and still be really good for them.
They have some Clippers picks.
He's not Dort, though.
No, he's
Losing
not.
Dort is
tough. But I think he's really, because offensively, I think he's slightly a little better.
Because the numbers say Dort's the best perimeter defender in the game.
No, he's defensively, he is one of them ones. I'm saying offensively, though, Aaron Wiggins gives you some defense, and offensively, I think he's a little better. Just a little better.
I think the super teams of this version where you're just going to get 3 stars and then sign a bunch of dudes to veteran minimums, I think that's dead. I think you could have super teams where you have super teams, quote unquote, where if you have 2 really good players, top 10 players like the Lakers, for example, and then you have Rondo, you got Dwight, you got KCP and Caruso, and you got all these really solid role players. Of course, JaVale McGee. When you have 2 high-level players and you surround them with high-level role players, that's always going to beat out 3 just high-level players.
It's all about the finances. Because the Warriors were able to get KD because of the contract they gave to Steph and off Dre, of the ankle injury. Yes. They got a steal for that, and the cap went up that year. I feel like it's getting overblown because I believe the Nets would have succeeded if they were healthy. So I think the Nets, had they been healthy in 2021 with Harden and Kyrie, they would have beat the Bucks, and I thought they would have won a championship. And
hypothetical role.
I think that deads the conversation of super teams. But this super team they didn't fit. But I think in the future, when you look at a team like OKC that has an MVP level player, a future DPOY in Chet, an all-star for sure, an all-star level player in J-Dub, if they add one guy that is an all-star, all-NBA player, which they have the draft capital to do, that's a super team that I think would succeed 100%.
Oh, yeah.
If it's Kevin Durant, I think it would succeed. If it's Giannis, because Giannis might be on the horizon with the Bucks losing in the first round like this.
Am I wrong to say if you trade Giannis, if you trade for Giannis, Chet has to be in the package if I'm Milwaukee?
I think for him, one of those guys have to be in.
I was going to say it's
because of how young he is.
It's unreasonable to ask
but
for.
Still, even if you trade Chet, J-Dub, Giannis,
Be honest, if I upgrade from, and this is no slight, obviously, because it's fucking Giannis. See you later, Chet.
Would Miami be a super team if they get either KD or Devin Booker?
I don't think they'd be a super team.
Because then you have Butler, Bam.
It's teetering on the line.
And on top of it, you have Spo.
Spo should count.
Low-key? Okay.
Because Bam underrated playoff riser. Underrated playoff riser. Jimmy Butler, playoff riser, unfortunately injured right now. Kevin Durant, get the fuck out of here.
Sweeper.
I think a super team could still work. I don't think any team is done just not trading for top.
I just don't think you can't sell your soul for the super team.
No,
that's the issue. Yeah.
And OKC, they're in a timeline where they're not paying anybody really.
They don't have to sell their soul.
And the benefit of the Gordon Hayward trade, he's been a non-factor for them,
not at all.
was that they opened up $30 million cap space for this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So they could make a contract with KD work simply by just adding in a case in Wallace. They don't even have to add two players. Based on the value that Phoenix getting back, maybe you want that. But I think if you are building around Devin Booker, I agree with you, Drew. You ask for Lou Dort in that deal.
Yeah.
If you are just going into a full rebuild, it's like, I could just get Kaysen with all these picks and I'll be fine if I trade these guys.
It's one of those that you try in that trade, Giddey, Lou Dort's, first round picks. Now, if you're the Phoenix Suns, you have this guy that you can trust to be your facilitator in Josh Giddey. Now Devin Booker goes back to playing the two. Lou Dort, you get one of the best perimeter defenders in the game. He can knock down some threes also. Grayson Allen also just signed an extension. You have Bradley Beal, who also you have ties to, whether you like it or not. I don't know how possible it is to move him, but at least now you're shaping out the roster to be a good basketball team. This AAU style of basketball, it does not deliver championships. We've never seen it done. It will not happen.
This is the final thing until we move on to the NFL draft and losers. I just want to get your guys' opinions on these trade packages because you mentioned it for the rebuild. Let's say the Phoenix Suns go into a full rebuild. If the Suns go into a full rebuild, Kevin Durant, first player traded. I have two trade packages. Mm-hmm. Miami Heat, they get Tyler Hero, Nikola Jokic, Terry Rozier, and 2 first-round picks for KD.
The trade sucks.
That's not a terrible trade.
I think you can find better.
Let me hear it again. 2 first, Nikola Jokic, Terry Rozier.
Nikola Jokic has been very good this series against the Celtics. 6'9", he could defend, he could handle.
If there's one player, maybe I swap out.
You should work for the Miami PR team.
He's 20 years old.
No, he's a good player.
I feel like you can find.
I'm not
better.
saying that's the fucking auto accept.
Kevin Durant.
You can find better.
It's Kevin Durant.
If I'm the Suns, I'd probably say, I don't want Rozier. Let me get Jaquez.
Yes. If I could get Jaime in this too.
Now we're cooking.
If you're the Heat, though, do you trade Hero, Jokic?
It's not going to work.
Did you have Hero in this?
Hero in that
is
contract.
Hero in this deal?
He's
Apologize.
KD's at 50.
So
it wouldn't work.
The deal is Hero, Jokic, and Terry Rozier.
That would work.
And 2 firsts.
Jaquez wouldn't work unless they add in Duncan Robinson.
Now you're selling your soul because you're basically trading your all your role players.
We need depth.
Hero can go. I would trade Jokic in this situation too, even though he's a nice young player.
You wouldn't trade Jaquez.
I would want to keep Jaquez over.
What if the Suns say, I want Hero, Jaquez, and Duncan Robinson in 2 firsts?
Not Jokic.
Not Jovic or Rozier. So Rozier,
I would do it.
I would do it.
You got to win.
The next trade package is with OKC. It's Kaysen Wallace, who's the centerpiece of the deal. Kenrich Williams, Josh Giddey, and then 4 first-round picks.
Can we trade anybody but Josh Giddey?
I would take a first out of there.
Like money-wise,
can I get Lou Dort instead of Giddey?
It works regardless.
How many firsts is Dort's worth, in your opinion?
I think he's worth at least 2.
2?
3 most, but
because I was going to say
because
2 firsts instead of 4 firsts with Lou Dort's more intriguing to you. I think to me,
well, what are the Suns going to do? Are you going to try to compete with Devin Booker, or are you also trying to move off Devin Booker and reset this whole thing?
I think that with that deal, though, you get a point guard in Giddey, you get another guard in Kaysen who can also can score, can
this
shoot.
Is the we're going to still
play
compete
defense.
Package.
Correct.
If you get Dort.
Correct. And then you have Lou Dort's, your 3. This is now your Mikal Bridges-esque player. Not the same offense, but elite level defender. Booker goes back to the 2. You have Kenrich Williams. I apologize. Don't want to butcher his name. And then you have now Grayson Allen can come off the bench. Your big situation still a question mark. OKC maybe is not the best team to deal with that, but this is more intriguing to me. If I'm a Suns fan, I'm building a basketball roster.
So for trading Kevin Durant, best case scenario, with OKC, you get Case and Wallace back and a bunch of picks. With the Heat, it's Tyler Hero and it's Jovic and Hawk as one of those 2 young players. Whoever it's going to be, that's best case scenario. Now let's talk about Devin Booker trades.
This is where you can get a bag.
The first one that comes to mind is Orlando Magic. You trade Franz Wagner and Cole Anthony and 4 firsts.
So you got Suggs, D-Book,
Who's going to say the unpopular thing right now?
You want to keep Franz?
Franz has been the best player for Orlando the last 2 games.
I don't know.
Last game, most definitely, he took
been
over.
the best
Didn't
scorer.
Apollo have 30?
He might have been.
Game 2, was it? Apollo had
It was
He
game
might have.
one.
Game 2.
I think it was.
I think
game
Franz
3
been
he
their
was
best
great.
scorer.
Yeah.
Game 3 and Game 4,
Yeah.
Franz
He's been
has
great
been
at home.
OD.
I don't think that matters when you talk about Devin Booker, though.
I agree with
Game
you.
3, Paulo had 31, 14, and 5.
What
Word,
did
yeah.
Franz have? I don't want to sound like
I think he had a 30 ball.
Franz had 16, 5, and 8.
he had a 30-ball game 4.
Last
He
game,
did.
yeah, facts.
So even with you saying that, I understand what you're saying, but Paulo is more valuable.
Oh,
yeah,
undoubtedly.
And he's
Apollo's
untouchable.
untouchable, yes.
He's undoubtedly.
So if you're the Magic, do you trade
trying to
Franz and picks for Booker? With D-Book,
I say
Paulo, Suggs.
You still need a point guard, though. You're hoping Black can be that. If I'm the Suns, I'm trying to get Black in the deal, though.
I would too.
Yeah, I'm trying to. If I can get one less pick, try to get Black. I think that'd be the.
Because I'll be honest, ain't nobody
Wagner.
want Cole Anthony.
Yeah, like I'd try to.
He's
get
a filler in the deal.
I'd just say, give me who else is a filler? Is Joe Ingles still in the deal? $11 million deal. If you can give me Ingles, Black, Wagner, give me 3 first-round picks. I'm cool with that. I'm Phoenix. I'm like,
That's
we're
a
here.
package.
We're here.
package.
Like I can rebuild with this. I got my point guard. I got my
Because
3.
you still keep, for Orlando, you're still keeping Suggs, so you're still kind of keeping that tenacity in the backcourt defensively, and you got Devin Booker to partner there.
Still need a true point guard, but we can figure that out.
and the way
That's where
Paulo facilitates,
Jalen's not that real true one.
nah.
And we still keep Isaac. Ledge.
Yeah.
If you can hold on to Isaac, that's a W. Yo, Isaac has been OD too this series.
The Magic package is the most intriguing, and then comes in the Knicks. They can't trade a young star to be role players and picks. Mitchell Robinson, Dante DiVincenzo, Bojan Bogdanovic matches the contracts, and then 5 first-round
Julius
picks.
can't get traded?
He can. I don't think the Suns would want him, so they probably find a third team. But this is just a scenario that doesn't involve
Shooters.
Julius Randle.
You're giving up some shooters.
If you get rid of Dante, you fill in with Devin,
Yep.
that still fills that
And
void of
Deuce
the
has been
shooting.
And the
great for
Suns
you.
get a center that they can have.
Deuce has been awesome. So that backup point guard role is there. I would do that. Yeah, I like that one.
If I'm the Suns, though, that Magic offer is a lot more
it's just
enticing.
no young players for the Phoenix to bank on. You know, it's just a lot of good role players. If we had a team, these guys.
This
would be dope.
includes Mitch, you said, right?
Yes. Because I'm under the assumption they would want to re-sign Hartenstein over keeping Mitch long-term.
If I'm the Knicks and I see the success that I've had without Julius Randle, of course, we see how this playoff run turns out. Julius definitely becomes that piece that I'm trying to move.
That's the
and
first guy.
this is an all NBA player. This is a guy that has a good amount of money that he can match contracts with
Next
Devin
PR guy, you're
Booker.
here.
Yeah.
I am. And then you match that with Dante DiVincenzo, who was just number 3 in most 3-pointers made this season. You put that on top of a young player in Deuce McBride, who's shown you a lot. Match that with 3 first-round picks or however many first-round picks. That's an intriguing deal, honest to God.
So best case scenario for the Suns and their future, they get picks they can use to acquire young players, and you'd have a core of Kaysen Wallace, Franz Wagner. Best case scenario, those are your 2 best young players, possibly Anthony Black. Or if you go the alternate route with the Heat and the Knicks, you have Tyler Hero, still relatively young, Hawkes or Jovic, And then with the Knicks, it's Mitchell Robinson and Dante, some vets that can also be traded, because I think Dante can be traded for like 2 firsts.
For sure.
He's been amazing.
Yeah.
Well, last game maybe not the best.
I think the Suns run it back, though. I don't think they blow it up this quick.
I think you trade Grayson, get a wing that can defend, modestly hit a 3-point shot.
What else? You don't have anything else to trade but Grayson.
Oh, listen,
you don't really have picks.
They don't have shit. But, got to figure it out. Got to do something. So,
I mean, Grayson did up his trade value a ton, being the best 3-point shooter.
And he's at 18 mil. You can get somebody.
It's a shame DeAndre Ayton didn't care about basketball last year. They might have had a chance.
Is it? All right, this is going to sound crazy. No, let me not say it.
Kevin Durant wasn't good.
Out of all the shit you've said on this podcast.
Orlando.
Okay.
I'm
KD?
Phoenix. Relax. I'm calling. Yo. I got Grayson Allen. You guys need shooting pretty fucking badly.
Okay.
How much is Jonathan Isaac worth to you guys?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
More than Grayson Allen.
See ya.
Throw in 3 to 4 seconds if they
Do
can.
the Suns even have seconds?
I don't know what they have.
I'm going to be honest, Riv.
You got to call desperate teams.
I don't even say a word. Hang up the phone.
Well, it's a good thing you don't get paid the big bucks to do it.
Jonathan Isaac has been their best 3-point shooter this series versus the Cavs.
He's been their
best
not
defender. No, that is saying something.
Not really.
I mean, the first 2 games they were shooting like under 30%.
No, the team's shooting 31%. This isn't a guy that's known for shooting.
Well, he's in the corner.
And he's been your best shooter.
Shooting corners.
I mean, Grayson
not
would
a
be
lot
a
of
starter
times.
for them. Because it would be Suggs, Grayson, Franz, Paolo, and Wendell.
Okay.
That'll up your game. Just listen. All I'm saying, you got to call the desperate
That's
teams.
that's not a hang up the phone. That's disrespectful to Grayson Allen.
No,
you don't hang up the phone.
No, I hang up
But
the phone.
Isaac
No, you do not.
changes it from
Jonathan
you're a good
Isaac
defense
is
so you can be an elite
one of the
level
most
top
versatile
elite defense.
defenders.
No, for sure. I look at it as like
6'11" and play the perimeter and interior. I mean,
you need
that.
shooting. Shooting
You're
is
getting an elite shooter back. though.
is the most important thing. That's going to unlock Boncaro.
But
Shooting
But
can
Isaac can
also
shoot.
kind of go up and down sometimes. Is Grayson not going to hit
inconsistent.
47% of his threes?
He gets the
does.
respect,
Yeah, but if the first 40 games he's out there shooting 36%.
That's
I think Isaac, he lifts up their defense for sure, but I think the Magic, even without Isaac, still would have a great defense.
Would you trade Anthony Black for Grayson Allen?
Well, the money wouldn't work, but in
You
a
understand what I
vacuum,
mean? Correct.
it would make no sense. What was the point of me drafting him?
Cole Anthony makes how much?
11. Cole Anthony is not enough.
No, well, Cole Anthony Black.
If you're giving all that up for Grayson, damn. What was the point
All
of
that
even
up.
drafting
Let's
Anthony
be honest. Well, obviously you want him to be your point guard, but Anthony Black himself's not that elite. He's not an elite shooter, obviously, even in comparison to
Black?
Grayson.
He's a top 8 pick.
But for what you can go and you can get,
I mean, if you want to do it, do it.
If the Magic win the series, there's pressure on them now going into this offseason to let's make moves to get better.
Yes.
It's not Anthony
I think
Black
they're going for Malik
redevelop.
Monk though.
Malik Monk would
I
be
think in
fine.
free
That would
agency
be
they're going to go
amazing
for
for
Malik
them.
Monk.
That would be amazing.
They're gonna
See
jump
a free
in there.
agent?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
He's not
think
staying in Sacramento.
Fox gave hints that he's probably leaving.
Yeah, he's not saying to Sacramento. He made too much. He's going to make too much money. The Kings can only offer him $17 million a year.
Spurs are going to go for him. Charlotte.
I love the Spurs.
Orlando's
going to
go for him. Like
they're a 50-win
How much
team
money
with
does
him.
Orlando have?
Oh my God.
what?
How much?
Huh?
Remember when you said they were going to make the plan?
I said they should have, man. It wasn't because of Wemby. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, they were just fucking horrible.
Yeah, but I got Wemby right. He doubted.
Who doubted?
I'm just kidding. But no, Malik Monk with Wemby, I rebuilt that team in 2K. 50 wins first season.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
No,
Devin
because
Vassell, Malik
What
Monk,
was Victor averaging? 30 and 15?
20, 28.
Stats don't really even
28,
out in 2K. It's pretty nasty.
No, I know, but I only said it because I just watched. Ironically, you were watching Kenny. I was watching Kenny build an 82-0 team, and Victor in year one averaged 30.
No, he's different. Malik Monk per 36 this year averaged 21-7. I think he made a good enough playmaking leap to where if he's a full-time starter, he can average 20 points a game. Like he's going to be really good in his next
Oh,
destination.
I'm not here doubting Malik Monk. I watched it in a Laker uniform.
And that's why I hope that he does go to the Spurs, because with the Spurs, that is his best opportunity to showcase his talents.
Congrats, bro. We don't give a fuck
I
about
don't
that
know,
series.
like this guy.
This guy
We
is-
knew you guys were
told
going to
me-
win
you
the
told me Heat in
series, man.
7.
God damn it.
Not this year, brother. I was right in other years. Not this one.
NFL draft winners and losers. I feel like a lot of teams, I like what they did in the draft.
A lot of
I'll
good
be honest.
drafts.
There's only two. I feel like it's easier starting the losers.
I only had 2. Not even losers, just like
I
weird.
had 2 head scratches.
Okay,
Let me say this. I know one of your guys is losers, and Joel, I'm pretty disappointed that you kind of took a step back on it. I know you guys are going to say the Falcons.
I didn't
Fair.
have the losers.
Huh?
I didn't have
I had them as losers.
You have them as losers.
Oh, keep talking. I'm interested in what you're saying.
I understand the idea that you just paid $180 million for a quarterback. You did not speak to him about it. This is more of a loss on Kirk than it is the Falcons. I'm okay taking the Packers' approach at keeping a franchise quarterback. He's 23.
He'll be 24 this summer.
He's 24 in 2 weeks.
Correct.
You don't know how long Kirk Cousins is going to play.
Here, the thing is, the deal, like we've all understood, it's a 2-year deal with obviously the understanding that
guarantees
he gets paid.
Half of the guarantees go into the third year.
There are very few people that know how to negotiate a contract like Kirk Cousins. Shout out to him.
Deserved.
Oh, I'm not shit.
This
isn't shit talking. This is a praise.
Yeah.
But you have a plan now installed for if his career is not at that age.
Dude's 24.
He's 24, but in 2 years, when
He'll be 26.
and Kirk Cousins will be 38.
Kirk Cousins can still be nice.
Coming off a torn Achilles, also, you don't know what you're getting in Kirk. The big reason why Atlanta has been struggling so much after losing Matt Ryan is they haven't had a real answer at quarterback. They took the Green Bay Packers approach. Of course, I agree with what you're going to say. Michael Penix is not Jordan Love. I still think that Michael Penix has traits to be a good quarterback in this league.
Can I ask you a question, Drew? Do they have a first-round pick? This is a two-part question. Mm-hmm. Do they have a first-round pick next year?
The Falcons?
Yes.
I believe so.
But after that?
They have so
couldn't they have just waited to take a guy and fill a need now in a sense of because they want to win?
I don't know if there's going to be a guy where they're going to pick next season that's as good as Michael.
But he'll be younger, and you can develop him.
I'm fine with that, but he has traits to be good at the next level. He has a strong arm. Now he learns underneath Kirk Cousins of processing defenses, and also you're learning next to one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league in Kirk Cousins too. I think we shouldn't take for granted teams playing the long game because I think let me not say that because I think we all appreciate what the Packers have done. Going from Brett Favre at pick 22, they decide, hey, let's go with Aaron Rodgers. That was you wouldn't think that it'd be controversial because Rodgers had potential of going number 1 in that draft. But you already had Brett Favre who was at the peak of his power still. Why did you go with quarterback in the first round? Now you look like geniuses because Aaron Rodgers goes down as the Hall of Famer. Now in the first round again, you have Aaron Rodgers. We're all preaching wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Jordan Love's the selection. We all have a stroke. Jordan Love sits for 3 seasons. Now they say, hey, Aaron, we're moving on from you. We're going on with Jordan. Now they're under a microscope. Jordan, you better perform well. In his first year starting, wins a playoff game. Now it's looking like the Packers have their answer at franchise quarterback for another 15. The Falcons learned. We went from Matt Ryan to nothing. We had a chance to win this division last year if we had decent, mediocre quarterback play. We didn't have that. We lost it. We go and we sign Kirk Cousins. Now at least we have a plan.
I think the logic is fine, but there's some clear differences. I'm glad you started there because the Falcons did lose. It wasn't just the Michael Penix pick. I feel like they reached at other spots.
Their second-round pick was not good.
I think he has some potential.
They passed on Jerzon. That's
why
they trade up for that pick too. Did they trade up for their second round pick?
I'm not.
They did.
Was that them?
They did. I'm not overly upset. I do think there were some reaches there. The biggest reason why I think they lost is because just the thought process was pretty stupid. Because you knew heading into the offseason you had the 8th overall pick. You knew that there was going to be a quarterback there. I mean, we could have all expected Michael Penix to be there at 8. That was somebody that, if he went there, we'd be, as shocked as we were. Not only because Kirk Cousins is there, but even if he went there, if they didn't have Kirk, we'd be like, okay, we're surprised.
Mm-hmm.
In saying that, then why do you sign Kirk to a big time money deal to be your quarterback right now? Because you're signaling to your fan base, we want to compete and make a deep playoff run. They were 32nd in pass rush win rate last season.
Yep.
They didn't address the edge rusher position at all. Not in free agency, not in the draft. You're expecting that first pick to be a defensive player. You're expecting it to be Latu or Dallas Turner. You need help on your defensive line, which is why the first pick on day 2, they went with a defensive lineman. So if you had the 8th overall pick the entire time and you wanted to take a quarterback, why sign Kirk? And I understand what you're saying. Oh, the Jordan Love model. Yes, but
more so Packers.
what is the Packers model? Jordan Love, whatever, is one and the same.
You're right.
Well, Jordan Love was 21 years old.
Different prospect.
Jordan Love had all the talent in the world to be an elite quarterback, but teams knew this is a project pick. Michael Penix is not a project pick. Michael Penix is day one starter. He plays.
You think?
Because he's a 6-year college starter. I mean, how much more football do you want to see him play?
I understand, but in a situation like this where his accuracy does need refinement.
It's because he's not that good of a prospect. That's why.
But he has a great arm. He obviously is athletic, can stay strong in a pocket.
He's terrible in a pocket.
I'll tell you what. I'm
a statue in a pocket.
I'm in
Terrible.
agreement
What do you
with
mean
you.
by this?
He doesn't move much in the pocket.
Let's just talk about this. Washington last year had 3 NFL receivers.
Yes.
Odunze, elite. Polk, great. And McMillan, great. All great receivers at the college level.
First round and second round picks.
Elite offensive line.
The offensive line was awesome.
Offensive line.
Multiple NFL players.
Michael Penix did not get pressured in college.
He balled the fuck out still.
Okay, I know, but he didn't get pressured in college. Michael Penix did not get pressured in college. When he did, he was terrible. Under pressure in the sample size that he played under that offensive line, he was terrible in the pocket. He is athletic, right? But he doesn't use it. Only 10% of his throws were outside the pocket. He doesn't throw on the move at all. He is somebody that is a pocket passer. He's a statue. He doesn't move at all. So you're talking about a player who he's bad under pressure. He's not a playmaker, which limits his ceiling already because the best quarterbacks in the league are playmakers.
But Kirk is not like that either.
He's not an elite quarterback.
He's still a fringe top 10 quarterback.
I know, but there's a ceiling with Kirk Cousins.
I mean, Kirk Cousins last year was amazing.
But there's a ceiling with Kirk Cousins, and we all know it.
I think the issue is
That's tough.
I'm agreeing with you because I did not think Penix was this all-world prospect.
It's not a top 10 pick.
But the NFL thought he was. The Falcons wanted him. The Raiders wanted him. The Saints wanted him. The Seahawks wanted him.
It makes sense why the Raiders wanted him, though.
It makes sense why all of these teams wanted
them.
him because they all had quarterbacks, older quarterbacks in place, and they're looking for kind of a step in the next direction, especially for the Raiders who really don't have a quarterback, period. They have Gardner Minshew. For the Falcons, it was weird because I still think it's a fine pick. Because at absolute worst, you're going to have one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL. And like you mentioned,
If he's
Drew,
good. Because he could very well be bad.
he could be bad. He could be any pick could be bad. The Dallas Turner could be a bust. The Atu could be a bust. At worst, you have a top end backup quarterback. Kirk Cousins is 35 years old. He's coming off the Achilles. And best case scenario, Kirk Cousins goes out and balls for these next 2 years. Michael Penix ends up replacing him in 3 seasons, and now you have your next quarterback for the future. If I was the Falcons, I probably would have looked at moving down because I'm sure any of those teams, especially the Saints and the Seahawks, who I think were later in the draft, there's a chance you're getting a future first-round pick, especially if they think they're moving up to get their franchise quarterback. They're probably willing to pay as much as possible to go and get their guy.
Wouldn't you argue, though, that if the Falcons thought that they were getting their franchise quarterback, why would they move down?
That's a fair argument. My counterpoint would be you have Kirk Cousins under contract for 2 to 3 years.
You just paid him.
You're in a super winnable division, super winnable conference.
But you had Matt Ryan for so many years, you never found his successor. You had this opportunity where you could say it was a reach, but at the same time, if you trade back, now there's no chance of you getting Penix.
You also never won with Matt Ryan.
I think
That's
if
true, but you
you
went to the Super Bowl.
You did.
And he won an MVP.
Yes.
Came up
No,
short.
he was a great quarterback.
He went to NFC
the
championships,
thing,
multiple.
if you're going the route of a project pick, I think J.J. McCarthy makes the most sense. And that's what the Vikings did. The Vikings didn't draft him to start now. Sam Darnold will be the day one starter. All those teams you mentioned, Dehls, Seahawks with Geno Smith, he could very well not start next year. He could not be starting next year.
With Geno?
Yeah. Who knows?
I don't know. He closed the season well.
The Saints,
why do you think that?
because he's 30. He's 30.
Okay.
He's
You're
30.
saying, okay. Well,
He's not old.
Also, Penix could be better than Geno Smith. Like
if he beats him out of camp, it's possible. Like,
Not gonna lie.
there's not a huge tie to Geno to where he gotta play next year stamped.
he could be cut.
I mean, you don't think he'll start day one, though?
He would start day one because let's have the rookie sit for a few weeks, but it wouldn't surprise me if Penix
But
started very
that's
soon.
what I'm saying. Like all the teams that were wanting to trade up
Yeah,
for
I
him,
see what you're saying.
they were gonna have him start very early because he's not a project pick.
Mm-hmm.
What he is as a player, for the most part, is what he is because he's a 6-year starter. You've seen all the football you can see from him. So the Saints, at most, he's starting in year 2. Raiders, he's starting day 1. Seahawks, at most, starting in year 2. With the Falcons, they have guarantees up until Kirk's 3rd year. So let's say he sits for 3 years. He's going to be 27 years old. The track record of quarterbacks succeeding when they make their first start at 27 is terrible. It's just not a good track
Geno
record.
Smith started at he came back at like 28, 29. He started to be nice.
This is the thing. I do love the model of rookie quarterbacks sitting behind veterans. But at the same time, I like the prospect. I love Jordan Love. Since the day he got drafted, I love Jordan Love. I thought he had the tools to be an elite quarterback. When Aaron Rodgers, you mentioned it, he could have been the first overall pick. It was a coin toss between him and Alex Smith. So it was a first overall pick talent that fell to the 20s. Mm-hmm. This is a player they took in the top 10. And I'm not sure how good he's going to be. I have a lot of question marks surrounding him because of how elite of a situation Washington was and how much he struggled with his accuracy. I know on the box score, the stat sheets, it looks good, but
it's great.
Really, 40% of his throws went 20-plus yards down the field.
Stupid.
That's lit.
I know it, but it's also
of course, but it shows that, I mean, his strength is the deep ball. He did hit it accurately. You have to refine the intermediate, which I agree with.
But it showcases the fact that Washington went into every game and knew our receivers are better than yours. Even if they're covered, he's throwing it up to them and they're winning 50-50 balls. And that's what Odunze and these receivers showcase a lot of. So we're talking about 40% of the attempts were deep passes to where his receivers were doing a lot of the work, not all the time. Mm-hmm. So he threw great passes, but for the most part, his receivers were overwhelming corners. And then in the short and intermediate areas of the field, he was inaccurate.
Looking at it, though, and I'm looking at Rodgers and looking at Jordan Love, both of them started at the age of 25. Penix would be 1 year older than that, 26 years old.
Jordan Love, 24.
He's 25 now.
Started last year.
Correct. So
whatever.
It doesn't matter.
It was 24 and 27.
No, agreed. 3 years is different.
No, I was saying with the Jordan Love, 24, 25.
His birthday was November 2nd. So at the start of the year, he was 24.
So he finished the year at 25.
What was your point?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a year difference. If it goes by if Kirk Cousins only plays the 2 years under under Atlanta's contract, and then Penix steps in at 26, it's just a year difference from when these two other guys started. And again, I'm not trying to say he'll be Rodgers. I'm not trying to say he'll be Jordan Love. But again, I still think that in the situation that they're building, and you look at the following draft picks after that, they went interior lineman, they went edge, they went another defensive lineman, then they went linebacker. Every pick after that was the need that they tried to address in the 32nd pass rush in the NFL, which I agree with you. But if you would have traded back and gotten a Latu, if you would have tried to trade back and gotten a Dallas Turner, you're not getting Penix, right? That's just the reality of the truth. And if you think that he's your future franchise, you have to make that deal, because we're going to talk about the Denver Broncos, and they took Bo Nix at pick 12, and I'm 100% okay with it, especially because we think we have our franchise quarterback. Difference here
He's starting day
correct.
One, though.
He should.
I think he will.
I think he will too. Again, I can't say that's set in stone because as a rookie, you never know. But he is NFL ready. He is 24 years old. He is ready to go. But he doesn't have a Kirk Cousins. He doesn't have a Kirk Cousins that he has to be in a quarterback room with.
Nobody to learn from.
Bo Nix, I think
Zach.
Bo Nix has a high floor.
Zach's been through it all.
I think the ceiling with him is
crazy.
limited because of the tools that he doesn't have. I don't think he has the strongest arm in the world. He has a high floor, and he was really accurate in college. I know, he was a short
number 2
short
QB.
yardage merchant. Bo Nix, even when he attacked further levels of the field, was number one in accuracy. Shorter sample size, but he was the most accurate at every level.
He was the most accurate college quarterback ever.
That's why I think, with him, I feel more comfortable with. I think he's a better prospect. Listen, I think the logic you're making is fine. The Falcons have reasoning to draft Penix. I just find myself, number one, I don't know if he has a high ceiling. I don't see him becoming like a stamp like top 8-10 quarterback. I don't know if he has
so many good quarterbacks.
I don't know if he has that. And I think
he could be top 15 because once you get to like 15, it's like kind of replacement level.
If you're drafting a player in the top 10, that's what I should expect. I'm not the biggest fan of him as a prospect. It's different with Jordan Love. I was a big fan of him as a prospect. So a lot of my reasoning for why the Falcons lost
his accuracy was spotty then too, though.
Toolsy.
Jordan Love, the difference with him is that in his junior year,
it's great.
I think his sophomore year was great. His sophomore season, he was phenomenal. His junior year, he lost 12 starters. and his entire offense.
Sounds like Drake May.
His entire offense was terrible, and he wasn't throwing to good players. And then he threw a lot of interceptions to try and play hero ball. There were mechanical issues with him that they had to fix. And then that's why it was a project pick. If the Packers would have drafted him in the top 10, maybe a little bit different. Starting day one, a little bit different.
They drafted him, was it 8?
24.
24.
Somewhere around there.
I was going to say, Rodgers was 24. If he was also 24,
it might have been 26, Jordan Love. But yeah, that's the difference. Is I thought Jordan Love, he was being compared to Patrick Mahomes before the draft. Mm-hmm. Like, he had clips of him throwing the ball 80-plus yards down the field. On tape, he had those out-of-the-pocket throws to receivers that looked, very similar to the elite guys. So I think that's the biggest difference. Maybe this pans out for the Falcons. I hope it does. I don't have no ill will towards Penix. But I thought, given them signing Kirk, they were going to try to win this year.
The other two teams that I had, not losers because I thought the players they got were good, but just kind of head scratchers. One were the Las Vegas Raiders. Brock Bowers, probably best player available at the time. This was just after we thought the Jets were going to take him. We thought potentially the Broncos were going to take him. They ended up getting him at 13. I was just surprised it went Brock Bowers because, to me, the Raiders, one thing where I was cool on in terms of their position group, I thought they were fine at weapons. You have Devontae Adams. You have Jacoby Myers, who had a fantastic season. You just drafted Michael Mayer in the second, third round of last season, who Brock Bowers, better prospect, 1,000%. I think he's a viable tight end. You still have Hunter Renfrow, even though you don't like to use him in the offense.
Yeah.
Lost Josh Jacobs, got Zamir White, and they just signed Michael Gallup as well. So Brock Bowers, if you're going by best player available approach, which a lot of teams do, I think that's fair. But across the entire offensive line outside of left tackle, I think you could upgrade, and damn near every spot on defense, I think you can upgrade. When you saw multiple tackles still available, at this point, there were still no defenders off the board, so if you wanted Latu or Verse or Dallas Turner or Byron Murphy, whoever you wanted, that was still up for grabs. So I was a bit surprised when Brock Bowers, when they had a bunch of different other needs. The other team I was a bit surprised on was Miami Dolphins. I like Chop Robinson. I think you mentioned it in the previous show. I don't know if we were in studio.
Pick?
A bit of a project pick, but 3 out of their first 4 picks were, you had edge and you had running back. Those were 3 of the first 4 picks. They took 2 edge rushers and they took 1 running back in their first 4 picks. This was a team that I thought maybe would attack the offensive line a bit more. Mm-hmm. The edge is interesting because, of course, you have Bradley Chubb and you have Jalen Phillips both coming off season-ending injuries, both coming off torn ACLs, you're coming off torn Achilles. So it makes me just pause a little bit on where they're at in their recovery, and when they do come back, how much are these rookies going to play once you're fully acclimated there? Like, again, I think Chop Robinson's a good player. The running back I don't know too much about. You still have Raheem Mostert. You still have Achane. So how much is he really going to play? So I was just a bit surprised those 2 teams acclimated their draft picks to those positions.
So I look at the Raiders and understand your thought process there, but I look at their history of draft picks, and they've gone for need too many times, even dating back to 2019.
They usually reach, is their issue.
Yeah,
they go for needs. They go for needs, but they reach. Yeah. Cleveland Farrell. Henry Ruggs, obviously unfortunate situation, but we looked at Judy at the time. We looked at CeeDee Lamb.
Ruggs, low-key, though, he was better than Judy.
I mean,
in the NFL.
I mean, looking back on it, Judy hasn't panned out, so who knows?
That is hard to say.
But Ruggs had a point where he was very productive, and then
let's not even say Jerry Judy then. Let's talk about CeeDee Lamb, right? Who we felt it was Jerry Judy and CeeDee Lamb, who especially at the time, Jerry Judy, in my opinion, was the consensus wide receiver 1 of the draft. But then you reach on that. Damon Arnett is another one that comes to mind where you went for need as opposed to best player available. In this situation, yeah, they had a need, but their need was gone in 6 of the first 12 picks of the NFL draft. You needed a quarterback. You didn't get that. And yeah, you could have probably gone on offensive line. Maybe you go and you address your cornerback situation. Quinyon Mitchell, I wouldn't have been mad at overly, but at pick 13, getting the best player available is going to benefit you in the future, especially understanding Devontae Adams is getting up there in age. Yes, we do have some great weapons with Devontae, with Jacoby Myers. You mentioned Michael Mayer at the second round of last year's draft. Brock Bowers is the way better prospect, and you don't know the future of Devontae Adams. You can still build this from the inside out where you did go ahead and you did get an offensive lineman in Powers Johnson in the second round.
That was a good pick.
That was an awesome selection. Yeah. So I still think that they are ways away, but I'm not mad at it, understanding you don't know the future of Tay. You still don't have your franchise quarterback. Let's put our future quarterback, whoever's going to step in there, in the best situation possible and still still try to build a contending roster for the future.
Ruggs had 469 yards in 7 games his second year.
And then he
on pace for 1,000.
Yeah. And then unfortunately,
and then he did
it sucks.
Some unthinkable things.
It sucks what he did, I'll say, but no, he was looking like a really good player in his second year.
Fucking fast.
He was fast as shit.
I'd be crazy if I look up Henry Ruggs highlights.
Who did you think lose?
Alex Leatherwood is another one that they went on need, and that was terrible.
But low-key, like, if the it was because the Raiders were dumb, though. Because if the Raiders selected Josh Allen instead of Kellen Farrell, we're not talking about it. Josh Allen
they still had Derek Carr at the time, correct?
That's the dude from Clemson.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking defensive player. Apologize.
He went 7th.
Yeah.
And he slipped.
The Giants also passed on him. Yeah. That was dumb.
If they drafted him instead of Farrell, he was supposed to be the pick. He was supposed to be the pick for the Raiders.
For sure.
If they draft him, then we're like, oh,
it was
the right position.
A lot of Mike Mayock just going off the board.
It's the right position, just the wrong pick, if that makes sense.
So I had Atlanta up here. Of course, we obviously talked about that. Another team I had is the Commanders, man. Because
I'm shocked you're not a Jaden Daniels guy.
Listen, that was
holy fuck.
You know what? I'm gonna let that pass.
What?
Does he not have aura?
I'm gonna let it pass.
And if there's anyone that does fuck with black quarterbacks, it is him.
It's NFL.
I don't think he fucks with Jaden Daniels.
He was my 3rd favorite quarterback. I like Drake May more.
My 3rd favorite just means his 3rd least favorite. That's what it means.
Drew, I want to be more professional on the NFL shows. So you know what? The NFL part, I'm going to stay professional.
Got it.
I'm going to ignore that comment.
Fair enough.
I thought they had a cool draft after the first pick. And I think, because I looked at it from an overall outlook of just the division, right? You look at the Giants. They got Dexter. They just brought in Brian Burns, right? So they're going to have an insane pass rush. You look at the Eagles. They have the talent to have an insane pass rush, right? You look at Dallas. They got Michael Parsons. They got Lawrence.
Jaden's going to get killed, bro.
They have an insane pass rush. And then you look at who you just drafted, Jaden, who was not good at handling sacks in college. It's going to be tough. I feel like
he's going to have to learn to throw the ball away.
I feel like Drake May had more potential. I feel like, and especially in the NFC where you kind of want to stamp your quarterback. You have the Chicago. They just picked up Caleb. Green Bay, they have Jordan Love. I feel like you kind of wanted to be the guys that, kind of have a franchise quarterback, and I feel like Drake May could have been that. I think with them picking Jaden, like I mentioned with these teams, it's just going to be rough to really build a profound offensive line around his tools and hopefully help him get better at that. I think in that division alone, that's going to be super tough, not to mention other teams like, the Niners and Chicago now, like Detroit or whatever, and Green Bay. Like, there's going to be so many teams. And with him having that type of weakness, I feel like for them to go that direction in that type of division where all we do is just sack quarterbacks, it was just really tough for me. Like Dehls mentioned before, though, I don't think there was many losers. Just a couple head scratches, couple bad picks, I feel like, here and there. I have more winners than I have losers, for sure.
Me too. This last loser I have is going to be shocking to you guys. But I thought they did lose based off what they gave up. And I think that it was the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy, he's a developmental quarterback, project quarterback.
Sam time.
Hopefully it pans out. You moved from 11 to 10. One spot who the Jets weren't going to take a quarterback anyway.
They thought that the Broncos were going to trade up, so they forced Minnesota to take the bait.
And Denver was cool.
I thought Bo Nix was always the number one for them. So if the Broncos trade up, they weren't even taking JJ. They were taking Bo Nix.
There was definitely some smoke screens around.
There
JJ
was.
Too.
So the Vikings traded up one spot, and then they later traded up to get Dallas Turner, who at this point, he's good, he's athletic, he has the tools, but he has one pass rushing move. And he still needs to be refined.
You need a Hunter replacement.
So you took 2 project players in the first round. I don't know if you guys seen the Vikings picks for next year. I think they have 1 pick next year. That's their first round pick. They essentially wiped out all of their picks for next year and banked on this. And I thought that was an irresponsible source of assets to do that. And I just think the decision-making overall is a bit irresponsible.
I'm fine with that. But I also understand, hey, you need your guy, your franchise quarterback. If you think that's JJ, you go out and get him. Yeah. Dallas Turner's another one where, hey, you wanted to add more of a presence on your line. You probably were looking at Latu, but you felt, hey, Dallas Turner's still a great prospect. Let's go out and get him. I wouldn't have been opposed if they drafted corner also, especially with Quinyon still being on the board. But, hey, understand it. Last loser I want to talk about is the Carolina Panthers. Trading up one spot to go and get Xavier Legette, who you probably would have gotten if you just stayed where you were. The Bills kind of played 5D chess where they traded back with the Chiefs. Chiefs got their guy in Xavier Worthy. Traded back once again with the Carolina Panthers so the Panthers would get their guy in Xavier Legette, but the Bills all along wanted Keon Coleman. I give you some credit, Joel. You were very adamant that was going to be their guy. I felt similarly. They needed that 50-50 jump ball guy, and that was Keon Coleman. But I look at the Panthers. You go and you give up future assets. You go and you give up draft picks for a team that desperately needs all the draft picks that they have, and you trade up one spot for a guy that you probably would have gotten if you just had stayed at pick 33. And then in the second round, you go and you draft Jonathan Brooks. Of all the needs that you have on your team, you decide, fuck it, running back, let's do it. That's where I just don't know what Carolina is cooking over there. I understand Dave Canales has an image and a vision of what he wants to do, and the first two picks he goes and he tries to surround Bryce Young with some weapons. I'm not too against that, but a running back when you just played Miles Sanders,
he's trash though.
I get it.
Miles Sanders is ass.
He's not good.
Sorry, Miles.
They really needed a guy.
But would I have been mad at offensive line? Would I have been mad at, especially after...
But they signed Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt.
Facts.
But that's very fair. That's very fair. But then also you trade Brian Burns. Are we not thinking about edge? Are we not thinking about interior defensive line? Like there had to be some thought process in that. A running back.
They signed Jadeveon Clowney.
They did.
He had a good year last year.
He had a good year, but
should have been.
That's still a good player though.
Yeah, but he was on a very good team on Baltimore.
Team. So I'm looking at their
defense.
defense.
A great year, but
Ashawn Robinson, Shad Tuttle, Derek Brown, superstar.
Derek Brown's
DJ
amazing.
Winham, Shaq Thompson, Josie Jewell, Clowney, Dane Jackson, J.C. Horn.
Can't believe you let him go.
Jordan Fuller, Xavier Woods.
J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn's great. Is he
always
reliable?
Yeah.
They signed Kalavion Chason from the Jaguars, which he's never reached his potential. You got some gripes. You have some gripes for sure. I think the offensive line, after signing Lewis and Hunt to like $100 million deals, I don't know about that. I don't hate the running back pick because Miles Sanders was like one of the worst running backs in the league.
In round two,
he's really the only running back that I feel confident is like a 3-down running back in this class.
Oh, you're not a Corum guy?
Corum, I could get talked into it. I think Brooks is
I like Brooks for sure.
I like Braylon Allen.
I would say Corum, his vision's fantastic. That's really his number one trait. Obviously can pass catch, hits the holes as good as any running back in the class. No, did he?
I didn't like the Xavier Legette pick though.
No, for sure.
No.
That's what I'm saying. You trade up one
That's my
spot.
dude, man. I'm here.
You give up draft picks.
It really didn't. He was going to be there the next pick.
That's exactly what I'm saying, for sure.
Man, we're here.
So I didn't get that at all.
He's a body.
Jonathan Mingo.
Please, God, no.
I missed on
But hey,
that.
man,
We'll get back. We'll get back, though.
Does Bryce Young have a chance at ever taking the best quarterback in the draft mantle? Or is that
It's
fault?
over.
Is that
It's
gone?
CJ.
CJ has Stephon
Sorry,
Diggs now.
Bryce.
It's over, brother.
It's over.
So Bryce can never get there.
And Anthony
To
Richardson
be
is here.
CJ?
No matter what he does.
I don't know.
I'll be honest, unless
Doubt
they...
it.
Well, to be a top 10 quarterback.
Top 13.
That's not out of the realm of possibility.
Do we want to do
Deontay.
one winner, just go around? Because I have 6.
I don't have 6.
Okay.
All right.
So why don't you go first? Go with 2. Start with 2.
Okay, I'll just
How
do,
about you go first because he
Okay,
has 6.
facts. Speak about
I
your
can go
favorite team.
first.
How many you
Why
got?
don't you just give your first two?
That's what... That's like, I fucking said that, and they just didn't want to,
I didn't say all that.
Because I
I'm
think
just saying he
Dehls'
has
answer to
6.
give his winners.
You have 3, right?
I have a few, yeah.
I have 3. You have.
I have a lot, bro. But I'm not going to mention every one.
See, so it just makes sense that you have
All right,
2.
we can just go one by one, and then obviously we fill in the
We have
gaps.
to hear him
All
talk
right,
at
that's-
the end for a
That's
long
fine.
time.
My first winner, that's probably going to happen, but that's okay. My first winner is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, in my opinion, there's one obvious team that's a clear winner, but let me just go and discuss over the Pittsburgh Steelers. You go and you bring in Troy Fautanu, who really identified more as an interior guard, but at the same time, it's seeming like there's reports that he's going to play tackle for them, opposite side of Broderick. That's fine with me. And then in the second round, Zach Frazier. So now you solidify your interior. Roman Wilson as your round 3 wide receiver. You needed a wide receiver. I thought that
That could
Brian
block.
fair enough. But I thought that Brian Thomas would intrigue them in the first round. But I was more than okay with going with Fautanu. You solidify your offensive line, especially understanding that you want to be a run-first team now that it's Russell or Justin Fields, whoever's going to be your quarterback. That makes a lot of sense to me. And honestly, my favorite pick of the draft for them, Peyton Wilson. You guys know my opinion on Wilson. Understanding he
Next
does
Wagner.
have.
Next
calm
Luke
down.
Kuechly.
Calm down. He has an
Next
extensive.
Josie Jewell.
That's more likely. He has an extensive injury history. Two torn ACLs.
He doesn't have an ACL on one knee.
What?
He's missing an ACL.
God bless.
But his athleticism is insane. He is one of the fastest
One more,
backers.
yeah.
Crazy. His shoulder is also injured, but he's healthy.
Tajay
What's up
Spears
with this
has
guy?
no ACLs.
Really?
Yeah.
And Tajay Spears
He's
is him.
one
He's solid.
twitch move from.
Tajay Spears is
The
him.
Steelers were easily winners. They identified what they needed, how they're going to play football, and they drafted players for that.
Yes, they
Fautanu, I think we get this confused. Fuaga's the one that projects more to guard because he has shorter arms.
Fautanu too,
No,
though.
Fautanu also.
Fautanu has some pretty long
He's
arms.
shorter, though. He's like 6'3".
Yeah, but his arm length, I think, diminishes that a little bit. I like Fautanu as a prospect. I think that was a good pick. I don't want to mention the easy one. Like the Bears, we know won.
The Bears are number one.
Yeah, they had the great.
I don't know if
It
it's
might be
number
1A,
one.
1B. I say 1A, 1B.
Because I'm gonna be
Eagles,
honest, like
mother of God.
after the first two picks, which is the most important,
Yeah.
I think their draft was pretty terrible.
I just don't.
I
Didn't
don't think
matter.
nothing ever mattered.
It didn't matter.
No, it
didn't
didn't
matter.
matter.
Like, they picked up Rome.
I'll
Shit
give them
was
a
up.
B for the entire
had,
draft.
They had like basically all. Did they have a third round pick? Because they had mostly like day 3 picks after those top two.
So Caleb Adunze, I think of course that's one of the winners.
Oh yeah, they did go punter in round 4. That was
He is an elite punter.
round
say
4
that.
is insane.
He is an elite punter.
I'm gonna go.
But I liked how their third round pick was a tackle. That was
I wonder
smart.
how, when you're a punter, like, what do you do in the draft? Like, you go in there, you just kick the ball up and just like.
You think
they're?
they're
but they
punters
work
running
out
40s?
for punters,
Yeah,
There's definitely a combine. 40 now.
it has to be like, how far can you kick this?
Punters definitely bench press.
Probably.
You
Definitely.
have to.
They do hella leg workouts.
They should do leg press instead of bench press.
I
What
agree.
you're thinking.
I agree.
My two winners
They're
are
probably like there
the
for 20 minutes.
two LA teams. I feel like they aced their draft.
Chargers tweaked.
The Rams with Jared Verse, Braden Fisk. Defensive line needs to get younger. Aaron Donald retired. They did an excellent job. Blake Currum, very similar physical profile to Kyron Williams, which they're going to be a gap-heavy run scheme, and they're going to trust that interior offensive line a lot. That's what they're going to do.
To add to that also, Kyron did experience 2 injuries last season.
Yeah.
So that's an insurance policy.
And Cameron Kitchens, they drafted a safety in the 3rd or 4th round, I believe. I'm really high on him too. And then the Chargers. I mean, the first 3 picks just bang, bang,
Amazing.
bang. Joe Alt, I think is going to be an All-Pro.
Banger.
I know not wanting them to draft him and a wide receiver instead. But the thing, how I see it
They
is that,
righted their wrongs. Lad McConkey in the second was brilliant.
and that's the thing, like you knew that in the 2nd round there was going to be some receivers there.
Yep.
So I think that's why they drafted Alt at number 5 because there wasn't another tackle prospect
Yeah,
like
Brendan
him.
Rice too.
Yeah,
Some
he's the
insane
most surefire
potential.
one.
He dropped 4 rounds, 7th round pick.
Insane potential.
Lad McConkey, I've been the biggest
Banger.
fan of Lad McConkey.
Banger.
He can win on the inside, on the outside. He's going to be so good. Hey,
What's
how
the
about you
skin?
relax there?
I fuck with Lad.
What's the skin tone?
I think he might be mixed.
Rick. His first name. L-A-D-D.
His last name is
I didn't want
McConkey.
to assume like you. I don't want to assume. I like to ask.
Maybe
questions.
he's mixed. I don't know. His skin is white.
No, he's white as hell. No, but look how he looks.
That brother's white, bro.
Look at this though.
He's handsome though.
That's
The
Spanish.
the hair facts.
That's Spanish
curly hair.
He might be a little
Come
mixed.
on. Yeah,
He's handsome. He's a handsome dude. Lad.
Maybe
He's
one
a
day
good-
we get him on a
McConkey.
podcast and we ask him, "Hey man,
I would love that.
what's your ethnicity? What's your ethnicity?"
Okay, his
bro?
parents are from Georgia.
That brother might be from the hood.
Yeah, I was
Georgia,
saying
Atlanta.
I don't know.
Ah, shit, man.
Or the suburbs. So Lad McConkey was an excellent pick. I think he's so explosive and he can be that guy to win in short yardage situations. I think with Josh Palmer there, it gives you another good receiving option. And I think maybe they're just banking on Quentin Johnson one more time. If he can just be an X and just threaten the field vertically.
They don't have much of another choice.
Nah.
to be
No, they
honest.
don't. They really
it's-
don't.
Bro,
it's Palmer,
Dehls
Quentin,
sent
and
me a
Vlad.
trade that had Quentin Johnston in it.
Untapped potential.
He really tried to convince me, like, yeah, bro, year 2 breakout.
First round pick, year 2, Justin Herbert.
And then the
You thought I
third
was that
pick,
stupid.
the third pick they made, Junior Colson, getting one of the better linebackers in
Great
the
pick.
class, back reunited with Jim Harbaugh. I think the Chargers A+ this draft. And listen, man, I trust in Jim.
Okay, I respect
to
that.
build up this team.
One of my winners, I don't think they had like one of the best, but I just want to talk about them, the New York Jets. A lot of talk about what they were going to do at number 10 overall. They'll be Brock Bowers. Turns out it's a smokescreen. What?
What?
Turns out it was smokescreen.
What did he say? You said some stuff.
No, I didn't say anything, actually.
He said some stuff.
I don't know why he's
stuck his tongue out.
Jesus Christ, Joel.
It's cap.
Did anybody else see me do it at the table?
I
We
didn't.
have video footage. Oh my God, this kid is sick, man.
321 noted.
But I thought the Jets had a really solid draft. I think
What did they do, bro?
taking
Fashanu.
Olu Fashanu. I think taking Fashanu at 11, I guess, because they moved back. That was a smart pick. Taking Brock Bowers would have been nice. Brian Thomas, definitely not fucking defense. This guy was rooting for it. But that was the smart pick because you have tackles that have been banged up. Morgan Moses might have not missed time last year, but he had a torn pec. He played through it. Tyron Smith has not played a healthy season in like 8 years, and he's also in his mid-30s. So I think taking Olu, who, I mean, coming into last season, because he was a surprise return to college. Coming into last season, he was kind of looked at as like a top 5 pick, low-key locked to be the first tackle off the board. Joe Alt had a great season. He fell to the second tackle off the board. But I think the upside is there for him to be a superstar level tackle. Taking Malachi Corley, top of the 3rd round. He's someone that one of the best yak receivers in this class. He gets compared to Deebo Samuel. I wouldn't go that far. But I think the Jets desperately needed another playmaker, another receiver. He needs to work on his route tree because he wasn't utilized a ton in college in terms of an expansive route tree. He was used a lot in the screen game, but I think Aaron Rodgers loves the screen game. Getting him another weapon, he automatically, to me, becomes the second most explosive option at the receiving room behind Garrett Wilson. And Braylon Allen, running back out of Wisconsin, was one of my favorite running backs in this class. At 17, bless you, at 17 years old, he had 1,300 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns. He only went to high school for 3 years. Early declare. I thought he was fantastic. He doesn't have breakaway speed like Brees, but he's a power running back. He's big, like 240, 230. He was one of my favorite picks in this draft. Regardless of went to the Jets, he was the player that I had my eye on.
So you said the Chargers. You said the Steelers.
Said the Rams, too.
Yeah, I didn't have that. I had the Chargers and the Steelers. So
Mention your team.
no, I'm going to glaze my Philadelphia Eagles now. That's what I'm going to do. We had a fun draft, man. We did a lot of trading. Apparently, we might get docked for that Saquon Barkley stuff. So I thought trading up and getting some picks for next year, 9 picks, is cool because we might get.
The Jets also traded a 4th for a future 3rd.
Cool, bro. They might take 2 away from us, unfortunately. But we went cornerback. Apparently, we went Jackie Robinson, white.
Cooper DeJean.
Yep, Cooper DeJean.
Mitchell.
Yep. We went linebacker, running back. We had a great draft. In terms of just filling needs, we needed linebackers desperately. All caps, I should say. Linebackers, secondary was that was the biggest needs for us. And I feel like us going back-to-back cornerbacks in the first 2 picks was great. And then we went linebackers later on in the draft. Guy named Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Do you know his backstory?
No, tell me.
So
is it a hood story?
No. Whoa. No.
What do you mean, whoa? I've seen it all my life.
You make it out the hood. It's fine.
Yeah.
Actually, he had a story where he had a Hall of Famer. That was his dad. Philadelphia legend linebacker.
Really?
Jeremiah Trotter, Philadelphia legend. He played for the Eagles for 8 years and made an All-Pro, Pro Bowl. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler.
Y'all came up?
His son is not that good though.
Fuck.
No.
Jordan Travis, Jets also got. Well done.
But his father
Florida
was
State
OD.
legend.
His father was OD.
Oh.
The
Absolute
tape
legend.
for Trotter Jr. doesn't look good.
How bad does it look?
It's like
It's
Jerry
pretty-
Rice
it's
and
pretty
Brendan Rice.
Brendan Rice is like that. Respect him.
Caleb
We
Williams
got
played
this
with
guy named
nobody.
Johnny Wilson. How good is he?
Yeah, he really didn't.
Here's the thing with Johnny.
He's just tall.
He's
a
the big dude
body,
that can't catch.
and he can run fast.
Oh,
Yes.
Lord.
No hands.
No hands?
No hands. I'm surprised. Did you mention the Ravens?
I haven't yet. I only did one team.
Ravens. Oh, sorry. I thought we were
Yeah, you were talking for 30 minutes. You only did one team?
crying.
I talked for like 2.
He did the Jets.
I just did the Jets.
I
why
did
you
just
talking
do
for 30
Pittsburgh.
minutes.
Holy shit! You glazed the fuck out the Jets 2 picks.
I
feel
glazed
like-
3 picks and I had to go back and add on 3 other picks.
You know, I'm. It's funny because with the Ravens, I'm gonna talk about 3 picks. Nate Wiggins at pick 30,
Yeah.
amazing value, just staying there, staying packed, getting an impact player, especially at a position of need. You go and you get Rosengarten at the offensive tackle. That was also a position need. You're able to do that, especially understanding that Staley. I don't want
Ronnie
to
Stanley.
Ronnie Stanley, thank you. He also hasn't been playing the best of football, especially this past season. You go and you get Rosengarten. That could be a potential replacement. And then in round 4, getting TJ Tampa, big body cornerback, especially understanding that you do have a hole at corner. TJ Tampa in round 4, I think that's excellent value. I think they had an awesome draft, truthfully.
Yeah, I think the Eagles really Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. That was their
fucking
draft.
here, bro.
That was OD.
I think after that,
Respect Will Shipley.
I don't think you guys did that good.
Will Shipley was interesting.
I'm fine with it because you needed DBs and you had one that now can play
we
safety.
filled needs. Now,
You got
whether they're good or not, we'll find out.
Quignon's going to be him.
Quignon, solid. And then Cooper DeJean, I know there's questions about where he can start, but Vic Fangio, I trust he'll be able to figure it out.
I feel like there were a combination of picks teams made that I loved with the Colts, Latu, and A.D. Mitchell.
They were on my winners.
Excuse me. A.D. Mitchell was a lick.
Yeah, that was a steal. I thought
Ballard,
both of those were steals.
You saw
Like
Chris
Latu
Ballard's comments after the press conference?
about A.D.?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about
I saw it.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the Bills taking Keon?
He wasn't my favorite prospect, but it makes sense. Because you kind of have separators already. Like you have Khalil Shakir.
Curtis
Samuel, facts. You didn't really have a big body receiver.
They have somebody else.
Keon is somebody that's just going to play the X, stretch the field vertically.
Okay.
50-50 balls.
Bills, they picked up somebody else.
Who
the fuck is the other guy?
They picked somebody up, you said.
Yeah, it's Curtis, it's Shakir, it's another guy.
Let me look it up. Matt Collins, Andy Isabella,
Quintus Cephas,
KJ Hamler.
No, they just
Quentin Cephas.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty much everybody. Yeah, but I think with Shakir, Samuel, Kincaid, Keon, they have guys who play their roles.
KJ Hamler,
Bronco legend, man.
Yeah.
My other winner I thought the Patriots did a really good job.
They did.
KJ Hamler.
Oh.
I thought the Patriots, Drake May was my second favorite quarterback in this class. I know people were down on him for his 2023 tape, but as you mentioned with Jordan Love, Drake May went through a similar thing where he lost a ton of starters going into 2023. 2022, that tape he would have been QB1 in Bryce Young's class. He would have got taken over CJ Stroud as a prospect, I'm saying. I think people got a little bit too low. Although, number 3 overall, it's not like this brother fell to the 3rd round or anything. But Drake May, I think, I think he's more pro ready than people think. And he's not going to have to start day 1 because I'm expecting Jacoby Brissett to start week 1. And they also drafted a pair of receivers, getting Polk, getting Javon Baker. Those were 2 guys I thought, for what was available, were 2 of the better receivers. I would have gone A.D. Mitchell over Polk at 37, I think it was. But now you have Kendrick Bourne coming off a torn ACL, who can't expect a ton, but when Kendrick Bourne was healthy, he was a pretty solid receiver. Demario Douglas, I'm high on. I think he could be like a wide receiver 3 slot type player. And now you have 2 rookie wide receivers that you can at least be hopeful on. This was a wide receiver room that had basically no juice going into it last season. They're starting to get there. There still needs a lot of work needs to be done with this offense, but I think this was a great starting point for the franchise.
I think Drake May is exceptional, and his situation, to put it nicely, was terrible. It was the worst amongst any quarterback that was drafted in this class, maybe only behind Spencer Rattler, because Rattler's situation was pretty bad.
Bro, I don't know if they win a game without him. That team was so bad.
No, that team was terrible. Drake May, he had 9.2 air yards per attempt, the second best in the class. He had a 32.8% yak percentage, the lowest in the class. He got no help from his receivers. His pressure response, 55% of his pressures, he stood and delivered a pass from the pocket. And this is the most jarring stat. His tight window throw percentage of 25% of dropbacks was number 1 in the class. Nobody threw to players that created less separation than Drake May, and his accuracy beyond the first read was the highest in the class at 58%. So this is somebody that showcased the ability to read the field, handle pressure well, and create the most out of a terrible situation. And that's why I think he got to be the highest in Drake May. He's going from UNC to New England, not much different in offense situation.
Now, the last winner I want to talk about is a winner that's a TBD, because this could be the draft class that the Denver Broncos look at a couple years from now and think, are you okay? You all right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're crying.
No, yawning.
Gotcha.
I really called this 3 hour 40 minute shit too. I'm
nose
disgusted.
on the nose.
Idiot,
I hate it's his fault. It's his fault solely.
Y'all were arguing with the fucking ant shit. Never mind.
Don't you understand, Dehls? That's what makes the podcast great.
I'm gonna be honest. We haven't had a podcast.
I
this
know.
good
It's
in a
just when
while.
we talk in circles for like 30 minutes, I just
wasn't in circles.
So why don't
wasn't.
you be the adult and say, yo, let's stop?
I try.
I didn't
I
hear
try.
you.
I say, oh, this is a would you rather, right? And you're like, yeah. And you're like, well, SGA, da da.
Because we're not talking
That
in
was a good
circles.
try.
Everything kept going.
It was fine. It was.
We
honestly,
went
it was
through like
amazing.
12 different topics within an hour.
That's going to be the main part of the podcast we'll tune into.
Yes.
That debate.
Yes.
That debate.
It was incredible.
Where Dehls was watching the Celtics and Heat, not giving a fuck about it.
Embarrassing, man.
It was on the rim. So this 2024 draft class that the Denver Broncos had, we could be looking at years from now and think this was the draft that was the turning point of our franchise. Sean Payton believes that we have a franchise quarterback in Bo Nix. I'm here. Who am I to fucking doubt one of the best offensive minds in the game?
Shouldn't.
And I won't do that. And also at the same time, we stayed packed at 12. We made Minnesota think that we were going to trade up and try and jump them to get our franchise quarterback when all along our guy was Bo Nix. And Sean Payton rattled off a bunch of stats that were true. And all you have to do is go and look at the tape for Bo Nix. First and third down, first and fewest sacks. The most accurate passer in college football history. Did have the season where he did have the best completion percentage for a season a quarterback has ever had.
Held on Mac Jones before.
Correct. And that was the year that Bama, of course, ended up winning the national championship. But first at the end of the half in 2 minutes, first at the end of the game in 2 minutes, and in the red zone, he was the second best among all college quarterbacks. Coming in, he has the best chance outside of course, Caleb Williams to go ahead in week 1, probably start for their franchise. I say that we're understanding Drake May probably will sit. Jaden Daniels, that one seems...
He starts day 1.
He probably does start day 1, thinking about it now. J.J. McCarthy probably sits. I look at Michael Penix, he probably sits. Bo Nix is in a situation where he can go out there and start on day 1 and learn on the fly what's going to happen in front of a solid offensive line. The weapons are a bit of a concern, understanding Cortland Sutton's not going to... That situation's up in the air if we do cut him or trade him after the June 1st deadline. We save $11 million if we cut him or $13 million if we trade him. We needed an edge presence. We go in the 3rd round because we didn't have a second. We traded that for Mr. Sean Payton. We go and we bring in Jonah Ellis from Utah. Was able to bring in 12.5 sacks in 10 games. He was awesome. And then in round 4, the best pick, in my opinion, of our draft, Troy Franklin. Reuniting Bo Nix with his number 1 weapon in Oregon. Now we did need a weapon. That's why I wasn't the hugest fan of the Jonah Ellis pick in round 3, because I did want us to reunite Troy. We ended up getting him regardless after trading up. To me, I thought we did an awesome job. We bring in an extra corner from Chris Abrams-Drain and Audric Estime, who is the running back out of Notre Dame. I'm not sure how I feel about him yet. He is a big body, but did run a 4.71. We just needed another presence, another body in the running back room. I was happy that we did that. But again, 5 years from now, we could be looking at 2024 as the year that changed the Broncos franchise. And I hope that that's the case.
Yeah, you need a quarterback. I mean, that's the most important pick.
Most definitely. I will say, understanding that our team is not going to be good next season, I wouldn't have minded Brock Bowers at 12, and then the year after, we contend for the idea of a Shedeur Sanders. Now I'm really intrigued, where now we have our generational prospect at tight end in Brock. Who knows what happens with Cortland Sutton? We still have a solid offensive line and Shedeur. But Bo Nix is a safe quarterback. You mentioned it. You believe he has the lowest floor of any quarterback.
The highest floor.
Excuse me, that's what I meant to say. He has the highest floor of any quarterback.
Outside of Caleb, obviously.
Who is the generational number 1 prospect by far. But he will be secured by Sean Payton and his brilliance of offense.
You know, that I think Bo Nix is going to be good.
I think so too, man.
I think he's going to be good.
Here.
I will say, I'm glad you didn't go to Shedeur Sanders' route. I don't know how good Shedeur Sanders is going to be.
Isn't he the favorite to go number 1
He is
next
favorite
year?
to go number 1.
That is straight. No, I don't want.
That's off of not watching the film.
I was going to say that's just off pure.
He's
like,
he's not a first round prospect right now.
This is the only name everyone knows in the draft.
The only thing about Shedeur that I will say I don't love is he does not get outside the pocket.
He's not that
nearly
athletic,
much.
honestly.
Not nearly as much.
He is
but
a plus
why
athlete.
I say also in a
Got a big arm,
in a Denver system, that's what Sean Payton has been looking for. And that is Bo Nix, actually. So that's another reason why it is a plus for us. But Shedeur will chill in that pocket.
Rev, you think the Bears could win 11 games this year?
Yes.
You know, the Cardinals
You thought I was going to say no?
drafted Marvin Harrison. We know that's a great pick.
No.
I already told Jess that we're getting Marvin Harrison jerseys.
It's tough.
We're
That's
going to
fire.
get one of those
Yeah, sold
jerseys.
that.
I'm going to be a Cardinals fan. Marvin got him in fantasy.
Oh,
What do you
Jesus
mean? You didn't
Christ.
draft him in fantasy.
You
in
did pass
Dynasty.
up on him.
You passed up on, and you let him fall to me. Thank you very much.
He's not a Kyler guy though.
Facts.
I'm
What
the
do you mean? I got
cards
the
guy.
Funko Pop right
He had
there.
a lot of
Drew,
Funko Pops.
who's the cards guy at the team?
Oh, by far and away you.
You picked them this year as an agenda when we did the agenda show.
This isn't an agenda.
I actually have
These
a
are my
Kyler Murray
brothers.
jersey, though. Like,
Yes.
I own a K1 jersey.
I need to get that. These are my brothers.
We could be twins.
We can.
Get the white one or the black one. Both tough.
You know, I fuck with.
Hey, listen, just 'cause
you
I'm
wanna-
not
you
the
wanna
biggest
join the
fan-
wave, you can join the wave. We're here.
Even if I'm not the biggest fan of the
You have to
quarterback,
be.
it's the wide
No,
receiver.
you
now.
have to be. If you want to jump on
I
this
like
wave.
watching Kyler play, but he's
Can't
not one
root
of
for
my
the
favorites.
Cardinals and not root for Kyler. Bro.
Of course, because Kyler's the best
dog.
player.
What are-
He's the franchise.
What are the chances J.J. McCarthy can start day one? Like,
No,
give it a
no.
percentage.
No, 0%.
I give it.
Zero?
Ooh,
0%.
I was thinking like 10, 15.
I would have said 20.
The Vikings have already they have a checklist of all the things JJ has to do before he starts.
What if he doesn't?
What if he does, you said?
He doesn't. I don't know what the checklist is, obviously.
I think Darnold's starting day one. Stand. It's 0% chance JJ starts.
I don't know. I don't think Darnold's that good to where he gets a 100% chance to start.
I don't think
I just don't think they want to start JJ day one.
I'll be honest. I don't think JJ is that good right now. Off of the college tape, he's not that good.
Yeah, but that's why I don't, it's a chance. Darnold isn't like a certified starter.
That's why he's a project pick, Yeah. So the Saints, Fuaga, McKinstry. I wanted to mention the Cardinals with Max Melton, Trey Benson. Max Melton out of Rutgers. He's a really good corner. I think he's a big good corner for them. And I'll be damned if I didn't mention the Bengals. Armarius Mims project pick, but he could be a stud. He's going to be on the sitting learning from Trent Brown and Orlando Brown. But this is the pick that me and Dehls agree on universally. Jermaine Burton might be the steal at wide receiver in this draft. He is a dog. Some character concerns off the field, which is why he slipped. But Jermaine Burton really has a chance to make a huge impact. He is really good. The tape for him is so awesome. And the Bengals got to steal with that pick, honestly.
Yeah, the Bengals needed an offensive lineman. I'm glad it was Amarius Mims. Understanding, yeah, he is a project, but you would rather go on potential and a guy that can obviously be an all-pro and be the best person to block Joe Burrow's blindside. I mean, that's an obvious situation for me.
Because somebody that he hasn't even played football much and is already as good as he is.
For sure.
That's huge.
He's only logged, 10 games? Was it 8 games, something like that?
He didn't give up a sack.
Yeah, he's nuts.
So, no, definitely a lot of good drafts. With the NFL season coming up, the draft just happened. It's going to get time. It's getting time to start
locking in back
coming
on NFL.
Coming up with
We're here, man.
what we going to say for the season.
Fantasy reaction, man. We got to lock in.
I have a would you rather.
Which would you rather?
But it's about a basketball player.
Okay.
So I just forgot we were too busy arguing it for
What do you think? It's 3 hours, 37 minutes. We save it for next show. I have to pee and watch the Lakers.
I also have to piss like a sailor.
We can save it for next show. What's the Lakers-Nuggets score?
We're up 3.
Okay.
37,
Can
34.
definitely save this one. It's really enticing because the dude just had like 40 the other day, but short. We can wait.
Next episode, who's winning the NFC North?
Where did you sit at?
Other guy.
The guy who won the team who won it last year. All right, let's go wrap up, please. I might piss myself. 40.
JB,
This
the real JB,
is
the real JB.
the end, episode 375. If you guys enjoyed it, thank you. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast.
We should talk
Thank
more
you
about
for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.